spent time at it all morning.
Man. It looks like the Madden one looks awesome. Like it gets worse and worse. Like it's snowing and it keeps getting worse and worse and worse. But the weather and everything, these games are so awesome.
Yeah, no, look, we
both of them, even the Madden, because usually I kind of shy away from Madden.
I'm very excited.
I'll buy the new college football video game here in a couple weeks, but Drew is going to be locked into this video. We'll see. He can give us an update on that.
This
maybe
is
in
all
an hour.
Drew, too. This is why Drew skipped a show I did on Sundays, because he's my college football guy, right? Well, both of us like college football, so I'd get excited. Like, hey, I'm going to talk to Drew tomorrow, because he would come on every Sunday before Chiefs played at like 9 o'clock. And one time, no Drew. No Drew whatsoever.
Oh, is this the Bash Drew again segment?
Well, real quick, we have to get it out of the way. I think Bink had a question for you. You wanted to know if you brought it with you today. Are you wearing it today, or did you bring it?
No, I'm not.
I look at it. Okay, so this is now, 4 straight shows?
No wedding ring for Drew.
And it was like, I'll wear it tomorrow, whatever. Well, tomorrow came, and you didn't. Then there was an off day. And then came Friday.
At this point, I'm convinced he's doing it just to bug you, because it seems like it really annoys you.
I did have to ask him, though, with these little buttons there. I did ask him. I said, I'm just making sure everything's good before I give you crap. I was being nice about it. It's like, I'm giving you a lot of crap about this, but
yes,
good? You good?
During commercial break, we do talk. Yes.
You sure you're good? You sure you're good?
But yes, no ring for Drew again today.
Well, I'm curious, though. Why not?
Like Gold said, I'm going to start doing it just to bother you now.
I don't think you'd go to those lengths.
It's either that or he lost it, and it's one of the two. It's one of those two options.
Bink, at this point, you have talked so much trash about me. I think I would go to that length.
Drew, I never talk any trash to you at all.
Okay.
And that's true. Ask the text line, they'll tell you. And 2, I've lost my wedding ring before. And it was an interesting experience. Where you walk with your hand in your pocket the whole time and tell them it was at the it was the largest hotel in America without a casino. Can you guess which one that is?
Largest hotel in America without a casino?
Yeah, I thought it was gone forever. I'm like, I'm screwed, man.
Largest hotel.
And I had this thing mailed to my work because I didn't want to say that I lost it.
I have no idea where that would be.
And it was innocent. I was in like the hotel gym or something. I'd set it down, knocked myself out, literally. And because the pin fell out. Never mind. The pin fell out, and I knocked myself out. But I lost it, but it's the largest hotel. It was Nashville.
Oh.
It was the Opryland. It was the Opryland. But it's a huge hotel. Tons of people. And I thought I was screwed, man. I thought no one was going to send this back. And I was shocked, man. It came back.
I'm glad you found it, Bink. And then you lost it a couple years later. But I'm glad you found it.
And I stayed married for a little while.
Yeah. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us. We're just getting started here on a Tuesday. As you can tell, who knows how the show is going to go today. I will tell you, the AC apparently not working today in the building. So, Bink, just chug some water over there, buddy, and just start chugging it now. Just be ready to roll.
Told you I wasn't wearing pants. This is why.
That's that's a bad image, as I said, for everybody. Let's start the show, though, a little different, talking stadium. Yesterday, towards the end of the show, a couple different new pieces of information, at least reports, right? And anytime there's new reports, we'll bring it to you and we'll discuss it, give our opinion. I'm not saying these reports are fake. I'm not saying that they are 100% accurate. I do not know. They are not our reports. But there was a couple of them yesterday that are intriguing because we are inside of a week till the Star Bond deadline. I understand on the Kansas side it can be extended, but next Monday is June 30th. That would be the final day based on how it currently sits for those Star Bonds. So this time next week, theoretically, the bonds would expire unless we get an extension announcement. There was a report yesterday from KCMO Talk Radio that said the Chiefs, according to their sources, had canceled 5 real estate contracts in Kansas, which people have said, all right, well, then maybe that means that they are staying at Arrowhead. And I totally get why people would put 2 and 2 together, if in fact that is true. It went on to say in that same report over at KCMO Talk Radio that they asked their source what they think will ultimately happen. And that source told them they believe the Royals are headed to the Legends in KCK. And the thought process there is that they can't win a vote in Missouri. And then it went on to say that the Chiefs believe Jackson County would actually vote in their favor, and that is where we are currently at. That's just a report that is out there. I'm just throwing it out there at this point in time. I thought a couple things were interesting with that. Number one, the idea that the Royals want to go to the Legends doesn't make any sense to me. It just doesn't. think about going back to the very beginning. One, we know downtown baseball is ultimately what they said they wanted. And I understand as financial mechanisms of funding change, sometimes you have to pivot. So that's where the even 119th and null or 117th and null site has come into play. Totally get that. But the Royals wanted downtown baseball, and I would argue still want downtown baseball. We'll see if they can actually make that happen. Tell me how the Legends makes any sense, though, for the Royals, because the difference for the Royals versus Chiefs and the Legends is you're talking about 80 nights, including Tuesdays and Wednesdays, versus 8 games at home plus playoffs on Sunday. People are willing to travel. You have the tailgating. You don't have to have you don't worry about the proximity to your base or anything like that as much for football as you do for Royals. You either go downtown where there's, potentially more opportunities on day games and weekday games because people are working downtown and you say, all right, we're in the area kind of thing, or I'm getting off of work, or I'm taking a client to a game. We're all right there. That makes sense. Or, the Johnson County side, obviously, to a certain extent, you could argue makes sense because a majority of their season ticket holder base is in Johnson County, and you are looking at potentially trying to get families to go out to games on weeknights. Are they more likely to go to Raytown, to downtown, Johnson County, or the Legends? And I would say the Legends would be no different than folks that are or not going maybe to Raytown. And I know there's more around the Legends, but in terms of travel for me, I can just tell you, like, driving to the current Truman Sports Complex and going to the Legends is basically the same drive for me. It doesn't change, it doesn't change anything for me. And I live obviously in the Overland Park area. So I just don't believe that the Royals are seriously considering the Legends site. Tell me if you disagree, and you guys let me know on the text line. I don't know why that would make any sense for the Royals.
Well, it's worked out, and let's look at that area and I think, okay, I mean, it's doing okay. I wouldn't say it's, overwhelmingly doing great in that area. It's a nice area. I mean, it's a really nice area. A lot of development there with new neighborhoods around there from there through Baser and everything else that's really ignited that area. Speedway's out there. You got the casino out there, Hollywood Casino. It's doing well. And, of course, you got sporting out there. Would the Royals go there? Well, you'd be close to your Johnson County base. I get that. And your Northland base, because it's not far to go to Legends if you live in Northland. I live up by the airport, so 15 minutes to Legends. It's not bad at all. Missouri made a hard pitch to keep them here, and it's kind of where they've been. I do think that they would stay here or go downtown before that. The Jackson County thing, that might be a pipe dream at this point. I do believe that they would pass Chiefs only.
Yeah, I don't think I think that's 100%
they will
correct.
Pass Chiefs only.
I think it's 100% correct that the Royals cannot afford a public vote and will not go down that path. I think the only way the Royals go anywhere is if a public vote is not required. I 100% think that's been kind of common thought at this point in time.
Here's the other thing, Gold, and this is why I think it stands a chance to pass now, because I think people got that reality check. Because when it first came out, people were still pissed about the property taxes in Jackson County being raised. They were, upset with that and didn't put 2 and 2 together. That guess what? Everybody in the city that stops in Jackson County pays that at the pump. So we all pay it in Jackson County. They didn't realize that. And that 1%. And they realized, man, that 1% was anybody that sings a concert there, anybody that plays at Arrowhead Stadium, including the Chiefs, or if the Yankees come to town, you're getting 1% of the salaries. Where's that money coming from? And I think that was a reality check for them because no one really brought that up. Like, where are you going to recoup this money? But now they know. And now they know that, the Chiefs could leave. I don't think they thought that would happen, but I think as soon as it didn't pass, and all of a sudden you hear, they get Royals getting calls from Nashville or Salt Lake City or whatever, even though they're not going there. Yeah. But I think the reality of they could go to Kansas. I think the reality for people in Jackson County thinking, all right, you have a team that won a world championship in baseball in 2015. You got 3 Super Bowls they've won, 4 if you go back to the first Super Bowl for the Chiefs, but 3 recently from the Chiefs. And those 4 championships, you're thinking they're in your county. You know how hard that is bringing to your county in the first place? You have them. But all of a sudden, take Nashville and all those other areas out of the equation. But when you start hearing north of the river, like in Clay County, you start hearing Johnson County, and you start saying, you know what? This is realistic now. This is realistic that they probably will leave Jackson County. When they have their opportunity to keep them, that's why I think the reality is sunk in with people that, hey, we got another chance here. Let's make sure they stay in Kansas City.
Yeah, but
Jackson.
I don't think that applies to the Royals, though. I do not think the voters in Jackson County would give the Royals what they would want on a public vote. No, I think there was no chance the Royals go to a public vote. So that either means go to Kansas or it means that they have worked out something with Casey Moe, which gets me to another report yesterday from Jonathan Katz over at Fox 4, who's done a great job covering this over the last couple of years. We've had him on the show, and he's been on the station multiple times throughout this entire process as it's dragged on for year after year now. And he spoke to a few leaders in Casey Moe who once again ensured, if you will, that a vote would not be required for the Royals Stadium if, in fact, it got to that point in time. Also said that they do not have to have a proposal by June 30th, because we've all talked about June 30th is the Kansas Star Bond deadline. So the thought was that, hey, you got to have this proposal if you're Missouri and Casey Moe with the Royals and everything by then. Otherwise, they're gonna go to Kansas. This report kind of disputes that. It also does say in the same story that the site there, Washington Square Park, that according to Kevin O'Neill in this story, he's the councilman in Port Casey vice chair. He says that architects have done their due diligence and the footprint of a ballpark can fit in that Washington Square Park area. Because remember, some people said, hey, can you actually fit a ballpark there? And that's that site right by, I guess it'd be to the east of Union Station there. So I find all this very interesting. I do think hopefully next week we have some clarity on it. I don't know if I buy the Royals to the Legends part of it as much as I would if you told me the Chiefs would end up at the Legends, although that report from KCMO Talk Radio yesterday about the Chiefs land contracts, I mean, I do think that is fairly telling. That why would you cancel those contracts if you were planning on going to the Kansas side? So the Chiefs,
you would not have canceled
the Chiefs renovating Arrowhead, I would agree that seems more and more likely day by day. But that will require a public vote. I think the Chiefs can get the public vote, though. I think fans and residents, voters in Jackson County are way more likely to do a Chiefs-only project and financing than they ever would be for the Royals. I just think it's the Hunt family has been here for much, much longer. The Chiefs obviously have had way more success. All of that goes into it. There's, for whatever reason, people have not felt the same way about John Sherman, even though I think time and time again he has shown with how he's invested in this team, how he's engaged with the community, that he is about keeping this team in Kansas City and making sure that it's stable and all this. But for whatever reason, that hasn't translated as well as I think they would have liked, clearly.
Yeah, I think a lot of people just want to hurry up and get it done.
Well, sure.
And hopefully the Chiefs would go in, full bore on this. This is what we want to do, like really nice renderings. This is exactly what we want to do. But I know deep down that they want all that stuff, though. They've always been enamored with SoFi and, everything around that stadium and the other ways you can make revenue now because things are different. It's about hotels. It's about restaurants. It's about bars. Even if you're not going to be downtown, which Chiefs never would be, still tailgate and everything else, but there'd be a lot more room out there. They'd have a ton more room out there if they were the only show in town and the Royals built downtown or somewhere else, which is probably what's going to happen. So they would have that whole parking lot space there anyway, actually be a lot more open for tailgating, even better than it is now. But the reality of the situation about them going or keeping the Chiefs, it would have to be them coming strong with renderings. Now, I don't know how bad they want a dome. Like, deep down, I think they kind of want one because it would bring the Super Bowl and other things to this town. And I don't think it's a pipe dream anymore. Once you have the draft and things like that, I think it opens up. Once you have the World Cup, things like that. Again, this town is so much different than it was early on. It just is. You just think about the last couple of years, hosting an NFL draft in Kansas City. Whoever thought that would happen? They're hosting the World Cup, and they beat out cities like Denver to host World Cup games. Kansas City's a major player now in sports. It wasn't before, but it is now. New airport, all these things make Kansas City more attractive, help Kathy Nelson try to go out and give presentations to different events coming to Kansas City. But this is a different time and a different era for Kansas City, and I hope people realize that because this isn't the same old town. This isn't the same old town at all. This is a very, very forward sports town.
Coming up in 15 minutes, we'll talk a little bit about how we view this Chiefs upcoming season. Yesterday, there were some bold predictions out there from NFL.com about the NFL as a whole. We'll take a stab at it when it comes to just the Chiefs end of things. That's coming up in just a bit. But I want to talk Royals, who will begin a homestand tonight against the Tampa Bay Rays. Big homestand, Dodgers in town. We're going to get into specifics about what has to happen this week coming up at 11 o'clock. But I was looking at the latest update from All-Star voting because that came out yesterday. And the All-Star game this year is down in Atlanta.
That'll depress you.
What's that?
It'll depress you. Depress you.
Why?
Just our guys have a lot of work to do.
Oh, I thought you meant like being in Atlanta or the All-Star game coming up. I was why am I mad about the?
No,
did anybody else hear that? I don't know. I was very
just
confused.
looking at the Royals and where they sit in the All-Star voting, and it would depress you.
Gotcha. I hear you, Bink. I got you. All right. So Bobby Wood
Nothing wrong with
Jr.
Atlanta.
Bobby Wood Jr. is a ways behind Jacob Wilson, who's having an unreal rookie season. He's going to be the American League Rookie of the Year this year, and he's got 1.1 million votes. Bobby Wood Jr. is in second, 868,000. So I don't think he's going to close that gap. But there are two players that should absolutely be getting more love, enough to, overtake a Jose Ramirez of Cleveland there at third base. Probably not, but he should not be as far back as he is. And I'm talking about Maikel Garcia. So Maikel Garcia right now is in 7th place in voting for third base. He's not even on, they don't even show when a lot of the articles, they just show the top 3 and the votes. He doesn't even show up on the list because he's that far down. It makes no sense, except this goes back to the fan and why fan voting is not as weighed as much as it is overall.
It is for starters.
Yeah, but not in the whole grand scheme of things. We all know the whole Vote Omar thing back here in the day and how Royals fans took over that. They don't let you do that anymore. But Maikel Garcia is losing out because people outside of Kansas City don't know who he is. But Maikel, I think this was Nick Capel over at the Royals who put out some of his ranks in terms of statistical categories among all American League third basemen. Did you know he's first in doubles, second in average, second in hits, second in stolen bases, tied for second in extra base hits, third in on-base percentage, third in OPS, third in total bases, third in RBI among all AL third basemen, yet he's 7th in All-Star voting. I think it's a shame, not that he was going to overtake Jose Ramirez, but the fact that he's 7th in voting is pretty pathetic at this point in time. He should absolutely be an All-Star representing the Royals this year. He's had that kind of a season. He's got to get a little more love. I know they're trying campaign-wise. He's not going to get the starter nod, but I hope that players and managers who ultimately will have an opportunity there end up making sure Maikel Garcia gets in, because the numbers he's put up, there's no reason he shouldn't be an All-Star.
No, it's name recognition. That's one. And two, just kind of how the team's performing. If they were running away with first, a lot more recognition for that. And, of course, these games on primetime help. When Fox does the games, or the Apple TV. I don't know how many people are actually watching Apple TV, but the Fox game that they had the other night, that stuff helps. But this is a baseball problem, too. They're not seeing who the stars are. The good news is the other 23 remaining players will be the players' vote and the commissioner's office, because they do what's right and who deserves it. But the players know who he is. They know who Maikel Garcia is. But I think the Royals not hitting the ball well and really being the pitching, being the, what's carrying the Royals, and the name recognition, because I think it's really hard to get it to be a household name in baseball. It is incredibly difficult to get into that club.
Yeah, it's a marketing issue. Someone texted in, and I think there's some truth to this. I would argue this would have been the case whether the Royals were in first place or in third place. But someone said, hey, it makes plenty of sense with his votes right now. Royals are an average team, not going to get noticed. I think there's some truth to that. But I honestly believe if you told me the Royals were 10 games above 500, I don't think Maikel Garcia is second in voting at third base. I think some of it is truly across baseball, how many people know the name Maikel Garcia. And if your argument is, well, if they were playing better baseball, I'll call BS on that a little bit. 3.5 months into the season, I don't think, folks in New York and LA would be voting for, or Texas would be voting for Maikel Garcia. This is just he hasn't done it on the playoff stage, because last year he didn't have a great season. And we're still talking about the Royals. Nationally, everybody knows Bobby Wood Jr. People know Cags already because of everything in Salvador Perez. The same thing applies with Chris Bubich. How many people outside of Kansas City know about Chris Bubich? And he's having a Cy Young type of season.
And part of the problem is, ESPN, they don't really talk Major League Baseball. They're losing it anyway, so they don't really spotlight players. But you go to the flagship of the league, MLB Network, right? And you look at the Royals. And, yes, they do show their highlights or whatever, but they're usually kind of thrown in a little bit or thrown in at the end. But they don't spotlight hey, look at what Maikel Garcia is doing. They might do Bobby or something like that, but they don't do Maikel.
Well, not everybody has MLB Network either.
I know they don't.
I don't
and
have
then the
MLB
morning
Network,
shows.
so
I know Mark DeRosa does a great job of spotlighting different Royals. He does. That's the one guy that does. But the other shows and everything, they're like, hey, you see what this kid's doing? They just don't spotlight him. They don't promote him. And again, this is a baseball problem, not spotlighting their players.
Yeah. Hopefully he gets his love and ultimately gets a spot at some point in time. But I was surprised to see him all the way at 7th, considering the type of year he's had. The other player also, and this one, the numbers are there, and it's actually impressive that he's doing this on a team that is under 500. I'm talking about the Royals closer, Carlos Estevez, because He's got 22 saves. You know that leads all of baseball. That's not just an American. That's all of baseball. He's ahead of Suarez, who obviously just got the save.
Which is crazy for the record.
And so in this case, actually, the fact that he's not on as good of a team should be that much more impressive. To have 22 saves on a team that has, what are we up to now, 38 wins, 39 wins,
He's
whatever
going
it is.
out there with one-run leads, like high-pressure situations.
Yeah, I know at times it's an adventure. It can be dicey. You know, the strikeout numbers for him are where he's not as impressive. You go, his strikeouts over 9, it's 7.5 compared to a Suarez who's 9.2 or Josh Hader's 13.9, which is insane. I think the Reds have a player, it's like 11 point something. So there's guys that average more strikeouts over 9, and maybe that hurts them in this conversation. But you have the league lead in saves, the entire majors, and you're on a team that's not even above 500. Like, how is he not going to get more attention? And to me, not just because it was our bold prediction before the season and I said he was going to be an all-star, but like, honestly, he's backing it up. He's got the numbers. He's got a 2.14 ERA. That's lower than Suarez on the NL side.
The good news is he'll be there.
His competition is Josh Hader, who has a 1.83 ERA and 18 saves, and he's averaging 13 strikeouts over 9.
Unless the commissioner's office say, hey, you know what, we got a couple Royals on there anyway. We've made the quota of getting at least one on there. So maybe that could happen, but I do think he finds his way on there.
Right now, who would you guess the Royals have? If they have 2 All-Stars, who are the All-Stars? Because Bobby's still, even though in Kansas City it's viewed as him not having as good of a year, he's still putting up insane numbers overall.
Bobby for sure.
So Bobby.
And it would have to
Carlos?
be pitchers. So Carlos or.
What about Chris Bubic?
Chris Bubic.
I mean, that's the thing. They're not going to get 5 All-Stars.
No, you're not. But Chris Bubic, again, what sucks is he was leading Major League Baseball in ERA until that Yankees game. Remember Jazz Chisholm where he actually struck him out and he got 4 strikes on him, then the floodgates opened on him in that situation. He's been so good. Honestly, I'd put Bubic there.
Yeah,
I'd go starter.
I have a feeling one of them might be an alternate. Maybe that's the solution here to get the 3. Because otherwise, I would say that deep down in terms of performance, I think it should be Michael Garcia, Bobby Witt, and Carlos. Those would be the 3 All-Stars. But if you told me only 2, man, if I could only vote for 2, I think Michael and Carlos. And that's weird because, Bobby, some of it is just if I can actually just pick 2, I'll get the guy that hasn't gone before. That's part of what I'm selecting here. Because Bobby, I would argue, could be an all-star probably the next 8 years of his career every single year, 10 years of his career. He's going to be that type of player throughout, whereas Michael is just having the best year of his career. And I think statistically, when you basically been the second best third baseman in the American League, that should be all-star worthy. Bobby's been the second best shortstop in the American League. That should be all-star worthy. Carlos has been the best closer in baseball. That should be all-star worthy.
And Bubic's numbers, they're awesome. They're still 2.12 ERA, but they've slipped. He's 28th in baseball now in ERA. It's not his fault. Again, the floodgates opened, but people don't know the win-loss things. That stands out to people.
Yeah, what's the updated criteria and all
Even
this?
Though Skeens is so good.
They've changed this so many times. I'm trying to remember what, obviously if you finish first, you're the starter, but I'm trying to remember how the MLB does all-star voting. If you finish top 2, does that guarantee you a spot if you finish top 2 in fan voting, or does it reset completely? I'm trying to remember how
for pitchers, I think.
I'm trying to remember how they have aligned this, because phase 1 of balloting is over, right? Isn't that where we're at? Yeah,
and don't forget the final vote for the close vote getters, where people can go out there for the
sure,
final guy.
The Royals player's not going to win that.
They have before, but they won't be on it.
Back when they were going to the World Series.
They won't be on it.
Yeah, back when they were in the World Series.
They will not be on it.
I'll have to get clarification on it. I was trying to see what the exact breakdown is. If you finish top 2, are you guaranteed a starting spot or not? But we'll do that a little bit later on in the show. Up next, though, guys, let's talk about this NFL season and the bold predictions that were out there from NFL.com. We'll try to make a few of our own for the Chiefs next year on Cody and Gold.
This is Cody and Gold, brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. Tune in to hear Royals insider Josh Vernier every Wednesday at 12:30.
We need to nip this in the bud. We need to
nip what in the bud?
On your home for Royals baseball, 96.5, The Fan.
Men, summertime is here. And that means vacations, summer barbecues, outdoor parties, camping, beaches, and so much more. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if you're like many men, you may not be feeling like yourself this summer. Perhaps your energy is low and you aren't sleeping well. Maybe your workouts aren't as good as they used to be. And if what I'm describing is you, it's very likely you're suffering with low testosterone. But low T doesn't have to affect you anymore. Just call Heartland Men's Health, get treated, and see how it changes your life. If you're like most men, you'll feel so much better. deeper sleep, improved vitality and clarity, greater strength and energy, and an enhanced sex drive as well. So call us. Just $99 gets you a PSA and T-test and a medical consult. And if you start on testosterone the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600. That's 844-447-6600. Or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices, Overland Park, Independence, and North Kansas City.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group. And I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney. And the truth is, I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney or if I look like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. At Wesley, we've helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshare without me being an attorney. And I want to share with you how we do it. Just give my office a call, and you will not talk to an attorney. And I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare, or you'll pay nothing.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. 800-761-0000. 800-761-0000. 800-761-0000.
Ring the bell. We've done it again. Golden Oak Lending has lowered rates to 4.875 fixed. Lower your monthly payment, get cash out, pay off credit cards, and best of all, make no mortgage payments for 2 months. Lock in this incredible 4.875 rate and get your cash in as little as 14 days. Call 913-890-GOLD.
Golden Oak Lending cured my blues.
5.81 APR, FHA, 15-year, 20% equity qualified credit. Additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Now more than ever, Lowe's knows you don't just want a low price, you want the lowest price. And with our lowest price guarantee, you can count on us for competitive prices on all your home improvement projects. If you find a qualifying lower price somewhere else on the same item, we'll match it. Lowe's, we help, you save. Price match applies the same item, current price at qualifying retailers. Exclusions and terms apply. Learn how we'll match price at lowes.com/lowest price guarantee.
Every success you've had began with a great opportunity. Now there's another one. Last aid year, University of Maryland Global Campus awarded over $21 million in scholarships to qualified students, including community college students, service members, veterans, and working adults. Now is the time to move your career forward with an online and accredited skills-based education. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chef.
Hi, Zoe Saldana. Welcome to T-Mobile. Here's your new iPhone 16 Pro on us.
Thanks. And here's my old phone to trade in.
You don't need a trade-in. When you switch to T-Mobile, we'll give you a new iPhone 16 Pro. Plus, we'll help you pay off your old phone up to $800, and you still get to keep it.
There's always a trade-in.
Not right now at T-Mobile.
I feel like I have to give you something in return for karma.
That's okay.
I don't really have much in my purse. Oh, let's see. Hand sanitizer. It's lavender.
I'm good. Seriously.
Let me check this pocket. Oh, mints?
Really, I'm fine.
Oh, I have raisins. I'm a mom. Wait 1 sec. I've got cupcakes in the car.
It's our best iPhone offer ever. Switch to T-Mobile. Get a new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on us. No trade-in needed. We'll even pay off your phone up to $800.
With 24 monthly bill credits, new line $100 plus a month on experience beyond finance agreement $999.99 and qualifying forwarded. For well-qualified qualified plus tax and $10 connection charge. Payoff via virtual prepaid card. Allow 15 days. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. See T-Mobile.com.
Royals coverage sponsored by Renner Garage Door. Forward and back, RENNER.
Almost Andy Reid here. Renner Garage Door has proudly served KC for nearly 70 years. Get your free estimate today. RENNER, forward and back.
RENNER, RENNER.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Back here on Cody and Gold, Alex Gold, Drew Nixon, Jay Binkley fill in for Cody. Coming up in 30 minutes, we'll talk about this homestand which begins tonight at Kauffman Stadium. Royals-Rays, Royals-Dodgers later on in the week, all right here on 96.5 The Fan. So yesterday, we were talking about NFL.com. They did their bold predictions. We were saying some of them are bolder than others. They had the Bills to win the Super Bowl or Ashton Genty to have 2,000 yards. That was something we discussed right around this time yesterday. And we said, hey, let's do a couple of our Chiefs bold predictions. And there'll be some new ones once we get to camp and see how Josh Simmons is going to do. I avoided doing any Josh Simmons or Jalen Moore bold prediction because truly I need to see if he's actually there day one of training camp and practicing. Like Andy Reid says Josh Simmons is going to. So I'll let you, we'll work this around the table a little bit. You guys can text in. Give me your Chiefs bold prediction for the season, 913-586-7965. Bink, give me your first one. I got like 2 or 3 of these.
I have like 4.
I figured.
Or 5.
I figured. Or 7 or 8. I figured. I think.
The Chiefs will still win the division.
Okay.
They'll push the AFC West titles to 10 straight, one shy of the Patriots' record of 11. But it won't be from 4 games like last year. Things will tighten up. It'll be by 1 game. So it's still win it, but it'll be by 1 game.
Is that bold? I'm not.
Well, by saying 1 game instead of 4, whatever, I still, you know what? A lot of people aren't picking the Chiefs to win the division.
That's
so
true.
So in a way, it does become bolder because everybody's Broncos and Chargers, where I'm still Chiefs, but it's closer.
We'll allow it. Yeah, I don't think it's that crazy, though. I would agree that the Chiefs are not.
Drew's not accepting this.
The Chiefs are not going to win 15 games this year. There's a scenario where they win less, and you actually say, "Hey, they seem better positioned." As weird as that might say, because if the offense is actually clicking and Mahomes is protected better, they could be a 12 or 13 win team, but you feel better about their overall chances. I think there's truth to that. I don't expect them to win it by 4 games this year either. I think most likely this is a division win. If you told me the Chiefs got to 13, that's probably good enough to win it. If they got to 12, they might have to win a tiebreaker.
Because they've had better teams than they did last year, even though they won 15 games. They've been better before.
No doubt.
And they threw a game away.
Yeah, I don't think that. I don't know. Bold? I don't know if it's bold or not, but yeah.
Well, it fits in the criteria.
I'll throw one. Bink might not like this one. I've got one for you. Charles Omenihu will have a double-digit sack season.
Ooh.
When he's been healthy, Charles.
That's a hot take.
Yeah. I don't know if it's okay. I didn't know how bold you thought that was.
It's hot, but I like it. I think
Charles Omenihu, remember, he is still not even 28 years old. His story has been staying healthy. But when he's on the field, guys, you would agree, right, that he's been pretty damn good. Last year, he only played in 11 games. He was coming back from the ACL. He still had 7 sacks. Sorry, he had 1 sack. He played in 6. He only had 1 sack.
The year before he came back.
Yes.
He'll be in a rotation, though.
He had the suspension the year before, and he had 11 games, 7 sacks. Last year, only played in 6 games, started 1, had 1 sack. I think double-digit sacks is absolutely in play.
And
anything.
He's a guy that wants to go out and get money, too.
Yeah, he's got that motivation. Anything less than 8, I think, would actually be really disappointing for him. So, double-digit sack season for Charles Omenihu.
Here's my true opinion. Sizzling hot.
That's not obnoxious at all.
I got worse.
That sound effect was not obnoxious at all. Where was that from?
It's a frying pan from my folder.
Okay.
Crap
from my folder. Okay, so I'll give you guys one.
All right.
I think Noah Williams starts by week 4. He is going to replace Jalen Watson. I think he will be starting.
I'm with you.
By week 4.
I guess by week 4.
I almost said week 3, but which obviously would be more bold. But I'll say by week 4, Noah Williams is a certified starter for this Chiefs defense.
You know what? I actually agree with you on that.
Yeah,
I won't disagree. I think it's a good take because I looked at the rookie class and you think, all right, who can actually start from this rookie class? Because it's a good. I like a lot of these. I like this rookie draft class a lot, but it's going to be a lot of role players, positional players. Jalen Royals not going to start, but he'll probably make an impact at some point. Burchard won't start, but make an impact. So Norman Lott, same way. I like that because Noel Williams on Character Concerns, where we look at the draft picks and draft classes.
Is that your podcast?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We just dropped it today.
Yeah, I didn't know.
But, well, Drew's got one too. I'll be on his. So I'm sure
that's what I heard.
I promoted it a lot last week. Drew's 249 Miles of College Football. Very good podcast. But regardless, Noel Williams was our pick to start first out of the rookies. Would be Josh Simmons, but again, we don't know exactly the health. But Noel Williams, there's a theme with this Chiefs draft class where they did something. Like the pressure rate or quarterback pressure rate for my Ashton Gelati, Omar Lott's pressure rate as well. I mean, analytical. This is a very analytical draft from the Chiefs. Noel Williams led the nation in interceptions. The dude's a ball hawk. Not to mention, he picked off Cam Ward in an actual game this year when Cal played Miami. But he's a certifiable ball hawk, and he's very good against the run. We had his coach on. He's like, some of these mock draft things will say, well, he's not good against the run. His coach came on and poo-pooed that and said, no, this guy's good against the run. But I agree with Noel Williams.
It might even be before. I mean, it could be week 2. It could be out of camp if things go really, really well.
Some of these text messages are good
in here and stuff. But
we're going to get to your text, too. Some really good predictions. We're just going through some bold Chiefs predictions based off of NFL.com doing their national ones. My last one I'll give you, Bink, and then we can get to the text line. And so I know you have like 5 or 6 of these. For me, Rashee Rice, 1,400-yard season. This is obviously based on him not getting suspended.
That would put him top 5, right? I think
it's an asterisk
top
by
5.
Yeah, if he's suspended 3 games, then he's obviously not going to have 1,400 yards. But 1,400-yard season, it's bold. No doubt.
So how many 1,000-yard receivers? If he gets 1,400, because
how many does the Chiefs have? How many
thousand?
thousand?
Where do you have Mahomes at? 4,000, 45?
4,200 plus at least.
Okay, so 1,400 for Rice, then.
Yeah.
1,400 would have put him third
1,000 yard, like Worthy get 1,000.
Yeah. 1,400 would have put him third in the league behind Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, it's a bold prediction. It's a bold prediction.
It's a bold prediction. I like it.
He was on pace.
He was. Yeah, the fact that he was on pace, I think, actually.
That's what I'm basing it off of.
You know?
Prior to that Chargers injury, he was on pace. Now, it was a small sample size, but I think in terms of the role they would like him to have in this offense, it runs through him, not Travis Kelce. That was not last year. The plan was not for Travis Kelce to be the guy. That doesn't mean Kelce can't be a huge factor still. It doesn't mean Kelce still can't have 900 yards. All that, it can be true. But you look at finding that spot in the zone, basically. Who did he learn from? Travis Kelce. That's Rashee Rice is so good at finding that spot there and then obviously getting yards after the catch. He also has looked good at minicamp. He's on track to be good to go for camp, all of that. So, yeah, it's a bold prediction. If I wanted to be conservative with it, I would tell you he's a 1,200-yard guy, but I'll go bold 14. That's what we're doing.
They won 15 games. They made it to the Super Bowl. What total number do you think led the Chiefs last year in yards?
900 something.
No. 823, Travis Kelce led the way. 638, Xavier Worthy. Noah Gray was third with 437. He's actually tied with D-Hop, 437. So, no player had more than 850 last year. This team won 15 games and made the Super Bowl. Would they open things up? That's the question, because you're saying 600 more yards beyond what the highest total was last year for Worthy.
I mean, people on the text line, I've seen Pat gets 5K passing yards again.
Wow.
This year, which is bold.
Yeah. All right. But what's one more for you? And then we'll read some of these texts.
Yeah, and I've got a couple more too. But George Karlaftis, that's a career.
We'll get to those later. We'll be talking about this later.
George Karlaftis is going to be looking for money as well. I do believe in George, and I like how he gets better and better each time. Tom Ali's working with him in the offseason, doing the jiu-jitsu and everything else. But George Karlaftis, I think, gets a career high in sacks. He had 8 last year. I think he could have had even more than that. But George Karlaftis has never got more than, I think, is 10 his high water mark? I think it is. 10.5. He had 10.5 one year. But I have George Karlaftis getting to 12 and setting a career number for him.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, for his reason, the contract year stuff comes into play.
And he only had 8 last year, so it'd be a growth of 4.
Yeah, we wondered, going into last season if he was going to take the big leap to put himself in that kind of elite edge rusher category. Right now, he's one of the better edge rushers. He's not in the elite category. If he were to get to 12, I think you could start putting him back in that conversation again. But, yeah, last year was a little disappointing. Some of that will go, I think, if Charles Omenihu does what I think he can do this year, that's going to help Karlaftis out big time as well. Give him somebody else on the other side because we know, unfortunately, they haven't got anything really out of Felix.
How do you guys feel about this text from the 816? I don't know how you feel about this. Mahomes gets hurt. The mustache. Hang on. The mustache takes over. We make the playoffs. Mahomes comes back, and we're in the conference title game. That coming from Ryan on the text line. He put his name out there on this.
So your
one.
bold prediction is an injury. Okay.
And then they're back in the conference title game.
After
I'll
be honest, I hate that whole thing.
I was going to say, I don't know how that makes you feel.
Yeah,
as Chiefs fans, guys.
Yeah, I don't like that at all. No.
The one thing I liked about your pick with Amenahue, though, is contract year, and he's not making all that much money. Like, this is his incentive. He's 28, so it would behoove him to get that. He came back to the Chiefs. Chiefs like him. He likes the Chiefs.
Yeah.
But he's 28, and this is where he could get that big contract for an edge rusher if he performs this year.
913-586-7965. All right, we got a bunch of texts on this. Let's try to run through a couple of them that stood out to us. One for somebody here. Someone says that Hollywood Brown will lead the team in yards. So just all-purpose yards.
Bold.
That's pretty bold.
That's bold.
It's very bold.
Wide receiver 3?
For that to happen, honestly, let's talk it out for a second. For that to happen, number one, he has to stay healthy. That might be the toughest thing. Secondly, Rashee Rice might have to be suspended for this to happen.
He's good for about 2 to 3 misses a year.
Yeah, I've been a little more bullish on Hollywood Brown than I know. Like Cody and I have gone back and forth on what we think he can be, and I think last year was a very unfortunate injury. I don't put that in the same category as having a hamstring injury in week 4. That was literally one of the rare injuries in the NFL. We've only seen that. What was it, sternoclavicular or whatever the heck it was? A very rare thing.
He had a few 16-game seasons in Baltimore.
Look, Hollywood Brown, I think, could have 800 yards this year, and that some people think I'm way too bullish on that. Leading the team in yards, that either means the offense is really bad and 900 leads the team, or like I just can't imagine a Hollywood Brown having 1,200 yards for this team. Anybody else?
He'll be effective.
No.
I do think he gets in the end zone at least 4 times.
Okay. Yeah.
But I don't see 1,000 yards. 800 maybe.
Here's another one. Someone says Mahomes will have 40-plus passing touchdowns. They even have a bet on it, they said. 10-1. 40-plus passing touchdowns. Well, that'd get him back top 5 offense.
I had
probably.
a Mahomes figure as well.
What was his I'd have to go look just for comparison. What was he doing the last couple of years? Touchdown.
He's had three seasons, I think, over 40.
Yeah, but last year was only like 26.
Last year's 26.
Yeah, 26 last year, 27 the year before.
But you had your receivers
Mahomes.
1 and 2 basically not play with you all year.
26, 27, 41, 37. He's only gone over 40 twice. Yeah, I'd probably fade
50,
that one.
hit 41, came close to
probably
37, 38.
If he had 35 to 38 touchdowns this year, that'd be a great season. It'd be a good sign for this offense.
I honestly think he'll get to 35.
So do I. 40, though, is a different animal. I mean, even as great as he's been, he's only done that twice.
But he set out a few of the last games, for
10-1 though. Yeah. By the way, the year he got 41, he played in all 17. The year he got 50, of course, he played in 16. They were there.
And keep in mind when he put his crazy stats of 5,000 yards in 50 touchdowns, the defense was like his defense at Texas Tech.
Yeah.
I mean, he had to put that's one thing. You put up big numbers when your defense sucks. Just like Joe Burrow, Drew. When your defense is the worst in the league, the quarterback's going to put up numbers. And the Chiefs' defense has gotten better, so the quarterback's numbers are going to go down. That's just common sense.
I like this next one from the text line. Someone says, Isaiah Pacheco will have a 1,000-yard season. I'll admit, I almost put this one down for mine. Here was my hesitation, because I'm almost right there with you, I think they got so many guys in the backfield that are kind of, all right, that I think it gets split up way too much. But in fairness, Pacheco has come very close. He had 830 his rookie year. He had 935, and then last year, of course, he had the injury, so he only had 300, 310. I think he can be an 800 to 950-yard back. I don't think it's that crazy to say he could be a 1,000-yard back. I just wonder with Brashard Smith, with Elijah Mitchell, Kareem Hunt, if the offense is more explosive, if they're going to run the ball even less. That would be my only hesitation. I do think Pacheco has a bounce-back season, as in he's fully healthy, and he looks like the Pacheco from before, which was a very nice back. Nothing crazy, not explosive, but a very nice back to have. 1,000 yards, when he's 26, when he hasn't done it when he was fresh and healthy and younger. I don't know. Why do I think this year would be the 1,000-yard season?
I think it's going to be split up so much, and I think third downs, you won't see him as much. Because I think it's going to be a lot of Kareem Hunt, a lot of Brashard, a lot of that on third down situations. I just don't think he would have the carries enough to get to 1,000.
All right, give me one more that you have, Bink.
One more of that. We've kind of done Mahomes there. But anyway, I'll just go back to Mahomes. I said 4,500 yards. He goes from 3,900 to 4,500 because if the receivers stay healthy, I think it's very, very possible. 4,500 and 35 touchdowns. And he finishes second.
I was going to say, with those numbers, he's going to be top 3 MVP.
Well, no, there's more to it. Then he finishes second in the MVP. So he's back under that category where people debate it towards the end of the year. Well, Mahomes win MVP or not. And the Chiefs get to number 5, back in the top 5 in scoring offense. because they've been 15 the last 2 years. Then they were 1, then they were 4. I think they can get back to top 5.
I mean, that's if you were to ask, like, the utopian dream scenario, everything goes perfect for the team, and what you just described would be everything. Everybody's healthy. O-line is fixed.
But
it's
the
like
bold part is going from 15 to 5.
I hear you. No, but it's bold for sure. I'm just saying, if for that to all happen, you would agree, right? Like, everything has to kind of go right.
World.
Yeah, and I hope you're right on that.
But the one thing I'm happy about is, and we talked a little bit about it yesterday, how, Mahomes was asked, how nice is it to have all your receivers back because they're used to it. And then the clip I played you with Andy Reid, talking, you know what? We can install different packages early on in the season. We don't have to wait because they already know it. Like, that part helps, that these guys are ready to go at the beginning. So that bodes well for the quarterback putting up numbers.
I see your texts. We'll keep getting to those a little bit later on the show. I promise we'll bring this back, some of the bold predictions. Some of you have texted in. We got some good ones still coming into 913-586-7965. Let's transition a little bit, though, to what is going to come out in about 2 weeks or so. Quarterback. This is the third iteration of this. They did the receivers the year before or whatever, but quarterback is back. We know Mahomes was in it in the debut year, and I thought it was great. Kirk Cousins was in it. Kirk Cousins is back in it. Joe Burrow, though, Drew, I mean, we might not hear from between college football video game release and this quarterback show. Drew, we may not be able to text him and get a response back.
He didn't want to be in it, right? He didn't want to be in it. Do you remember that when he didn't want to be in it?
Here's the
He's
trailer.
A very private guy.
Here's part of the trailer that just came out.
You only have so many of these seasons.
New week. Let's go.
Start out your career, you're like, okay, I'm going to be playing for 15, 20 years. It seems like a lot. And then you blink your eye and you're in year 5. Next time I blink my eye, it's going to be year 10. Now where we're at, the great ones make it work.
How did you get that? Get used to it. I feel so lucky to be the quarterback.
Well, as a quarterback, you have to be that guy that your teammates are relying on.
Kirk gonna throw. How about that, boys and girls, getting back to the slick route?
A lot of people in my former organization may have thought I was being cast away, but I saw an opportunity I had here was special.
This life is definitely not normal.
He's the most popular figure we have. That's my man, Joe Burrow.
He's everywhere.
How'd it look? It looked good. All right.
There's a part of me that just always wants to fix things.
I overled him.
Third down. I do not want to give them the ball back. Clock is our friend.
Bam!
It's not all on him, but it's a lot on him.
Second turnover of the ball game. Hold on, I got it.
We got this.
Sometimes you just need to mix it up a little bit. I just bought a Batmobile. I'm pumped about that.
And it goes on from there. That, of course, was
This
Joe
is
Burrow.
actually the second season of quarterbacks, not third. Second for quarterbacks.
Yeah, that's what I said. It's third of the quarterback show.
Okay.
They had the receiver one.
But they also talked about, didn't have in a trailer, they talked about his house being robbed.
Yeah,
Like that, again, these are things. Joe Burrow's a very private guy. He didn't even want to do this at first, I thought. Now he does it. And then he was talking about his home being broken
the
into.
Batmobile.
Like, I know the Batmobile's in there, but I didn't think he'd be talking about his home broken into because he's been a very private guy. That's what him being on the show surprises me more than Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, I'm way more interested because the quarterbacks are back involved. I mean, it just wasn't nearly as good when it was you know, Justin Jefferson, as much as he's a hell of a player. It just wasn't as fun of a show to watch. Quarterbacks are what drives this league, and the NFL is all about quarterbacks. We talk about quarterbacks more than any other position in sports, period. So the show having, it's Goff, it's Burrow, and it's Cousins. Those are the three.
What are they going to do with Cousins? Just getting benched? Because
but that didn't happen until like November.
Oh, is his family life or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, I
think Goff's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I actually think the Cousins angle is one of the more interesting ones I want to watch because he was a starter. He was coming back from an Achilles injury.
The draft in the trailer.
He didn't play well.
I would have rather seen Penix than
he
Cousins.
gets a rookie drafted right behind him and then ends up getting benched because he didn't play well, and then he had to just sit on the bench. I'm sure it talks about that emotional roller coaster. And to this day, he's still a member of the Falcons. So that's intriguing. Joe Burrow want to be intriguing because I want to see how frustrated he gets with his crappy defense throughout the entire season. Even though he's putting up ridiculous numbers. But I can't wait for the show. But we're going to lose Drew, I'm telling you, for 2 weeks between college football video game and this show.
So
my gosh.
just wait till the SEC docs come out. That's supposed to
I'll
come out in
pass
August, I think.
I'll pass on those.
I don't think
pass on the
Missouri's
SEC.
in it. I don't think Missouri's in it, Bink. I can't remember if Missouri's in it or not. Or if they passed.
Don't think so.
Yeah.
I need to see the
Quarterbacks, you got
Anyways,
me.
yes.
Some of these other ones, but the
This
SEC
is better than Mariota
doc,
being
I'm
in
out.
it because that was terrible. Marcus Mariota.
I agree.
just didn't enjoy that.
Well, they basically phased him out the last two episodes.
Cousins is fine. I like Kirk
it's going to be
Cousins, but
that's
I've seen
going to
it
be the
before.
Kirk Cousins angle. Is eventually they're just going to face him out of it, and it'll be
Good.
Joe Burrow up to the playoffs, and then it'll be
I've seen
all
enough.
Jared Goff. It'll be all Jared Goff the last
I've seen
two
enough
episodes.
Kirk
probably.
Cousins. I've seen enough of it. I'd rather see Matt Stafford or somebody else said it, just somebody new. I'd
A lot
like
of
to
these
see
guys
all
don't
new
agree
guys.
to it.
Josh Allen.
Yeah, I actually think
Lamar Jackson loves Hollywood. He would have been in here.
Having a quarterback benched makes it a little intriguing.
It is ironic how the story, because I don't remember, it was Kirk Cousins, it was Marcus Mariota, and it was Mahomes in the first one.
Yeah.
You had Super Bowl, you had playoffs, you had benching. Like in this one, you get quarterback gets benched, you get quarterback is great, but the defense stinks and they don't make the playoffs, and then you get a quarterback that's expecting to go to the Super Bowl. The Lions don't quite get there. Like it fits 3 different phases of the season for those 3 guys.
They should have just the teams want to protect the rookie quarterback, so that's part of the problem. You're never going to get like Jaden Daniels in year 1 on quarterbacks. Like these teams they're not going to put them under that microscope in the rookie season.
Though.
For sure, but you know why teams wouldn't do that. Now maybe Jaden Daniels or Kayla Williams are on the show next year or something like that, and we usually don't find out who's on the show until the year's over or halfway through it. But I understand why, much like Hard Knocks has like exemptions. I'm assuming I'll be shocked if we ever really have a rookie quarterback on the quarterback show, because if you're the team, you're trying to protect that guy so much.
You know, one guy I think would be really good, Baker Mayfield. Just his like resurgence in the NFL and his teammates buying it. I think that would have been interesting.
I think so.
Good angle. Or Josh Allen. He's the MVP. Why not have Josh Allen do it? He's in a Hallmark movie like you, Gold.
That's true. We got something in common, don't we?
You do. You and Josh Allen.
That's true.
I don't know if he's in that movie, but
actually, yeah, you say that he's not in it.
Oh, he's not.
Just like Mahomes wasn't in the Chiefs Hallmark movie.
I'll tell you, I think somebody mentions Baker. That'd be an interesting one. If Shador ever wins the Browns job, then Shador is going to be in this series
at some point.
I almost guarantee. Like Netflix won't.
Are they going to go driving with him?
If he becomes,
jeez.
I don't know. I mean, they might have him driving the G-Wagon around.
No, I don't think he's driving. He said he's done driving. He can't handle the speed limit. He's done driving.
I just think
be good. CJ Stroud, Jalen Hurts.
I think we make so much of a big deal out of that when it's for some people it is a problem, but
big deal about what part? Sorry.
About driving too fast over the speed limit.
Well, so it's 2 things.
I think we make too big of a deal about it sometimes.
So in the legal sense, yeah, it's like a 4th whatever misdemeanor. You're right. In the legal sense, it's not, him speeding is not a big deal.
He was clean.
When you are at that level of athlete, when you have already a lot of baggage coming in, when you're trying to avoid distractions, when you're trying not to embarrass your team, when you're such a public-facing figure, having reportedly, 2 speeding tickets. By the way, he wasn't just going 5 over, 10 over and got screwed, okay? He was
second on one.
I think it actually is worthy of conversation. In the legal sense, you're correct. It doesn't matter. You question the decision-making of a guy that people are already questioning. You know, you don't want that if you're the Cleveland Browns. That's all.
His last week's going over 100. I mean, that stands out. But again, everything was fine. I mean, everything ended up fine. There was nothing illegal except for the speed.
Yes.
I mean, we've all gone fast. I told Drew.
I mean, if you're saying it's a good thing he didn't have weapons in the car, yes, correct. It is better than that.
I told Drew. I told Drew, everybody's sped. I mean, nobody goes just the speed limit. When you say, hey, what's the fastest you've gone?
That's not the
maybe
point.
Maybe it's over 100 miles, and I'm sure it is.
If I went 40 over and then went 40 over 2 weeks later, that's a problem. That would be a problem.
It's like going fast.
Yeah. Anyway, up next, let's get to the Royals homestand. Rays, Dodgers at home, plus what's going on with the Royals 1 through 5 hitters in particular. So numbers that might actually surprise you. That's coming up right here on Cody and Gold.
This is Cody and Gold.
You will not decorate my balls, period. I will decorate my balls.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. 96.5, The Fan.
It's Taco Tuesday time, Kansas City, and Third Street Social is bringing the flavor. Every Tuesday from 3 p.m. to close, hit the bar or lounge for our legendary $2.50 tacos and $5 house margaritas made with Jose Cuervo Tradicional Silver. Come see us at one of 3 convenient Third Street Social locations, South Plaza, Northland, and Lee Summit. Join us for steak, street tacos, cold drinks, and your favorite neighborhood vibe. Third Street Social, a part of the Summit Hospitality Group and a proud taco partner of the Cody Plus Gold Show on 96.5 The Fan.
That's the sound of James adding long-lasting Gain scent boosters to his laundry this morning. Several hours later, James sniffs the irresistible scent of Gain on his shirt. Gain. Several hours later, James has even caught the attention of his mother-in-law, and she never gives him attention.
Ooh, you smell amazing, James.
Oh, thanks, Mom. I love you too.
I never said that.
Add Gain Scent Boosters to your laundry. Add joy to your day.
I love saving money, and Hy-Vee is always finding ways to save me some dough, like new lower prices in every department. And on top of that, I save so much money at the pump with Hy-Vee's awesome Fuel Savers deals. I love watching the number roll back at the pump, and Monday, June 30th is for me. I'll earn a 40-cent per gallon fuel discount with every $60 grocery purchase, and you will too. So stock up for 4th of July weekend and stack up all of those fuel savings. It's awesome to save money at the pump, only at Hy-Vee.
Nothing says summer like a backyard barbecue. Invite your family, the neighbors. You can even include the entire Little League team. Hy-Vee makes it easy and affordable. This Friday through Sunday, save big on all your favorite flavors of summer, like John Morrell Frank's just 97 cents, Juicy Ripe Cantaloupe $1.99, Pepsi 6-pack bottles $2.99, and Lay's Potato Chips just $1.99. Hurry to the backyard barbecue sale and fire up the grill this weekend only at Hy-Vee.
Hey, it's Rex here with RexBuysKC.com, your local KC home buyer. If you own a property in the Kansas City or surrounding area and want to sell it fast and at a fair price, write this number down, 816-330-6000. I'm a private real estate investor, not some hedge fund or large national chain. My family and I live right here in KC. I can pay cash and close on your timeline, even in as little as 3 days. Here at RexBuysKC.com, we're improving Kansas City one house at a time. I buy inherited houses, vacant houses, foreclosure houses, behind in payment houses, my tenant won't pay the rent houses, and properties that need complete rehabs. Do you own a house that's trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at this number, 816-330-6000. That's 816-330-6000, or go to RexBuysKC.com. That's RexBuysKC.com, and I look forward to working with you.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
If Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea was your best friend, it would be the kind of friend that starts an impromptu dance party in the supermarket aisle that turns into an all-day pool party rager at your place, and you don't even own a pool. Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea turns any day into a legendary adventure. It's smooth and refreshing real iced tea with just the right kick of alcohol. Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. Keep it twisted.
Twisted Tea Brewing Company, Cincinnati, Ohio. Please drink responsibly.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Here'th my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover is accepted at the places I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times? You're playing the lute.
Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Now more than ever, Lowe's knows you don't just want a low price, you want the lowest price. And with our lowest price guarantee, you can count on us for competitive prices on all your home improvement projects. If you find a qualifying lower price somewhere else on the same item, we'll match it. Lowe's, we help, you save. Price match applies the same item, current price at qualifying retailers. Exclusions and terms apply. Learn how we'll match price at lowes.com/lowest price guarantee.
Every success you've had began with a great opportunity. Now there's another one. College students, service members, veterans, and working adults. Now is the time to move your career forward with an online and accredited skills-based education. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chef.
This is the all-new 96.5 The Fan, your new home for Royals baseball. KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
11 o'clock hour here on a Tuesday. Cody and Gold, Alex Gold with you. We got Drew Nixon producing the show. Jay Binkley in for Cody Tapp. We'll get to the trash of the day here in about 18 minutes or so. Also, we're a half hour away from the Chiefs Red Half Hour. We'll get right back in to the Chiefs, including what that theme might actually be throughout camp and throughout the 2025 season. But the Royals tonight are back at home, Bink. They kick off this homestand, a big one, against the Rays, who are playing really well, the Dodgers, who are consistently one of the best teams in baseball. I think I last year, 15, 17 above 500, leading the NL West. They're going to win the NL West. Shohei Ohtani may be slated to pitch on Saturday. We'll see. They haven't officially announced that. Maybe he pitches 2. Maybe they stretch him out to 2 innings. If not, it's been 1. Yeah,
could be.
So you might have that, which it could be a draw. But
he was very good and efficient this last time out.
I know none of these are divisional opponents. One of them's an AL team, one's an NL team. But given what we had discussed about the road trip where they went 4-2 and they cut the 4-game under 500 down to 2-game, they cut it in half. 2 games out of a playoff spot. I didn't look to see what happened last night. Maybe they're 2.5 now. I'm not sure. Of course, today's a full slate of MLB action. But this series and this week is so massive because if you're trying to judge them against quality, what we think will be 2 playoff teams. Dodgers, 100% will be a playoff team. The Rays, I would say, probably an 80 to 90% chance will end up being a playoff team.
They're just 2, so they're motivated to. They can
you can
take over the Yankees.
It's weird. On one hand, you say, hey, this is a good week, a barometer to find out where are you at compared to the playoff teams. You're going to play 3 or 4 straight series against playoff teams. I would agree with that. That will be how people determine where they're at. It's more about the number than how do they stack up against the Dodgers. We already know the Dodgers and the Yankees are above the Royals. The Royals are outclassed against those teams. Now, can you be outclassed but you don't get absolutely swept by them? The Royals, as they currently sit, without going out and trading for a bat, there's no debate. We know the Dodgers are better than the Royals. I don't need to see them play on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to figure that out.
Teams, Rays not, but they're very good.
Yeah,
big
look,
difference.
I think more importantly, the one you got to have if you can find a way to win a series is this first one. The Rays are playing well, but this is the one when you take a look at their lineup and pitching staff. Yes. The Dodgers, you know what you're going to deal with on Saturday. I put an immense amount of pressure going in the Dodgers series if you get swept by the Rays
100%.
or something like that. You want the series win, but you cannot get swept by the Rays to kick off this homestand and make it 9 straight home losses.
Yeah, and you've lost 6 straight series at home, so that'd be 7. So that's when the pressure starts. You've lost 7 straight series at home, but everybody's in the same division. That's how you kind of look at things. Yeah, you look at this division, Cleveland, Minnesota, Chicago, that's fine. Detroit's kind of running away with this thing at this point, but everybody in the American League, as we mentioned, 9 teams within 2.5 games of the wild card. Everybody's essentially in the same division. So all these games, and they're going to be playing Seattle soon. So Seattle, the Rays, teams like that. The Dodgers, National League, different, but it's still a showcase how talented you are going against the very talented Dodgers team, big money team over $200 million who you're going against. It's just you can't let 7 become 8 series lost at Kauffman Stadium. This is where you got to do damage. And again, it was disappointing they didn't win the last game against San Diego. They were that close to doing it. They should have done it. Should have come back 5-1 road trip and start feeling good about yourself. Not the 4-2 you all, but a little bit different being 5-1.
It can definitely clear up potentially some of the what should they do at the deadline conversation. If it turns into a great homestand, if it turns into a disastrous homestand. I told you in a weird way, considering the opponents, if they went 3-3, normally you don't want that at home, but I right this second, I would take a 3-3 homestand knowing the opponents. It at least keeps you around. It at least keeps you in the mix. I know some people obviously want them one way or the other, either to go out and have a great 4-2 homestand or bomb, and that way they can just completely move on.
Cartwheels. I mean, that would be epic.
It'd be a hell of a homestand, yeah. Tonight, by the way, Chris Bubich gets the nod. We all know he's going to give you a chance to win every single time. But can the offense come around? And that's why I thought some numbers were interesting. Royals data put this out yesterday about the 1-5 hitters. And we know that's been the story of the entire season. What are the guys you got to count on? Vinny, Salvi, Bobby, India to a certain extent. What are they doing? You might be surprised in this month. So June 24th. So in this entire month to this point in time, the Royals are 5th in batting average 1-5. Their 1-5 hitters are 11th in on base, 6th in slug, 7th in OPS, and they had the lowest strikeout rate of 1 through 5 hitters in all of baseball this month.
As a team, they're one of the lowest in Major League Baseball.
But 1 through 5, that's an improvement. But the big problem still is what we all know, and that is, well, that's great that they're now the 5th month in June, 5th best batting average 1 through 5. But runners in scoring position, they are still towards the very bottom of the league. And that's the thing. I think, I saw the number, I think, with Vinny, right? Vinny's been hitting great. He's still, though, with runners in scoring position, struggling. The Royals as a team.
With the most chances.
The Royals, they haven't had many opportunities with the bases loaded, but they don't have a single extra base hit when the base is loaded here in 2025, the entire season. So while it's promising to see in June 1 through 5 hitters, I just told you the numbers, they're top 10 in baseball in multiple categories, 1 through 5. But not in what appears to be the most important for this team this year, because it was last year when they were one of the best, and that is runners in scoring position. That still has to change.
That's got to change if you're going to make a run. Again, you don't want to waste this window of opportunity with this pitching. And I'm looking forward. Yes, the Dodgers going to be fun, and Ohtani and all that. That's fine. But this Rays series, man, I mean, this is the one. They've been very close with the Rays. These games have been very close with the Royals in Tampa the last 2 years. Royals split with them last year, 3-3. They were 3-4 against them the year before that. But they're sitting right there as a pest. They have dreams of coming to Kansas City. They're looking at your record, and they're thinking, can they catch the Yankees? That's what they're thinking of the Royals. That is how they're viewing coming to Kansas City. But the good news is, throwing Chris Bubic out there, just got to get the bats to perform, unlike what happened in San Diego. And you would think, can the bats return to what they were doing in Texas? There's some nice games.
That's the outlier, though, right? I mean, that's the thing. Is like I hear you, like return, like that was not the norm, though, and that's the thing. It's not even really returning what they were in Texas. That was the out of nowhere 9 home runs on the beginning of that road trip. That's just not what they've been. What they were on Saturday and Sunday in San Diego, that's what they've been 90% of this season offensively.
Well, the good news is because you got Walker right after Bubic.
I hear
this is your 2 of your big dogs right now going back to back.
The pitching staff is going to give you a chance to win. We know that. That's happened throughout the season. I just wonder, can they continue to do enough to stay in it to where there's an actual opportunity to go and trade for a bat to help this offense? Or do they not stay afloat because of the quality of competition they're about to face? And then it's very clear that they should sell some of these pieces. That's what the next 2-3-ish weeks are all about. Tonight, by the way, over at FanDuel, the Royals are actually favorites against the Tampa Bay Rays. They're minus 136 on the money line. Although Vern, I think, has pointed out a few times that the Royals, I don't know if the streak is still going. Games in which they're a favorite, like they've lost 9
or 10 straight.
9 of 10 or 9 straight games in which they've been a favorite. So their favorites tonight, minus 136. Bradley going for the Rays. Bubic, as we said, going for the Royals. The total for tonight, over under 8.5 runs. That's the game total, not the Royals run total.
I like the under.
For the game?
Bradley gives up some runs.
Royals total runs over under set at 4.5. Would you take the over or under on that? Yeah, it's minus 130.
Even though Taj Bradley's not been great this year, 4.95 ERA, almost hovering around 5. He does have some high strikeout numbers, but Bubic, yeah, you expect the best out of Chris Bubic. Would you take the under?
On Royals runs tonight?
I take it on both.
Most nights, I think, if I were to go back and look, if anytime the under is 4.5, you'd be winning money this year. If you clearly, right? Like Royals team total runs, anytime 4.5 is on the board, and you just took the under every single game this year, there's no way you're not profitable.
And it matters because you and I are 1
and
and 2 in Vern's little pick'em segment. So
yeah, I've got
some stuff out there.
I've got a side bet. A buddy of mine, when the Royals were sliding a week and a half ago or whatever, the road trip, right? Or the homestand when they were 0-6 or whatever, right in the middle of that, it was the second Yankees game. He made a bet with me and he said, I bet you the Royals will be 5 under 500 at the end of the month. And so I said, deal, I'll make the bet. I said they wouldn't. He said they would. So it comes down to this week. They're 2 under. They got 6 games. He needs them to be 5 under 500. I said they won't be 5 under. So this is a sweat week. I need them to do it against the Rays because I don't know what's going to happen this week against the Dodgers. So 2 wins against the Rays.
The All-Star break's very interesting for this team.
If I got 2 wins against the Rays for the bet that I have with him, Bink, then it's over already. Then I can't lose the bet at that point, right?
No.
It'd be 1 under. The plus 3 is 4, so we'd be good.
So who do the Royals have before the All-Star break besides these games? I know they have Seattle
Paul Skeens and the Pirates. Hopefully he gets to come to Kansas City.
That's a nice series to get some W's on. Unless Skeens, but you can...
I don't know if they'll avoid Skeens
but
or not.
Skeens been losing, even though his ERA is crazy.
Well, he's losing because his team sucks.
They're really bad.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the Mets to kind of send things into the All-Star break.
Yeah.
And they've slipped behind Philly.
Yeah, the Mets hit like 8 home runs the other night in one game. Soto had 2. They were destroying the baseball. They were on a losing streak, and they just hit like 8 home runs in a single game, I think. We'll get to the trash for the day in 9 minutes right here on Cody and Gold. You found something, though, about this offseason for the NFL, and a reminder of, hey, the offseason crown doesn't mean a thing.
No, because you see the constant articles. We all look at them, NFL.com, it's got sports.com, ESPN, doesn't matter. You look at them, say these 5 or these 7 teams are the teams poised to take the next step. You see all these articles about toughest schedules, wins and loss. Look, the Chiefs have a tough schedule. They don't have a tough schedule. Who's got the toughest schedule in the NFL? I just always laugh when I see that. Like, I always laugh when I see that because that just doesn't matter whatsoever. And I told you yesterday, kind of in passing there, that 20 of the last 23 teams that have won divisions, or the 20 of the last 23 years, teams that actually won the division didn't even make the playoffs the year before. That is so hard to do W's and L's when you look at teams. And you go back even 50 of the last 53 have not won the division, but made the playoffs after not making it the year before. So when you count all these factors, remember when the Jags were so good, and then they made the postseason, they won a playoff game, and they just collapsed.
Blake Bortles.
But you get that skill. No, even with Trevor Lawrence.
Oh, you just talking
remember
about
when
the
they beat
Chargers
the Chargers
game.
Yeah, when they came back and won that game, you think, okay, if the Jacksonville's on your schedule the next year, you're like, oh man, Jacksonville's a good team. I mean, they're the up and coming team. They had a chance to beat the Chiefs until Chad Henne beat them there in the playoffs. It's a good football team, but they weren't. They were terrible. So it's always tough to go in that direction. But I always get a kick out of which teams went more, and what they do is who spent more. Like, who spent the most money? Matter of fact, all the way from 2023, the 6 previous years, 3 of those 6 teams didn't even make the postseason that spent the most money, spent the most money in football. Last year, the Carolina Panthers spent the most money in the offseason, so everybody thought, oh, this way, take a step forward. They did. They did a little bit, but they still weren't that good. Like the Panthers, Bryce Young started to be served, but that wasn't a good football team. And they spent the most money in the National Football League. Denver in 23 has spent the most amount of money in all of football. They ended up going 9-8 in the year they spent the most money. Of course, Russell Wilson's contract was a big part of that. But what I'm saying is the teams that are in the top 5 of spending money in the offseason, because a lot of teams, you base your whole – analysts base everything upon who spent more money and schedule strength. And none of it matters. It's kind of what I'm saying.
So I agree with you on the offseason spending point. If you are out there and you've got a ton of cap space and you're obviously going to overspend if you're in the free agency game, it means you had a bad season the year before and all that. Yeah, typically you're not a very good team, and it usually doesn't translate. I would also say this past season, Bink, might have been a really bad time to have a ton of cap space. You're like, what are you talking about? Look at the way free agency played out and the available talent. How many teams retained their own talent and did not let guys hit free agency? The free agency pool was not good. Like teams like the Patriots, Commanders had a ton of cap space. Great, especially the Commanders because they had a great season. So they're not like the Patriots who were a 3-win team, 4-win team, whatever it was last year. But this was not the best season to have the most cap space. But so much the teams you listed off, Bink, you listed off the Broncos a couple years ago. It all comes down to quarterback. It's not so much of did a team win their offseason or not, and who cares if you were the offseason champs, and because that would be the Raiders in some people's eyes and the Broncos a couple years ago. If you don't have the quarterback, then none of it matters. So, yes, the Broncos, their issue is Russell Wilson was pitiful, and so who cares what they've spent, obviously. Like this offseason, who do you – like the Patriots are that team, by the way, and I actually do think the Patriots are going to be decent this year. The Patriots with Mike Vrabel, Drake May in year 2, they went out and yes, spent some money. Like I don't think the Patriots are a 10 or 11 win team necessarily, but they could be a 9 – yeah, well, the Titans.
Number 1 on the clock.
No, I don't think anybody thinks the Titans are winning more than 5 games this year.
Those teams were so bad though that they
sure.
Like if the Patriots win 7 games this year, that's a really good improvement, and a lot of it is based on what they did in the draft. Drake May getting better. They look like they could contend for the NFC South this upcoming season. So I think that's something to pay attention to. It's not necessarily just for one season that they're doing these acquisitions.
The Panthers spent $259 million, most of any team in the National Football League in the offseason. They improved by 3 wins, but those 3 they were still 5-12. So they're still 5-12. Year before, 2023, Denver Broncos, $259 million. Record, 8-9. 2022, highest spending team was the Jags. They went 9-8. So New England Patriots in 21 spent $291 million.
Again, the teams that have the most cap space that are drafting are bad football teams.
Miami Dolphins 2020, almost $240 million.
To Drew's point, though, a little bit, Bink, if you were the Patriots and you told them they won 9 games this year, they'd be ecstatic. They would be thrilled. It'd be a huge sign of growth and improvement for that franchise.
Drake May's probably the guy going for. Yeah, everything's good for them.
If your expectation is, hey, they had a great offseason, they're now going to be a 12-win team. Well, yeah, that's going to happen once out of every 30 times, if that. I don't think that's – it depends on how you're perceiving, hey, they had a great offseason, look out for them. If you're saying, hey, the Patriots had a great offseason, look out, and you think it's a 12-win team, yeah, well, then that I disagree with. That seems crazy.
They're not playing. Here's what Fox put out. There's some interesting stuff on here.
But you all know, Bink. But the logic there, yes, the Broncos they spent a ton of money a couple years ago with Russell Wilson. They stunk.
But
Russell Wilson stunk. Fast forward 2 years.
Okay, I get it.
Fast forward 2 years, Bink. And last year they were a 10-win team, and now we think they're at least going to be a 10 or 11-win team again. This argument that it doesn't work for multiple years, I would give you the Broncos example.
Well, here's the stats that say that you're wrong. Except for the 2016 Jaguars, the team that spent the most money in free agency increased their win total by 3 wins the following season.
But here's the deal,
However, 7 of those 8 teams saw their win totals decrease the following season. So they're not building upon success to this. But check this out. Only 2 of the top 3 spenders in the free agency classes, only 2, 2017 Jags, 19 Packers, reached the conference championship that year.
That's not what I'm arguing.
None of them made the Super Bowl. What I'm saying
not arguing that they're going to the title game.
What I'm saying is that we saw instant success, but not sustained success because it went right back down the following year, these big spenders. That's why when I see all these
I'm not disagreeing with you on
losses and teams spending in the offseason, you're like, who cares?
Gold's right, though, in the fact that it all matters. You can improve your team a lot, but if you don't have a quarterback, it doesn't matter how much talent you have, you're not going to be able to win. Where if you have the quarterback, you 100%. Sometimes can win with less talent, which is why
it just shows you're not going out and spending a ton of money. It's not the answer.
No, I agree. I agree with you for starters. On that generic point of whoever spends the most money doesn't mean they're going to have a great season. That point right there, without adding any other context to it, 100% with you.
Or the record the previous year. Who cares?
I'd be intrigued to find out who the Broncos spent money on the 2 years ago that they did it, because they didn't have the quarterback and they stunk. They got a rookie quarterback with all the talent they accrued in years past their free agency, Bink, and drafting. All of a sudden, they were a playoff team.
I don't disagree that the formula for sustained NFL success is never spending a ton of money in free agency. We are on the same page.
Here's the money they spent. Mike McGlinchey, the offensive tackle, 5 years, $87.5 million. Guard Ben Powers, 4 years, $52 million. Defensive end Zach Allen, 3 years, $47.5 million. Those are their big expenditures.
Yes.
And 2 of those guys are part of they had the best offensive line in football. So and they had a rookie quarterback who actually was good.
But they saw a win increase, then it's usually typically followed by a decrease, which is bad. Teams aren't spending their money wisely.
So last season, then, who spent the most money last offseason, you said?
The Panthers, right?
Okay.
So this year,
you're convinced that the Carolina Panthers, who, by the way, last season, how many games did they win?
5.
You're convinced they're going to win 3 now because you're telling me that it's not sustained. You can't keep improving.
I can see them staying around the same. 5
I think they're going to win 7 games probably this year. Yeah. They're probably going to win 7 games.
It's not.
Right, but that's
still
the
crap.
Yeah, that's all. I don't think anybody that's being serious is trying to argue that you spend a ton of money and you're now going to conference title games the next season, or that you're like the.
But a lot of people think that they think you will get all these free agency and boom, you're look at the Titans, for example, spent a crap load of money last year in their defense. When they went out and brought L'Jarius Sneed and all this, they made stupid moves and they ended up picking first on the clock with Cam Ward.
Yeah, there's just way more context. There's more context that is needed. Again, with zero context, if you just say the stat, spend a lot of money doesn't guarantee success. We all agree. But did they change coaches? Did they change quarterbacks? Did they have a top pick that year? Is their quarterback in year 1 or 2? There's so many different things of what go into it for a particular year. You're going to probably next year try to cite me the Commanders as an example because the Commanders overachieved. You would agree last year? We all do.
100%.
Jaden Daniels, the real deal, I think. They won, what did they end up winning? 12 games last year?
Made the title game.
And there's a good chance that the Commanders win fewer games this year because they had a bunch of veterans, and you're gonna come back next year and tell me, well, they spent a ton of money and see they won fewer games. That's where the context is needed because I already think the Commanders are winning a game or 2 fewer, not because they spent a ton of money in free agency. You know what I'm saying? It's not just you can't just do a blanket statement about the offseason spending. That's all.
They did bolster their offensive line. They had something they needed.
Yeah, they got Tunsil. They did.
So they definitely help that situation. And they bring in Debo and things like that. But again, these moves don't typically work. I just think that one stat, too, though, about 53 or 55 seasons since the merger.
Yeah.
A team has not made the playoffs and then made it the following year. That's
astronomical. That's a whole different conversation.
What I'm saying is
we see that every year, don't we?
But that's part of it. But that's just astronomical. Again, this goes in the equation of who's supposed to be good or bad.
Oh yeah, well that's a different conversation about parity in the league and stuff is different than the argument about spending in the offseason and how much better.
But I'm just saying it doesn't translate as much as people think.
Yeah. All right, let's get to the trash of the day.
Example.
Trash of the day.
All right, guys, let's get to a traffic stop. Drew said speeding's not a big deal. So did you. So this is perfect. I believe that was a direct quote from you guys 20 minutes or so ago. There's a beekeeper sets a few bees loose because of a traffic stop. So this, I don't know where the exact city of this was, but there is a city in Spain where they stopped a 70-year-old beekeeper for driving without a seatbelt. All right? Get stopped. They did a breathalyzer, showed alcohol. Officers asked him to repeat it. He then cursed, threatened them, opened up his van, which released a swarm of honeybees. Both officers were stung many times, and they hid in a restaurant until help arrived. The driver fled. They eventually caught the guy, and he was released on bail. Doctors treated the officers. Local reports say the man may already be cleared of assault, though that is not confirmed. Yeah, I don't know how. What you intentionally open up the bees? Is that I don't know what the exact legal circumstance would be there, but this guy intentionally set the bees on the officers.
Sounds like assault to me.
Yeah, I don't know what the
alligators.
I don't know what the legal how that would play out. You did that intentionally to harm somebody else, even if you didn't actually like physically with your own hand or whatever do it.
Same thing.
I would say that should be. I would agree with you, Bink. See, we can agree on stuff. You know, it's possible. It's possible.
Actually, I think we agreed more.
Part of me thinks that, for whatever reason, I know that Cody's not here, but part of me thinks Cody would argue against that it actually was not assault.
That you can just have.
Correct.
That it wasn't.
He was just doing it to scare them. It turned into something else. Which,
that's
again,
not a defense.
I know it's not. But I'm trying to think along the lines of something that Cody would say to try to defend. Well, the guy was just.
Yeah.
You not wearing your seatbelt though is.
Have you been? We've talked about this. But have you been stung by a bee, Bink?
17 times once.
17?
Well, many times, but 17 and once.
When was that?
Somebody opens up their door. No, just kidding. No, but I was stung 17 times. I hopped in the back of a truck at the lake when I was young.
You hopped in the back of somebody's truck with bees.
It's been sitting there and whatever, in the hive, and I got stung 17 times.
The hive was in the pickup bed.
Yeah, in the bed. It sucked.
Yeah, that's bad luck.
It's
tough.
So you jumped in the bed and landed right on the beehive?
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
no way.
It sucked, man.
I bet it did. That's terrible.
Whew. You're lucky you didn't have a major allergic reaction to that thing,
I've
man.
been screwed.
I mean, what if someone points that too? Like, yeah, what if one of the police officers were actually allergic? Then we're talking about like manslaughter or something.
Yeah,
100%.
Man,
a lot of people are allergic to them.
Someone said,
"What?"
Someone said Bink had to ask himself to be or not to be. Thank you, text line.
That is the question.
Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you. Someone says it's a sweet assault.
Sweet assault.
Drew, you've been stung, you said?
I have not been
people
stung.
that grow those things, raise them. There's
Yeah,
people
oh, yeah.
that do that to get their own honey or
Honeys,
whatever.
you know,
To my
it's
knowledge, at
important.
least,
Their
I
own
have
bees.
not been stung.
That is the trash of the
You
day.
haven't been stung?
No. To my knowledge,
I don't think I have either.
I have not
Really?
been stung.
Yeah, I don't think I ever have been.
Never horned nothing?
Well, that a wasp or obviously that kind of, but not a actual bee.
I haven't been stung, period.
Really?
By anything?
You've had a snake in your apartment.
I mean, like you've had mosquito bites and stuff.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Making sure.
A bite versus like a.
You better knock on wood of saying that, because you probably go out to your car and get stung.
Yeah. I'm one with nature, boys. They see me. They don't want anything to do with.
They probably don't like your
stinging me.
Burrow jersey, to be honest.
That black and orange is very bright.
Yeah,
that orange color is really
Just don't wear
jarring.
yellow, otherwise the bees will come after you if you wear yellow. You know.
You notice, Drew, how long? Now, he'll do it now because I'm bringing it up. How long? If I didn't say anything in this moment, how long do you think it would be till Drew wore any Pacers gear again? Will we see it till like next February?
I haven't seen any.
I'm working on. I'm trying to save up some money to where I can get a Hallie jersey because I want to get a Halliburton jersey.
Yeah, you should. As a Pacers
I'm
fan.
waiting up until that point to get any new gear.
All right, up next, let's get to the Chiefs Red half hour. The narrative was obvious last year. What do we think it'll be this year heading into the season and what we hear at training camp for the Chiefs? Based off of what they're saying in Baltimore already, that has Bink upset. Next.
Watch Cody and Gold on YouTube by subscribing to the 96.5 YouTube channel. Cody and Gold is brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Men, the summer is here. Longer days, warmer nights, and romance in the air. Intimate dinners, walks on the beach, dancing in the moonlight. But if you have erectile dysfunction, you know it can ruin romance, both for you and the one you love. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health. And if you have ED, don't let another summer go by without getting treated. Because intimacy is one of the greatest things in life, and fear of not being able to perform should not be something you have to deal with. At Heartland Men's Health, we're ED experts. We've successfully treated tens of thousands of men. Our protocols work when others don't, and we have treatments that are effective in well over 90% of cases. You could even last up to an hour or more and perform like you haven't in years. So call us. Your initial appointment is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600. That's 844-447-6600. Or go to heartlandmenshealth.com.
It's the spring sales event at Rob Sight Ford, and I'm here with the man himself, Rob Sight. Rob, you already stole the spotlight. Now what are you trying to take?
Just your attention, Kevin, and maybe a few trade-ins. Now, we've got up to $14,000 off new Fords with employee pricing, plus our own dealer discount.
$14,000. That's hotter than your Sunday barbecue.
Exactly. And unlike your burgers, these deals won't dry out. We've got hard-to-find inventory, huge trade-in values, and our non-commissioned sales team makes everything so easy.
No pressure, just real help. Even I'll admit it, it's the best place in Kansas City to buy a car, and I don't hand out compliments lightly, or seconds.
That's a fact. And don't forget, we're Kansas City's top-rated Ford dealer on Google. 4.8 stars, nearly 3,000 reviews, and 0 grill marks.
All right, Rob, I'll give it to you, man. You're cooking up some real value over there.
Come see us at 135th and State Line or visit robsight.com. But hurry, these deals are sizzling and inventory's moving fast.
And tell him Rob sent you. No guarantees, but he might throw in a hot dog.
Did storms hit your area? Looking for answers on the impact it made to your roof? Then it's time to schedule a zero-pressure, in-depth inspection with Century Roofing's trusted roofing experts. We will determine if enough damage exists to warrant filing a claim. See for yourself why Century Roofing has been voted Best of Johnson County for the 3rd year in a row. Trust the pillars of strength for 35 years. KC-based and female-owned. CenturyRoofingKC.com.
Century Roofing. Trust the pillars of strength.
You had a solid retirement dream. Sell your home in a few years, bank the equity, downsize, and travel. But with an unpredictable economy and the future feeling uncertain, you're wondering if that equity will still be there when you're ready. But what if you could bank that equity right now? With TrueHold, you could sell your home for its current value so you can access your equity today. You can bank the cash now and stay in the home you love with an easy standard lease. TrueHold even covers property taxes, insurance, and repairs. And since TrueHold hands over your equity in cash now, it's yours to do whatever you'd like. Don't let a shifting economy put your hard-earned equity at risk. Visit TrueHold.com and receive their competitive offer on your home in just 48 hours based on its best current value, not what's coming. Call 1-855-300-9393 or visit TrueHold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without moving. That's TrueHold.com.
Everyone has a fave Wendy's Frosty flavor. And when you're choosing from chocolate or vanilla, it's not that hard. But now, there's all new Frosty Swirls and Frosty Fusions. So try picking your fave from Oreo Brownie Fusion, Pop-Tarts Strawberry Fusion, Strawberry Swirl, Brownie Batter Swirl, Caramel Swirl, and Caramel Crunch Fusion. Not so easy now, huh? For a fresh way to Frosty, gotta be Wendy's. Open till midnight or later.
At participating U.S. Wendy's, hours may vary by location. Oreo is a trademark of Mondelez International Group. Pop-Tarts is a trademark of Kellogg North America Co., LLC. Used with permission.
What's that sound? That's the sound of Downy Unstoppable scent beads going into your washing machine and giving your clothes freshness that lasts all day long. There it is again. It's like music to your ears, or more like music to your nose. That freshness is irresistible. Let's get a Downy Unstoppables bottle shake. And now a sniff solo. Nice. With Downy Unstoppables, you just toss, wash, wow, for all-day freshness.
Summer's coolest mattress deals are going on now at Ashley's Stars and Stripes sale. This summer, save up to $1,000 on select mattresses. And say goodbye to hot sleep and save up to $500 on the best-selling Tempur-Breeze collection. Plus, feel the freedom to snooze now and pay later with 0% interest until 2030 on in-store purchases made with your Ashley Advantage Synchrony credit card. Better sleep starts at Ashley. Subject to credit approval. Minimum monthly payments required. See store for details.
Everyone has a fave Wendy's Frosty flavor. And when you're choosing from chocolate or vanilla, it's not that hard. But now, there's all new Frosty Swirls and Frosty Fusions. So try picking your fave from Oreo Brownie Fusion, Pop-Tarts Strawberry Fusion, Strawberry Swirl, Brownie Batter Swirl, Caramel Swirl, and Caramel Crunch Fusion. Not so easy now, huh? For a fresh way to Frosty, gotta be Wendy's. Open till midnight or later.
At participating U.S. Wendy's, hours may vary by location. Oreo is a trademark of Mondelez International Group. Pop-Tarts is a trademark of Kellogg North America Co., LLC. Used with permission.
For more than 75 years, University of Maryland Global Campus has given you the opportunity to build your next success. Choose from more than 135 degree and certificate programs in career-relevant fields like business, healthcare, data analytics, cybersecurity, and more. Plus, we offer 100% online and hybrid courses, personalized advising, and lifetime career services. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Brought to you by Gomer's. 5 locations in the KC Metro or online at gomers.com.
Summertime is fun time, and that means it's Gomer's time. Voted #1 KC liquor shop and family owned since 1969, Gomer's Fine Wines and Spirits. Stop by one of their 5 locations. You'll be glad you did.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. Welcome in to the Chiefs Red Half Hour. Every day at 11:30 with Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
Chiefs Red Half Hour is brought to you by All Weather Decks, Kansas City's most respected deck builder. Coming up in a few minutes, we'll get to what's happening more and more across multiple NFL teams this offseason around draft picks. Kind of surprising. Is this just the new trend? Is this somebody trying to mess with the status quo, I guess, at this point in time? It includes one Chiefs player, so we'll get to that in just a bit. But you were, I guess, in your free time, Bink, just perusing the internet, checking out the Baltimore Ravens website, checking out what Lamar Jackson had to say about this upcoming season, and something, it kind of struck a nerve for you. It sounds like you're upset.
It wasn't just their website. Everybody,
Okay.
everybody took it, but they put it on theirs. So they were the first ones to kind of start it.
And it's that Lamar Jackson and the Ravens are looking for vengeance, and vengeance is on the mind, according to Lamar Jackson. And you said, for what? Which will then get us into what the theme is for the Chiefs. But I don't know. I mean, like their vengeance, they're trying to get over the hump.
There's a lot of people who have vengeance. To be honest with you, the Dolphins could have it and say, you know what, we're much better than this. We made the playoffs a couple years in a row, than we didn't.
Yeah.
We got vengeance on our mind. The Bills should say, and Josh Allen, I got vengeance to finally beat Patrick Mahomes.
That's what Lamar's saying about the Bills and the Chiefs.
Exactly. But to me, the only true vengeance you can have, if you want to claim pure vengeance, is if you lost the Super Bowl. Because then you have something tangible said, we were that close to have that Lombardi. We didn't get it. This is what we need to do. Lamar and all these, any team can claim vengeance. They can.
Sure.
Even the Broncos can sit there and go, oh, we're better than the Chargers. We're that close to the Chiefs. We can beat them. That's vengeance. But when I hear Lamar saying this, they were running with this too. I mean, the Ravens website put this.
It's minicamp. It's minicamp, man.
I mean, everybody was running with this because, look out for Lamar Jackson. He's got vengeance on his mind. Or is he just mad he didn't get the MVP? That's his vengeance. To take that back from Josh Allen. I understand what he's doing.
It's motivation.
He's got 3 playoff wins. Let's not get crazy here. You guys weren't good once again in the postseason, and you lost. Say you want vengeance. There's a lot of teams that can claim vengeance. But I truly think the real one that can claim it is that loses the Super Bowl.
Is it just that word? Like, if he would, that seems what it is.
It bothers me.
If he would have just said, "Hey, we're just going to go out there and try to prove people wrong, or we're going to try to prove that we're better than what we showed."
Vengeance on my mind.
But vengeance, and it has you upset a little bit.
It's just laughable because any team can say this.
Well, sure. So then, why does it matter that he said it?
One can truly say it though. The one that lost the Super Bowl, I feel, is the one team that can say, "We have vengeance. We have some unfinished business."
Okay.
When you take it, make it to the Super Bowl and then lose it before you talk.
Someone said, so you're saying they weren't wronged, is what someone says. So that's why they can't have vengeance.
Maybe the Browns
so think
they have
vengeance
vengeance for sucking so bad last year. Maybe the Titans were damn mad. They're the first pick in the draft. Got vengeance from last year. When anybody can say that, talk is cheap. I'm just saying the team that loses the Super Bowl, that's truly the team that can say vengeance.
Okay. Yeah.
So nobody can have vengeance then.
Not unless you lose the Super Bowl. The Bengals could have said this after losing to the Rams in the Super Bowl, Drew.
But that wasn't.
They could have said we had unfinished business because we didn't push through, we didn't win it. They had vengeance on their mind.
But if you've never been to a Super Bowl,
Rams though.
If you've never been to a Super Bowl, for the Ravens, they're trying to get to a Super Bowl with Lamar Jackson. That's their quest. You just don't like
their vengeance.
You just don't like the vengeance thing. That's fine. All right.
I just don't look at the Ravens and I think they were wrong.
If Lamar said revenge, would you have been happier?
It's kind of the same thing.
All right.
I'm glad we had that.
Kind of apples and oranges here.
Okay. Yeah, very semantic.
I'd laugh when
conversation
like
there.
That. You laugh when you see it.
What do you actually think, though, that when we get to training camp next month, last year was simple. Three-peat. The players didn't necessarily talk about it as much, but they were talking about winning. Some did, but they talked about just, hey, when we had guests on, we had different players on, they said it's not so much the three-peat, it's just go win a Super Bowl. It just happens to be the third. But they all knew it was at stake. This year, are we going to hear, like, proving that wasn't us, that we're still here? What do you think the theme is? Because I think from the outside, I don't know if they'll say it, the first 2 weeks of the season and early on in the year, it's going to be about reminding everybody that, hey, we're still here, basically. Don't count us out. Don't forget about us just because we looked like crap in the Super Bowl. That's what the first few weeks are going to be about from the outside. At least that's how I think. I don't know if they're saying that. I think Patrick Mahomes clearly is going out there to remind people the first few weeks that, hey, don't forget about us.
I think so. When you heard what last week, we had fun with it when the players were talking, at the last mini camp. The question was asked with Patrick what he does with his rings. They got their AFC championship rings. They were basically just treated like toys around there because they collect the real things, right? I mean, they did poo-poo it. They did. Mahomes goes, I made a joke. Puts the winning ones in the safe and puts the other ones on top of it. Kelsey.
Drew puts his on the nightstand and loses them.
Drew.
Yeah.
I found out that Matt McGowan actually keeps his very close to the vest because he came in studio. He actually likes those. And I get it, man. He collects rings. But Kelsey, unless you win the Super Bowl, I love that attitude. But I guarantee you when they get in the 10th, you're going to hear it so much. Because last year, the media was all driven. Say three-peat, man. Say it. Some bought into it, some didn't. But this year will be Vengeance Tour. We got to get They can say it. Again, they can say it. The Chiefs have the right to say it. To get back and reclaim what was theirs. I mean, they're going to be asked about it. Mahomes will talk about it, I'm sure. Kelsey will be asked about Chris Jones, you name it. The bad taste in their mouth in the Super Bowl, that will be brought up at nauseum.
I agree with that.
At nauseum, that'll be brought up.
Joking about the vengeance part, but I'm with you on just in general. Yeah, it's about reminding everybody that, hey, this isn't over yet. This run is not over yet. It might look a little different. Andy Reid's still the head coach. Travis Kelce's got a year left. Chris Jones is still here. Mahomes is just now turning 30. This thing is not over. The wide receiver room potentially will have everybody available. That's why I really think it could be a lot of fun the first couple weeks if the Chiefs do what I think they might be capable of doing. And that will be like, oh, crap. Looks like it's another year of Kansas City being the top contender in the American League, in the AFC. That's what they have a chance to go out and do.
For years, they've been counted out. I mean, even go back 2 years ago. Remember, there's a crossroads game. Raiders on Christmas Day. Chiefs looked like crap. That was a terrible game. Looked like crap. Then the doubt came in, and people really started putting takes out there. They're not going to make the playoffs. I mean, that was the common thought. They weren't going to make it. Then they had the Bengals without Burrow the week after that, and they talked about that being a pivotal game, and I agree because two roads, dynasty or downfall. It depends on what they were going to do and how they were going to act. Were they going to go out and win? And they did. And then they parlayed that to one of the best postseason runs we've ever seen.
Same thing applies to this year, though, right? Don't you agree? Like, if this team were to get off to a bad start, I'm not saying they will, I'm not saying they won't, but if they were to get off to a bad start, and they lost to the Chargers opening night, can you imagine the overreaction?
Then you get the Eagles in week 2. I mean, it's tough.
If they lose in Brazil to the Chargers, the national narrative, and look, they'll be panicking Kansas City too. Like we've gone through this enough to see what the text line will be like.
Meltdown.
But can you imagine what the narrative is there? People will say, see, this is just who they are. I mean, you think they're counting them out. You think people are counting them out now based off of the Super Bowl. If they lose in Brazil, man, it's going to be at a level we haven't seen during this run.
The Chiefs are counted out every time they lose. I used to tell people on the postgame show, I was like, after the Chiefs lost, I said, don't go home and flip on the NFL Network. Don't flip on ESPN. You may stay away from ESPN NFL Live this week because they're going to talk about the downfall. And last year it was so bad that this was the discussion when they'd win because they had those one-score games and blocking the field goal against the Broncos. Oh, they should have lost that one. So instead of Chiefs losses, they had to go by Chiefs wins because they weren't winning by enough style points, not cute enough wins. So people had to find something to complain about. Yes, the sky will be falling if the Chiefs lose the game. And that ought to drive them more because I think the Chiefs this offseason's been the perfect fodder for them. I've told the story back when Danny Parkins and Carrington were doing a show, and they brought on Christian Cologne when the Chiefs were on the run, or the Royals were on the run. See, I did it too. We're on the run in 15 because everybody was talking nice things about the Royals. They were blowing smoke at them, butterflies and everything. Everything's fine with the Royals. Everybody wrote nice articles, except one guy didn't. He wrote that the Royals are going to have a regression, go back to like third or fourth in the division, not be good. What do you think was the one thing the Royals put on their wall? Christian Cologne said that article was it. You have to find that one thing. The Chiefs don't have to look far. Just turn their computer on, and it's down. It's down. Look at their social media or whatever. Just the fan bases, the hatred towards the Chiefs, the radio hosts that are going out there in their hot takes and saying the Broncos are going to win, the Chiefs are going to fall. But they say it every year, and that drives this team. I don't think people realize the Chiefs live on that stuff. Like, if you throw that out there, you're not hurting them. You're helping them because they take that stuff to heart. There's no team that I think knows more about what people say about them, and they won't admit it, than the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs clearly understand.
I just think every team knows what people are saying.
I don't care. We don't care what they do.
I don't know if they're any different in that regard. I mean, if we're just saying athletes acting like they don't hear what anybody said, they all know. They all know it. Some do a better job of making sure you think they don't know. But whether it's the Chiefs, whether it's Cincinnati, so the difference is, what do they do with it? If you're arguing the Chiefs have quote unquote done more with it,
fuel and do good with
sure, that's a different conversation. But in general,
it works.
Every single team, I don't care whether you're the Giants, whether you're the Tennessee Titans, it doesn't matter. Like, everybody hears it with social media nowadays. You may not actually tweet, you may not actually post things on Instagram, but you see it. There's no way any of these athletes don't see what is said about them. There's just no chance. Some just do a good job about hiding it.
Or your friend texts you from across the country and says, hey, did you just see what so-and-so said? Did you just hear what Colin Cowherd said?
Bink, I'm sure Josh Allen's sick and tired of losing to Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs because he knows every year it's a conversation. That doesn't mean he's not trying hard. I think he's trying harder than anything to beat Patrick Mahomes.
He's still America's darling, though. Despite all that, they still love him until they hate him. Once you're good and you've proven you're good year after year, they'll hate you. Watch the Eagles. They'll start getting a lot of hate themselves. They will. And how you deal with that hate. How will you deal with when people turn from liking you to hating you? It happens.
Yeah, I got you, man. You're good. Yeah, it happens to everybody, Bink. You're right. I mean, as far
Tim Tebow sold us. He won national titles.
Here, go drink something. Go drink something for a second. Go drink something for a second. No, it happens to anybody. The Chiefs were likable. We all knew that at one point in time, and then until they started winning. This happens in sports all the time. There's a lot of reasons why why things can shift quickly. Most importantly, you win, people start hating you. It's just, we love underdog stories in sports. The minute you're winning all the time, people don't like you.
I can only imagine if the Niners would have had somehow Purdy had won those 2 Super Bowls. People would hate Brock Purdy.
Yeah. Yeah.
People will hate the Eagles because of just the brashness of Sirianni.
Well, Nick Sirianni is easy to hate.
The Eagles weren't popular last year anyway.
Oh, yeah.
What's that?
They weren't popular last year anyway. There's a lot of people didn't like the Eagles.
Wow, that's Sirianni. That's
once they win, it changes things.
That's just Philadelphia. Sorry, I'm reading the text line. That's just Philadelphia and the East Coast sports fan arrogance. Someone says, Bink, man. Bink, someone could get this man some water. He's so passionate, he's getting choked up.
I love the huge homer take. on every topic.
I'm not laughing about that.
This one here's funny because you know my reaction to the Josh Simmons pick. That was not a Homer reaction. That was not.
You're good, man.
That was not.
913-586-7965.
This idiot hadn't seen it.
Someone said did Bink swallow his chew?
No. Just got tongue-tied, man.
You're good, man. 913-586-7965.
You all started stuttering like me, Bink. You're
man,
going crazy.
I was like, go get some water, man.
Get another beer.
Go get some beer. Maybe that'll help. Maybe that'll help.
We have some?
There's a lot back there.
Someone said, Gold, how can I capitalize financially on people sleeping on the Chiefs from a betting angle? Well, there's two areas right away that I think are interesting. One, the Chiefs are only minus 110 to win the AFC West this year. That has not been the number in recent history, and it goes back to the lasting image of the Super Bowl. A lot of years the Chiefs have been minus 280, minus 400, if not bigger, and I think we all recognize this division is in a really good spot to be competitive and all that. But at minus 110, if the Chiefs beat the Chargers week 1, you're not seeing minus 110 the rest of the season. So it's as good of a number as you can get right now. And then the other one is like, it's very, very difficult to win a Super Bowl. I'm not breaking any news here. But the fact that the Chiefs, who have done as much as they have and have the same head coach, the quarterback that's just now really in his prime, the fact that the Chiefs are 7.5 or 8 to 1 to win the Super Bowl, it's amazing value for a team that has all they do is get to AFC title games. You feel like it's a lock that they're going to get to that game. 7.5 to 1 for the Chiefs. That's a bet. Again, if the Chiefs start 2-0, you're never going to see 7.5 to 1 for the Super Bowl the rest of the season.
And Andy Reid's like, I always love the over-unders. Andy Reid's with the Chiefs just 2 years ago was 11.5 wins a year. That's his average.
Mm-hmm.
His worst year in Kansas City is 9-7. that is his worst. So he's now like 12.5 games a year since they've expanded the schedule. That's what you get from Andy Reid. It's almost a guaranteed 12 wins.
Yeah.
And people don't realize that. It's going to take a step back. Well, he hasn't. He just doesn't do it.
Heading into camp, there's a storyline that hasn't been discussed much because a credit to the player and I guess the Chiefs at this point, they haven't allowed it to become as much of a detriment to their offseason as in Cincinnati with Shamar Stewart. There's multiple second-round picks and first-round picks in Stewart's case that haven't signed. And Norman Lott's been at every practice and all that, and that's why it hasn't been a distraction or anything like that. But it's really interesting that, one, he hasn't signed, but also he's not alone. There are numerous first, second, third rounders.
It's all but like 5 guys in the second round haven't signed.
Do you think that this is it the teams taking a stance, or is this that agents are trying to push a new precedent basically moving forward with some of the guarantees or wording on deals? It's very surprising in today's day and age where everything's slotted, where like there's really no mystery about the dollar amount as much as we're talking about injury guarantees and clauses and things like that.
And a lot of it thinks it's going to fall like dominoes when Imawari signs his contract or someone at the top does. Someone needs to do it, though. We saw finally Travis Hunter in the first round get signed, right? And that's slotted. But it's the guaranteed money everybody's complaining about with the second round.
But why has this not been an issue? Why is it an issue this year?
It just wasn't. Just this year it is because of the guarantees. It just changed this year and the way people are thinking about it, but it'll go fast.
Yeah.
When guys at the top start signing, it'll go fast. You'll see second rounders. Every day you'll start seeing them coming in before camp. They'll be signed before they get to camp. But again, all but 5 of them are signed.
But like Norman Lott, he's been at every practice, so he'll be there for the first day of training camp and everything like that. But at some point, it just would be like, has anybody asked anybody? Like, it's funny how it's not a story in Kansas City, but it is in Cincy. And I understand the difference.
It's crazy that Travis Hunter, I didn't even know he hadn't signed.
Cincy has it's their first rounder. That's the reason why Norman Lott's not a first rounder.
Here's part of the problem is first round's guaranteed, second round's not, and that's been their biggest issue.
But even like Travis Hunter, him just signing the contract, too, he was the second overall pick or whatever he was. Nobody, I didn't even know that. And I don't know if that's because he's at workouts and he's playing. That might be the thing is where Shamar Stewart's gotten more attention because he actually is not participating.
Because he's not participating. He's holding court talking bad about the team. And people are on the side of the player because they know that they've, bungled their the Trey Hendrickson stuff.
I hate that. I hate that phrase.
I knew you would love that.
I hate that phrase so much because I had a friend who always
bungled the whole thing.
It doesn't help with the Texans signed Jaden Higgins. They give him a fully guaranteed contract. That hurts the other teams because they did it.
I think
that's what they all look at. So, hey, they guaranteed Higgins' contract in Houston, so now everybody wants it.
Gold, you brought up a good point that I think that, the Chiefs obviously they're very well run. It also depends on the individual, I think. But the fact that they didn't let this or it's still not becoming a big deal, even the Jaguars, like Travis Hunter, him not having his contract done was not a big deal. I mean, it was a top 3 pick. So I think it goes to show you the organizations and the way that they're keeping things in-house, the way that they're doing things. It's not becoming a huge publicity stunt, huge publicity deal where with obviously in Cincinnati it has been for not just Shamar Stewart, but with Trey Hendrickson, other organizations are figuring out a way to keep things under wraps and Eamon Worry, like this news isn't becoming a big deal because the organizations are doing a good job of keeping it in-house, and also the character of the players. They don't care whether they're signed or not. They want to be on the field and they want to practice. So shout out to Omar Norman-Lott and Eamon Worry and Travis Hunter and those guys.
Exactly. But with Higgins getting a guaranteed, and the Cleveland did it as well with Carson Schweisinger, the linebacker. They did it. But here's the other problem, because the Chiefs are part of this problem too. Because the 66th pick, they give Ashton Gillotte guaranteed money. So now the guys in between Jaden Higgins and Ashton Gillotte, that's the hole. Because these people are wanting guaranteed contracts now. Typically, it's first rounders to get it. But now, since the Chiefs have given Gillotte, who wasn't a second rounder, all that money, and Jaden Higgins has it, now all the other second rounders want their guaranteed money. So the Chiefs kind of are part of this problem, too.
We'll see what happens as we get closer to camp. If they just get this thing resolved and be done with it and move on. I mean, at some point, right? You just don't even like it. Hasn't been a big deal yet. But
if you guys get Omar Norman-Lott during camp and he still hasn't signed yet, I mean, is that I mean, I feel like that's a question
I don't know if they'll give us Norman-Lott on the show until that happens. So
okay. We won't get a snow cone until he's.
That's right. Yeah, no snow cone until the deal's signed. That's the rule. No, yeah, we will be up at training camp for multiple shows, like we always are.
I don't think that's been asked at all.
I'm with you. It is kind of surprising. Not to hit. I'm talking about just to the organization, but that's because Brett Veach, he'll be available one of the first days at camp. So will Clark Hunt and stuff. Although so much of that's going to be at the stadium.
Andy will talk from the dorms the first day. Tradition.
Yeah, you can go up there for that convo. No, I'm good. I'll pass on the. They're showing up with their microwaves and plasma TVs or whatever.
In creative ways.
They don't even do plasma anymore.
And their Xboxes,
Xbox. Yeah, they'll be playing college football video games.
I wonder, so somebody from the 816 says this, and I think, Patrick Mahomes referenced it in terms of the character of guys that are coming in the room, but also with NIL and all this other stuff, is there, whoever texted in from the 816 says, so with them getting more money, there isn't a rush to get that bag like it used to be with college students, needing money coming out of the league. But I think also to that, though, because they're now getting name, image, and likeness deals, they feel like there's some sort of power there where they can negotiate things in college where them just getting a normal contract that the team gives you, like normally I think because you didn't get money in college, you're like, just give me whatever and I'll take it and I'll sign the deal now. But now that they're able to negotiate in college and get paid, now it's more of a negotiation where I got drafted, but listen here, like I'm going to make sure that I get what I deserve regardless of whether it's the first round or the second round now. So I think name, image, likeness is kind of empowering the players a little bit more where they're not just taking anything they can get. They're actually trying to negotiate these deals and make sure they don't get screwed over, basically.
Because they know how to negotiate now, like you said. Negotiate all through college or hit the transfer portal. Art of negotiation they've learned. It's made the talent pool better, too.
I was just seeing, as we're at the end of the Chiefs Red half hour, Aaron Rodgers, I guess, is doing an interview with McAfee right now, and he says that this year will be the last year playing football. This will be it for him, he says. He's obviously signed a one-year deal with the Steelers. He said, quote, what's a better place to finish than one of the cornerstone franchises of the NFL? He said, yeah, I'm pretty sure this is it. That's why we just did a one-year deal.
I mean, he could have stayed with the Green Bay Packers. I think that might have been more storybook than.
Do you actually think this is the last year for him?
Yes.
I mean, also his performance is going to dictate that. I mean, if he's age, but performance, right? Like, there's a lot of people thought last year should have been his last year in the NFL.
I never take an athlete for their word for when they're retiring. Because so many things. Get to the Super Bowl, you barely lose, you want to come back, you put up a good year. You're like, hey, I think I have one more in me, so a lot can change.
Yeah, he also said DK Metcalf's a big part of the reason why he decided to sign with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He also says when he's done playing, you won't see me. I will not be in the public eye. He says we'll never see him. Okay, I'll hold you to that one.
I tend to believe that.
Do you?
I believe both things, actually.
So
I believe both things.
I think in theory, yes, he doesn't want to be seen or heard, but I also think we've seen enough that after a year or two of not being in the conversation, he won't be able to handle it. I mean, we've seen plenty of evidence of that.
Yeah.
For someone that says, don't talk about me, he wants people to talk about him.
Yeah,
quite a bit.
I think we'll find it. Like honestly, if he just pops up on McAfee again next year, like he's not with the team, but he's.
Well, I
just
don't
there
think
to
he'll
talk
do
about,
that. I don't know if he'll do that. Yeah.
If we see his name pop up for reasons outside of, I don't know, if he's involved in a conversation regarding whether he's coming back or anything, I don't. Then I think it's obvious. It'll tell. I think time will tell. But I believe him. I think this is it.
Yeah.
You think Kelsey would have come back had they won?
We've talked this 100 times. No, I think he would be done right off in the sunset. Yeah, not sure. All right, up next, let's get to what's trending here on Cody and Gold, and we'll get back into the Royals. In particular, one player that is not getting enough attention with the season he's having, and we're seeing it with the All-Star voting.
This is Cody and Gold on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
It's Taco Tuesday time, Kansas City, and Third Street Social is bringing the flavor. Every Tuesday from 3 p.m. to close, hit the bar or lounge for our legendary $2.50 tacos and $5 house margaritas made with Jose Cuervo Tradicional Silver. Come see us at one of 3 convenient Third Street Social locations, South Plaza, Northland, and Lee Summit. Join us for steak, street tacos, cold drinks, and your favorite neighborhood vibe. Third Street Social, a part of the Summit Hospitality Group and a proud taco partner of the Cody Plus Gold Show on 96.5 The Fan.
Baseball season is in full swing, and that means the summer heat is coming. The guys at Climate Control have been serving KC homeowners for over 35 years and know how to get your cooling system ready to handle our scorching hot summer weather. Stay cool and comfortable this summer. Call Climate Control today at 816-265-2830 and schedule your AC system tune-up for just $59. Don't wait. Visit ClimateControlKC.com today. Climate Control Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group, and I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney, and the truth is I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney or if I look like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. At Wesley, we've helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshare without me being an attorney. And I want to share with you how we do it. Just give my office a call, and you will not talk to an attorney. And I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare, or you'll pay nothing.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. 800-761-0000. 800-761-0000. 800-761-0000.
Listening is so important, and that's what Dawn Sharp does. She listens to her clients' needs. Buying or selling a home is stressful, and you want an agent who puts your needs at the top of every single list. And you want to contact the only agent I would trust if I needed to sell my home. It's Dawn Sharp and the Sharp Homes team, brokered by Epic Realty. Ask them about their instant offer program. You can Google them at Sharp Homes Team, or better yet, pay them a visit at homesforsaleandkc.com and start packing.
The success you've had in life matters. The late nights, the extra shifts, the moments you've stood up and said, I've got this. At University of Maryland Global Campus, we value your achievements because we're a school for real life. With UMGC, you can earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's for prior learning and relevant life and work experience, or transfer up to 12 credits toward a master's. We offer scholarships, affordable tuition, and online and hybrid classes, all with the support you need from your first day to graduation day and beyond. As an accredited state university, we've been transforming lives for over 75 years. Choose from more than 135 undergraduate and graduate degrees and certificates, and get ready to succeed again. Get an affordable online skills-based education to move your career forward. UMGC offers no-cost digital materials in place of textbooks in most courses, low-cost tuition, and over $21 million in scholarship opportunities each aid year. Find out if you qualify at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Everyone has a fave Wendy's Frosty flavor. And when you're choosing from chocolate or vanilla, it's not that hard. But now, there's all new Frosty Swirls and Frosty Fusions. So try picking your fave from Oreo Brownie Fusion, Pop-Tarts Strawberry Fusion, Strawberry Swirl, Brownie Batter Swirl, Caramel Swirl, and Caramel Crunch Fusion. Not so easy now, huh? For a fresh way to Frosty, gotta be Wendy's. Open till midnight or later.
At participating U.S. Wendy's. Hours may vary by location. Oreo is a trademark of Mondelez International Group. Pop-Tarts is a trademark of Kellogg North America Co., LLC. Used with permission.
For more than 75 years, University of Maryland Global Campus has given you the opportunity to build your next success. Choose from more than 135 degree and certificate programs in career-relevant fields like business, healthcare, data analytics, cybersecurity, and more. Plus, we offer 100% online and hybrid courses, personalized advising, and lifetime career services. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
You're listening to the all-new 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City sports. KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station. What's trending?
What's trending here on Cody and Gold is presented by Baker University, where graduates earn higher salaries and land jobs faster than any other university in Kansas. Apply today at bakeru.edu. The Royals begin a homestand tonight against the Tampa Bay Rays. Of course, the Dodgers in town later on this week. Chris Bubich on the bump tonight. That's always a good thing, here at least in 2025 for the Royals. 6:40 first pitch. Vern's on deck show is at 5:30 right here on 96.5 The Fan.
I'm excited about it. Chris Bubich, to me, has been the biggest surprise for the Royals this year, taking Noah Cameron out of the equation. I think it's Bubich and what you're getting from him, so I'm excited to see it. Missed not having the Royals on last night. There was
nothing, man. It was a good night to just, get done what you need to get done or watch a show that you haven't seen on Netflix in a while.
I hated it for them, though, losing the way they did that final game, not to be able to go back out the next night and get that win. But tough games, and the Rays, a team the Royals played really close with the last couple of years, 3-3 last year against them, 3-4 against the Rays the year before. So 6 straight series losses at Kauffman Stadium. Get this one before the Dodgers come in this weekend. That's number 2. Shane Gillis, by the way, is hosting the ESPYs. I don't know if you watch the ESPYs anymore. Shane Gillis is funny,
I still
dude.
do.
Like that's probably a pretty damn good host.
I watch the monologue, so I'll watch it. Basically, that's what I do
July
now.
16th, by the way.
Yeah, I'll watch the monologue, and then I don't need to watch all the other stuff. I'll do the monologue, and if there's anything else that was great that I missed, it'll be out there on social media. That's kind of how I approach that thing.
I don't like award shows anyway. Like, I don't like they're boring. I don't like watching award shows, but this monologue, Shane Gillis is a funny dude. And by the way, he's going to be coming to Kansas City, I think next month, isn't it?
I think you're right. Yeah, it's coming up. Is it next month or
I know
very
Dusty
soon?
was going to St. Louis to watch him because he was going to be gone when he was in Kansas City. But
nice.
Yeah.
He's got season 2 of his new show on Netflix.
Oh, does he?
Tires, I think it's called. Elsewhere on What's Trending, we mentioned this at the end of the Chiefs Red Half Hour. Aaron Rodgers is on the Pat McAfee show, of course, and he said that he is, quote, pretty sure this is it. Last season of his NFL career. He said this is why he signed a 1-year deal in Pittsburgh. So this could be the final go, it sounds like, for Aaron Rodgers. And it'll be in a Steelers uniform. Rodgers, 41 years old, will turn 42 in December.
But it wasn't definitive when you say pretty sure. Right. It leaves you some wiggle room, keeps that window. Goes out and has a great year, feels good about himself. Hey, here's another deal. So Pittsburgh says, just one more year, Rodgers, because we're drafting a quarterback. Drafts in Pittsburgh this year. They're saying, you know what, we need to draft a quarterback. We want you to groom him. Would you be willing to come back for a set amount of money to Pittsburgh?
I'm
not saying it wouldn't happen.
He's over here making this is exactly. Bink's like, you are thinking of exactly how it's going to go down if he plays well.
Yeah, I mean, draft in Pittsburgh. I mean, it just makes sense, doesn't it? Groom the quarterback. Because Rodgers,
he's grooming Will Howard already. You know,
he's good at talking to the other players. He's willing to. He's actually really good at that. Also, Padres star Fernando Tatis Jr. filed a lawsuit Monday against Big League Advance in an attempt to void the future earnings contract he signed as a 17-year-old minor leaguer that could cost him $34 million.
Yeah, so when he was 17, he obviously wanted to try to get some money for his family at that point in time, and he agreed, it sounds like, to this deal with a company that said, hey, we'll give you this loan. And the time he didn't know it was an illegal loan or something. That's what they're arguing in court now. But he agreed to this payment up front in exchange for giving them 10% of his future earnings. Well, he's a star baseball player. He's making a lot of money, and so he would have to give them about $30 million over the life of the contract, and that's why he's suing, because he doesn't want to do that. So we'll see. Right, but I have no idea if it's an illegal deal or not. Otherwise, it kind of sounds like, hey, he maybe just realized, oh wait, that wasn't really a smart deal that I made.
You signed it. You signed it. So that's the problem he's going to run into.
The court system will figure that one out, but that is interesting. Lawsuit filed by one Fernando Tatis Jr. And that is what's trending here on Cody and Gold. As you can hear, Jay Binkley is in for Cody today and tomorrow, and then Cody is back on Thursday. Alex Gold here, Drew Nixon producing the show. Of course, on Tuesdays, don't forget 3 locations to get $2.50 tacos starting at 3 o'clock. That's 3rd Street Social. They're part of the Summit Hospitality Group, the official taco partner of Cody and Gold. Go to the Northland, Lee Summit, South Plaza, 3rd Street Social. Proud Taco Tuesday partner here on the show. You can go to any of those locations. $2.50 tacos. They brought in tacos last week, man. I missed those. I wish we had those right now.
They're so good.
You had some of the shrimp tacos.
I've been to 2 of these locations, at least some in the Northlands. I've been to 2
I've been to South Plaza. Yeah, I've been to South Plaza. You had the shrimp tacos last week. I had the steak or carne asada tacos. Drew inhaled his as well. They also had some dessert they dropped off. The bullpen area, the guys out there love those. So make sure you stop in at 3rd Street Social.
One of them.
Yeah, man. So appreciate their support of the show. Great spot in all 3 locations in the Kansas City area. So the final phase isn't there yet for all-star balloting and everything. We'll still get to that over the next couple of weeks, but phase 1 is wrapping up, and there's a couple of Royals players that are in the mix. Bobby's second in shortstops, but he's way off the pace for Jacob Wilson, and it looks like Jacob Wilson, who's having an unbelievable rookie season.
It still surprised me, though, the name recognition and where he's playing.
Because
the team he's on and where he's playing.
Because he's with the A's. Yeah. I think
they suck.
What it is his numbers are so ludicrous that he's been discussed so much. Like Bobby Wood Jr., long term, of course, is a better baseball player than Jacob Wilson. But this year, Wilson's hitting .349 with 9 homers and 40 RBI, and he doesn't strike out. And he's a rookie. It's fresh. It's new. People like that aspect of it. I'm not surprised Jacob Wilson is leading the vote getting, even though Bobby Wood Jr. right now, nobody would take Jacob Wilson over Bobby Wood Jr. as a next 5-year athlete or something like that.
He's only behind Aaron Judge in average.
Right. But what I found interesting, Bink, is there's 2 Royals players, one in particular, that should be getting way more All-Star Game love, and most notably it's Maikel Garcia, who we all know is having an awesome season. His ranks put him as the second best third baseman in the American League in a lot of categories. Nick Capel over the Royals put some of these numbers out. Did you know he's 7th in All-Star voting? He's not even, if you just go on the articles, they don't even show his name because he's not top 3 or top 4. He's 7th in All-Star voting, yet he's first out of second baseman, out of third baseman, first in doubles out of third baseman, second in average, second in hits, second in stolen bases, third in on base, third in OPS, third in RBI. He's tied with 36 RBI among American League third basemen. I'm not telling you that he would have more votes than Jose Ramirez or should necessarily, but 7th is ludicrous. That's crazy. I hope that the commissioner's office and the players, when it comes down to that portion of the voting and everything to decide rosters, he deserves to be a first-time All-Star this year. I think there's 3 Royals players that you can make a case for. Maikel, Bobby, and then Carlos Estevez. Those are the 3. I don't know if they'll get 3 because of how the team is perceived right now and being under 500 and everything. But Maikel Garcia should be a first-time All-Star.
Do you think it hurts him a little bit that he plays so many different positions? Because he's played a significant amount of second base, third base.
I would argue it makes
him a shortstop as well.
I would argue
outfield. He does everything.
That might hurt him and it did hurt him, in this third base voting. But in general, if you are a major league player and you're the commissioner's office and looking at branding and marketing for the game, shouldn't the guy that's played more positions should that be more impressive?
Yeah, because he's played 11 at second base, 6 at shortstop, and 6th in center field. So he's played all over. It hurt Kane to some extent with the Gold Glove back in the day there. But Wilson, you think about that, the name recognition didn't make a lot of sense playing out with the A's that you're not there. But when people get these votes, unfortunately, they don't get to see the numbers from Nick Capel. You know what I'm saying? Because if they did, they may change their mind. It's like people think Bobby Witt, think, well, he's not having the year he had before. Well, he's got 26 doubles, leads all of Major League Baseball. He's 3 ahead of the second closest.
Yeah, I think when you look at the way the All-Star voting is handled now and everything, Bink, and for Michael Garcia, I think the players and the commissioner's office will end up giving him a leg up. But it's a marketing thing, as you were saying. It's a marketing issue across Major League Baseball. Why some of these players, you go outside of Kansas City. I'm convinced, even if the Royals were in first place in the American League Central right now, Michael Garcia would not finish first or second based off of how far down he is right now.
Well, you got to think, when people go to the game all around the country, wherever they're at, and get tickets, and you go, well, who are we playing? Well, you're playing, Bobby Witt Jr.'s on the Royals, Salvador Perez is on the Royals, and not a lot of other name recognition, to be honest with you. Like, we know Vinny and all this, but do they really know him in other places? Like, do you ever look at who they're playing, who's coming to town? You're thinking, I'm going to go see this. I'm going to go see the Dodgers. I want to see Ohtani play. But people see the Royals coming to town, Michael Garcia, because of the marketing problem. They don't see that name and say, I got to go see Michael Garcia out here tonight. But Salvi, even though Michael's having a better year than him, they know the name, Salvador Perez. And so you say, these come to town, or Bobby Witt Jr., let's go out and watch them play. I'm just saying, all teams do, fans of teams, they get tickets or whatever. They say, I want to go see this guy play. And he's like on the bottom of the list.
There's very few players.
And that's a problem.
There's very few players in baseball, though, that I think we're talking about the casual, not the diehard baseball fan, the casual baseball fan, which is who you're trying to get to go to the ballpark because the diehards are going to be there. How many casual baseball fans are buying tickets for a specific player? How many of those players? Is there like 5 or 6 in the league?
Well, fantasy baseball players would be more, but not everybody plays fantasy
baseball.
Those
are diehard stuff. If you play fantasy baseball, you're a diehard baseball
That's
fan.
one of the problems with it because NFL is so popular because everybody plays.
Totally. No, I'm just saying,
so
like,
name recognition's higher.
100%. I'm just asking how many players?
Not many.
Yeah, I mean it's Ohtani, it's Judge, it's Paul Skeens. I mean, there's
Bryce Harper when healthy.
Yeah. Bobby Witt, to a certain extent, he should be on that list. I don't think he is for a lot of people. He should be, though. There's not many on a national stage. If you're in Milwaukee and you're a casual fan, you're like, I know my local team, but I want to go see a star. And you're looking at the schedule. You're saying, all right, when is Aaron Judge playing? When is Ohtani coming into town? Maybe Paul Skeens, and that's probably it. Doesn't mean there aren't other great baseball players. Obviously, Bobby Witt Jr. is one of them. But in terms of truly, I'm going on a Tuesday night because this player is coming to town. Ohtani, Judge, Skeens, I think that might be it.
Well, the Royals are always popular with it, with running commercials. Hey, Ohtani's coming to town, or back in the day, Barry Bonds is coming to town, or whatever. I doubt other teams are really doing pamphlets or commercials or anything for the Royals that are coming to town.
Yeah. Someone says Bobby should get votes over Jacob Wilson until Jacob proves by doing it again he deserves it. Well, that's not, I mean, it's one particular season. It's not hey, be good for 3 years, then we'll get you the All-Star. Now, if your point is that it's a lot of the same names year after year, once you're in, you're kind of in, yeah, that's unfortunate. Popularity contest thing definitely happens.
But the whole point, the
outlier, though, the whole point, though, of the All-Star, every year it's new. You have first-time All-Stars all the time. It's not you got to prove to me for 3 years you're worthy of an All-Star to be an All-Star. That's not how this thing works, thank goodness.
Thank goodness the players in commissioner's office.
Yeah. You know who also
2/3 of the vote in this.
They don't do voting for closers or whatever, so it doesn't apply yet. But Carlos Estevez should absolutely be an all-star. He's leading all of baseball in saves. He's got 22 of them. He, doesn't have the strikeout ratio that a Josh Hader or a Suarez for the Padres have. But the fact that he has 22 saves on a team that's 2 games below 500 actually is way more impressive than what some of these other guys are doing on teams that are above 500 because obviously less opportunities, right? I'm not saying that it's not an adventure at times, but he gets the job done, doesn't he?
In the small margin of leads.
Gets the job done, you know? So I think the Royals have a chance at 3 All-Stars, probably get 2. My 3 would be, I think it's pretty simple. Carlos, Michael Garcia, and Bobby Witt Jr., those would be the 3. I don't see anybody. Bubic is tough because of the starting pitching aspect. Like, some of it is who's available.
Carrying the Royals.
Totally. Chris Bubic probably gets in.
And Seth Lugo's coming on strong lately.
But they're not getting, I guess the reason why I say they're not getting 4 All-Stars, are they? On a team that's not even 500? Who would you, if you could only do 3?
Amount of players from different teams that don't have a representative, and it comes down to that.
And who pitches on that Sunday before, or all kinds of stuff like that could play a role. But yeah, deserving of All-Stars? Well, it's Bubic, it's Bobby, it's Carlos, and it's Michael. As far as deserving, I don't know if all of those guys are getting in, that's all.
It's going to be tough to do, but again, people don't look at numbers. That's what Wilson is really interesting, though, because he's an A. Like outside of California.
But he's having as good of a season as anybody in baseball.
I think people see that average because that weighs, because he's right behind Judge. So that stands out.
Yeah. I mean, 349. And you know how many strikeouts? He doesn't strike out. That's part of the reason.
He's a hell of a player, but I just didn't know if we're using the argument that people's not going to know his numbers, well, they wouldn't know Mike Hill's.
But Jacob Wilson
doesn't have a big name recognition at all.
Jacob Wilson's been in the news all season. He's been in the news all season.
They do talk about him.
You know, he's been in the news all season because it's a new name that's doing something and burst onto the scene as a rookie. And that's the reason for it. I hear you.
But Miguel Garcia, I know he got hurt last year at the end, but the Royals were in the postseason. You would think the star power would be a little higher just because they were in the postseason.
Yeah, he's I actually think the fact that Jacob Wilson in a weird way is on the A's has helped him, because who else are you talking about on the A's? On the Royals, when people on MLB Network talk about the Royals, they're talking about Chris Bubich, they're talking about Bobby Wood Jr. They're not, They're not going to talk about
Brent Rooker and Soderstrom and
MLB Network's doing segments on Soderstrom.
They actually have some stars on that team. I
know, but you can have good play. But is MLB Network featuring him?
No,
that's all I'm saying. Yeah,
just Wilson.
Yeah, that's part of it. I mean, I think anybody trying to make, and I know you're not, like Jacob Wilson is 100% deserving of a star, of an all-star. I mean, my goodness,
100%.
He's having a crazy season. All right, coming up in about 15 minutes or so, we'll talk more about some of the reports out there on the stadium front. There's 2 reports yesterday, one about what might be happening with the Royals on the Kansas side, another talking about the options that Missouri has without a public vote. We'll get to those reports here in about 15 minutes or so. But Amon-Ra St. Brown, wide receiver for the Detroit Lions. Actually, up until these comments, quite honestly, he was one of my favorite players in the league.
Because of the show last year?
I'm a big fan of Amon-Ra St. Brown. I really am. One, he's a hell of a football player. I think his podcast is hilarious. And then somebody sent me the link to this during the end of the show yesterday. Like at 1:50, we got a text, and it was too late, obviously, in the show. So I said, we'll talk about this tomorrow. He was on his podcast, and he had Jalen Noel, who, of course, is from the Kansas City area.
Park Hill.
And he's on the Lions or whatever. Their draft pick. Yeah, Park Hill kid. And he had him on his podcast. And they were talking about Kansas City. Listen to what Amon-Ra St. Brown said.
So coming from Kansas City, you're from the Midwest, going to the South.
Yeah.
Is it different for you, culture shock?
I mean, city-wise, it's a lot faster.
Right.
Kansas City, I call it like a medium city. Like you have slow parts, faster parts, but Houston a lot faster. And then, I mean, the humidity, it's all the time in Houston.
I've been to Kansas City. I was there for the draft. But I'm sorry, like, if you have money, like, I'm not living here after I get some money. Like,
I mean, you just got to know the right places to go.
Are you planning on going back, like living there for the rest of your life?
No, I'll probably get a place in like Dallas or something. My fiance's from Dallas.
That's better.
Something
that's
like
better.
that. It's definitely, I would say it's more to do. And like you're right. I mean, there's only so much to do.
Exactly.
It's good food.
You're capped
though.
out.
Yeah.
Really?
He was trying to get Noel to flip on KC.
Yeah.
He was trying to get him to flip.
What are we doing? You live in Detroit, dude. You live in Detroit. Give me a break.
Does anybody
There's good
even
parts and bad parts in every single city.
You look at contracts. You look at contracts for NFL players, and think about. And I know they're probably not thinking about it, but think about the housing. A lot of things you can get in Kansas City. If you have the same contract in New York than Kansas City, when you're spending a ton of money on an apartment or whatever, you go to Kansas City, you're in a golf course, 3-car garage, you got a pool in the backyard. Same contract. It's costing you the same for cost of living, but I don't think players think of all that. But a lot of players stay here. They play different parts of the country. They transfer out and play with a different team. But they
make so much money now. A lot of them have houses in multiple spots.
But there's a ton of Chiefs and Royals, even guys that just had a cup of coffee in Kansas City, got here, liked it, and stay here to this day. There's a ton of former athletes that live in this town. Once they got a taste of it,
yeah, especially the older school guys. Because I think new school guys making the kind of money they're making, a lot of them just have houses in their hometown and here or whatever. I mean, heck, Tyrann Mathieu still has a house here in Kansas City.
This would be a very economical
Obviously, Mitchell
place.
Schwartz stays here and calls Kansas City home. No, I mean,
once you get here and see what it costs, you're like, it's kind of nice.
Yeah, I just say Amon-Ra, you live in Detroit, man. You're gonna be talking crap about Kansas City when you live there. You know what I mean?
Plan on going back, like living there for the rest of your life?
No, I'll probably get a place in like Dallas or something. My fiance's from Dallas.
That's better.
Something
that's
like
better.
that. It's definitely, I would say it's more to do.
Now, that's Noel talking about, like, your fiance's from Dallas. It makes sense if you're going to live in Dallas.
It does make sense for West Dallas.
But Amon-Ra, man.
I also think there's a difference in if you move here, Bink, I can understand why people want to live here when they moved here. Like, I'm from Indianapolis. I always call that home. It's my home, but I never wanted to, like, when I graduated college, I wanted to get out. Like, when you're from an area, I feel like you want to go and you don't traditionally move back home that much. I don't know if that's just from me and my experience or some of my friends' experience. Like, I know friends who have lived there forever. I know friends who are never going back there and living there again. They'll visit because it's always home, but you grew up there, you want to move somewhere else and you live somewhere else. That's why it makes sense that he wants to, he'd get a house in Dallas.
Yeah,
Fiance's family is there.
Forever,
it makes sense.
You gonna stay here forever?
I don't know.
Put him on the spot.
You like the area?
Put him on
I
the
do.
spot.
I love the area. The wife loves the area.
And we came right back.
I love the area. The wife loves the area. There's
Like
no reason.
There's
no reason
Cody
for me to
came,
leave
stayed here.
Bink, but I'm not gonna. I don't know.
Yeah,
what the future holds.
that's a tough
I'm trying to take
question.
things day by day. I'm trying to think day by day.
I like putting him on the spot.
I understand that, Drew. No, look, I would say, like, everybody, if it's your hometown and stuff, everybody's going to have attachment to that particular. Someone says St. Brown didn't say anything bad. He's not wrong. If I was a multimillionaire, I'd likely live somewhere else. You live in multiple spaces. Yeah, but he talked about the city as if like, there's no way in hell I would live. No way in hell I would want to live there in a negative light. If you're from Kansas City, I think you have every right to not like what Amon Ross St. Brown had to say.
From a guy talking from Detroit.
From Detroit, look, and I've lived. You guys know. I mean,
he's not from South Beach here.
I grew up here. I lived the first 22 years of my life here in the Kansas City area, and then I moved away because for work I needed to. And I've lived in multiple cities, and some places are great, and some are not. I've had varied experiences in other spots.
You've had that Houston humidity.
And plenty of things happened when I was in Houston as well. We've talked about on the show. And I always knew I wanted to come back to Kansas City. This is home. It's also anybody that's been raised here and has a family. Everybody can speak to it, right? It's an incredible place to raise a family. Do we have our issues in Kansas City? Of course.
Everywhere does.
Of course. And do we also have, depending on where you live in town as well? Like, it's actually funny that he mentions he clearly hasn't been anywhere other than where he was at for the draft or whatever, Amon Ross St. Brown, because consistently a lot of the suburbs in the Kansas City metro area rank as some of the top 10 suburbs to live in an entire country, right? Like, literally some of the top suburbs in the entire country to live in. So it's just an uneducated thing from Amon Ross. I told you I'm a big fan of his. I didn't like the comments.
I'm intrigued because he's from Cali. He's from the LA area.
Ain't
So
from
I
USC.
mean. I would. Is he going to move back home? He's in Detroit because he plays there. It sounds like. It sounds like he wouldn't.
He's not going to be staying in Detroit. Probably.
Anyways.
He's probably not staying in Detroit forever. Anyway.
I think Boise was the second best place you've lived.
Yeah, no, I would say I would agree with that. Yeah, did not enjoy my time in Houston. Did not enjoy
gold.
my time in Wichita. I know we have some people.
You
listen,
hated
but
Wichita.
I did not. Well, there's a lot of reasons. Bink wants me to just badmouth every place.
Throw them on the bus.
No, Wichita, I did not enjoy my time. Sorry. I know there's plenty of great people that live there and enjoy it. For me, bad experience. We talked about on the show.
I think it's funny whenever, like, somebody, and I understand why people back up their city. I do the same thing for Indianapolis, but it's funny to just see the reaction. St. Brown, somebody's calling him soft, another diva trying to be a leader, and he's a follower.
People get pissed when you make fun of their town.
Well,
For sure.
No, 100%.
He's a hell of a football player,
I totally back
and
it.
generally speaking, I'm actually a big fan of his. I think he's wrong.
If somebody
honestly,
tried to
what he is
badmouth
saying.
where he's from, I'm sure he'd come back.
Well,
He'd try to clap back as well.
It's good when Kansas City gets things like the draft, like I said, in the World Cup, because then people can see the city for what it is. They know it's just not flyover country and whatever. But when people get here, they're genuinely surprised, like how fun it is here and how many things to do here. But from the outside, they see it, and it's the old adage of flyover country and stuff. But when you start getting some of the top events in the country, sporting-wise, it should change your opinion.
I think the success of the sports teams here and things like that have changed the perception. There's so many people, if you go and ask them or you're out of town and you say you're from Kansas City, some of the first thing, at least I'm sure you have in your experience too, everybody's like, oh yeah, the Chiefs, you guys just keep winning, or the Royals, or the draft was there.
The Chiefs helped this profile this town.
That has raised absolutely people's feelings about how they perceive Kansas City. I understand we're more than just sports, obviously, but sports has been a huge driver of why people know more about Kansas City. That's a fact. But anyway, all right, up next, guys, thinking of Kansas City and events and stadiums and what could potentially come to Kansas City. How about the latest on the stadium front? A couple new reports out late yesterday. We'll get to those. Plus, We'll see if Bink actually has a random question of the day. He refused to give us one yesterday. We're going to put him on the spot. There's your warning. Next.
But what if I refuse?
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Bank of America is the nation's leading business lender, and we're ready to help with your next goal here in Kansas City. That's why we have over 3,700 local business specialists across the country. Because with the right team, your business and community prosper. What would you like the power to do? Learn more at bankofamerica.com/local business. Bank of America, official bank of FIFA Club World Cup 2025. Bank of America Corporation, all rights reserved.
Exercising and being outside are two things I love doing almost every day. I can't imagine joint pain slowing me down. The good news is, if you do have joint pain, I've got the answer for you. QC Kinetics has over 50,000 satisfied patients in less than a decade, and everyone is getting results with no drugs, no surgery, and no downtime at all. QC Kinetics has been on the cutting edge of regenerative medicine. They use natural treatments that harness your body's own healing power. Regenerative medicine used to be an alternative, and now it's mainstream. So if you love being outside and working out as much as I do, or you just love to play golf or tennis or doing everyday activities, and you don't want to live with that joint pain any longer, call my friends over at QC Kinetics. Don't let sore knees or elbows or shoulders or a back keep you from doing the things you love. Call QC Kinetics today, 816-412-6299, 816-412-6299. Off 435 in State Line and in Gladstone. It's QC Kinetics.
Gain Super Flings are here to take your laundry to the next level.
Talking about Gain Super Flings. Super size laundry packs. These things are huge. Super fresh, super clean. Gain Super Flings.
Gain Super Flings laundry packs have 4 times the Oxy cleaning power and 3 times the Febreze freshness versus Gain Original Liquid.
Super fresh, super clean. Gain Super Flings.
Gain Super Flings for next level laundry.
Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at endurancewarranty.com.
If you're driving a car or truck with an expired warranty and suddenly lost your transmission or needed a full engine repair, would it leave you stranded? I'm Danica Patrick. Choose the company I trust, Endurance. If your vehicle is less than 20 years old, Endurance offers auto protection on the drivetrain, AC, and more. Get 1 full year of elite benefits, a $2,000 value free.
Call for your fast free quote today. 800-310-0219. 800-310-0219.
Uber Eats has deals all summer long. Get ice cream, soda, and snacks from your favorite stores like Wegmans or CVS and make the most of every moment. That sounds like a good summer. Order now on Uber Eats. Terms apply. Product availability varies by region. See app for details.
At Straight Talk, we are all about no-brainers. Calling grandma for her recipe, no-brainer. Streaming one more episode at 2 a.m., big no-brainer. Getting real unlimited data where you buy bananas, the ultimate no-brainer. Switch now and get a free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G or Moto G Power 5G 2025 with select plans. Straight Talk, real unlimited data. Available at Walmart and straighttalk.com. Offer valid through 7/20/25. Taxes and fees apply. Requires in-store activation of single line gold unlimited plan or higher. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com/terms. Copyright 2025 Verizon.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Give me those sauces, grab the chicken strips, let's dunk them in there. There's nothing like it. Hey, I'm Joey. And I'm Josh. And we're team members at our local Chick-fil-A. And a little thing you'll love about the Chick-fil-A chicken strips is dipping them in our sauces. My sauce is the barbecue sauce. If you wanted to add sweet, tangy flavors, there's nothing like it.
I love the garden herb ranch sauce, but if you want a little bit more kick in the spicy side, you can mix it with buffalo sauce.
Dipping them in our sauces, it is perfection.
It's the summer of Chick-fil-A chicken strips and sauces. Order now on the Chick-fil-A app. Team members paid for their testimonials.
Well, good morning, kiddo. I love that you're home from college. I've missed you.
Still taking your Nature-Made vitamins?
Every day. A multivitamin and a probiotic. You better be taking yours.
Still looking out for me, Mom.
I'll never stop.
Made to care for you every day. Nature-Made, the #1 pharmacist-recommended vitamin and supplement brand. Find us in the vitamin aisle. based on a survey of pharmacists who recommend branded vitamins and supplements.
The technicians you can trust with your house keys. Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric.
Stay comfortable year-round with expert HVAC installation done right the first time. Enjoy a new HVAC system starting at $150 a month. Schedule your consultation today at anthonyphce.com.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
We'll get to the random question of the day here in about 8 to 10 minutes. Bink has promised us one today after he admitted he just pouted yesterday. He didn't want to ask a question. So he says he has one.
I have one. Several.
We're going to find out what that is.
I have several goals.
Several. We'll find out.
I came prepared.
After Bink was very critical yesterday of the question, so we will.
You asked everybody what their favorite desk was.
No, but that was not the question, though. That was not the question. That was not the question.
What desk would you buy?
It was because you said you didn't have
Make
one,
fun of me
and then it was in relation to the Bill Self desk being auctioned off, and I said, was there any desk you would actually buy in an auction? All right, that's because that was a last minute question since you didn't have one. That's all.
Yeah, it was on the fly, Bink. You're supposed to come with it.
Anyway.
But that's what you come up with.
All right, let's talk stadiums for a little bit here, all right? There were a couple reports yesterday about where things stand. We all know this time next week, unless there's an extension, the Star bonds in Kansas would have expired. The deadline is June 30th. So maybe there's an extension, maybe there's not, but that's Monday. That's coming up. Maybe we're going to see some action. There was a report from KCMO Talk Radio yesterday that some of their sources said that the Chiefs had canceled 5 land contracts, real estate contracts in Kansas, and that seems to be maybe a signal they're staying at Arrowhead and therefore a renovated Arrowhead. And that same report over there, it said that both teams have made decisions, and they asked their source, hey, well, what do you think is going to happen? And their source said they think the Royals would go out west to the Legends in KCK, Wyandotte County, and that's because they don't want a public vote or they can't win one, and that the Chiefs think they could, and that's why they would stay in Jackson County. That was one report yesterday from KCMO Talk Radio. Then Fox 4 had a report. Jonathan Ketz, who's been covering this, said in people he has spoken to that Missouri and KCMO, they do not have to have a proposal in front of them before June 30th. Because, if people thought, oh, you better have that before June 30th, otherwise they'll make a decision to go to Kansas. Also said that the Washington State Park location there, Washington Square Park location is viable in terms of it has room to fit the ballpark. Because people were wondering, hey, can you actually pull this thing off in that spot? Can you really squeeze that thing in there? Apparently you can. So a couple things. First reaction when I heard and saw that report from KCMO Talk Radio, the Royals going to Legends makes no sense. It just doesn't. I understand the idea of development around it, and they like the battery site from Atlanta. They could theoretically do that out there. Here's why it doesn't make sense to me is where they're at in Raytown right now, while there's not development around it, to me it's almost doing the same thing though, right? Like it's, if you're trying to get closer to your season ticket base and you're trying to hope to draw up attendance on weekdays and weeknights and all that, downtown or even the Johnson County site makes more sense. For me, it's still, by the way, it doesn't matter whether I'm driving to Legends or Raytown, it's 25 minutes or so from me. And so I don't know if it changes anything. I don't believe that's where they want. I don't believe they want to be in Wyandotte County. So to me, that's the only part of this report where I'm very skeptical. The Royals suddenly want to be out in Wyandotte County. I just don't buy it. Remember, the Chiefs going there makes more sense if, in fact, that were to happen, because 8 days a year you're having football games. People will drive there. People are going to tailgate anyway. But getting 80 games out at a Legends Royals site, to me personally, doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So that was my only thing. As far as the report that maybe the Chiefs have declined to renew their land agreements or whatever, on the Kansas side, that would make sense if they really want to stay at Arrowhead and they believe maybe they can actually win a Jackson County vote. And I think they could, a Chiefs-only vote. I don't think the Royals can win a public vote again. So that means they have to either go to Kansas or the KCMO downtown site, which the city would have to come up with the funding, and they claim, the mayor has been on with CDOT, claims that they have those funding mechanisms in place, and they're just waiting on an answer.
The Legends thing, to me, I mean, it is a nice area out there. And it's one thing they have that they don't have at the Truman Sports Complex, and that's development and restaurants and everything around it, which you would think it would even be more than that if the Royals were there, right? You built that they would come, although they haven't where the Truman Sports Complex is. Now, they haven't come, but you would think it would build up around there more.
Mm-hmm.
Correct or not? And look, the whole area is growing. I think it's kind of unfair.
Which area? Sorry.
The Legends area.
Yeah.
Because it's really growing. I think even the Royals out there, that would even bring more businesses out there. And it's already
You're going to the
area.
western outskirts of your metro area, though, at that point in time.
You
The same people on the east side are not going to go out there for Royals. They will for Chiefs. They will not for Royals. That's why I think it's a bad decision.
The Royals don't need that. Now, it worked for Atlanta because they did move the ballpark for the Braves, even though they just had a brand new stadium in '96. They've certainly moved closer to their fan base
and the suburbs.
Yeah, in the battery they have around it certainly worked out for them. So I could see it. I still think people will travel wherever for baseball. I still think they would go. Now you need night in, night out crowd though. That's where you'd get downtown. You need night in and night out people because people will go for the weekend series or a game here and there. They'll travel. But you're saying you need during the week. You need the Monday through Friday crowd or Monday through Thursday crowd because the weekends you would certainly get. So it does make sense on that part. I think for the Royals, looking at the tourism dollars they could get from that area, because I do think it would be a lot. But staying in Missouri, I think behooves them much more. The Chiefs are a little bit different though, because I agree with you. It doesn't matter where you put them; people are going to show up because it's you have off weeks. You're not even having games, and people will still find their way to the games. It is interesting, and I do agree with you on the Chiefs winning a vote. I just think the reality of the situation. People all of a sudden said, hey, you could lose these teams. What could happen to this area? What could happen to this county? What could happen to the city to lose the actual teams from the city of Kansas City? And I think it would hurt. I think it would hurt because I don't think people saw the reality of the situation when they did that vote. Oh, they're not going anywhere. They're not going to go anywhere. And then all of a sudden, they started looking everywhere. You started getting the flooded calls from other places. Well, obviously, they're not leaving the area. But Kansas... And that became a concern to people. They didn't think they would actually do it and move out there. They have such a tie to Kansas City, Missouri, and Jackson County. They wouldn't dare do that. But I think the reality check slapped a lot of people in the face saying they might move. It's now more than possible that the team could move than stay here. And I think the whole reality check of the situation woke a lot of people up. They don't want to lose these teams because losing these type of teams would be very bad for the area. And I think Jackson County realized that because at this point, it'd be a full court press to keep the Chiefs. If the Royals did move to Kansas, they'd do everything in their power to at least keep them, to keep something, you would think. But I think the reality definitely slapped people saying, they could move, they can move. We'll see what happens. Chiefs is interesting, though, because they've talked about a separate training facility, like in the Northland and stuff, and then still have the stadium out where it is. Yeah. There's like a whole bunch of things that don't make a whole lot of sense, to be quite honest with you. And again, I know it's a different story, but I'm shocked that area hadn't developed it more than it has. Shocked, because everywhere else has.
Yeah, I mean the renovated Arrowhead thing. Like I think it's once the stadium bill package passed in Missouri, obviously became way more of a realistic option. Even though Clark Hunt, based on Nate Taylor's reporting in The Athletic, wants a dome, and we know in order to get that, you got to go build a new stadium. Which would be on the Kansas side, right?
Retractable roof's not going to work anymore.
Yeah, that ship has sailed.
The sliding roof.
that ship has sailed in that. I'm just, the only thing, and whenever these reports come out, right, we mention them, we discuss, we give our opinion, and does it mean everything in those reports are 100% accurate? I have no idea. I'm very skeptical that the Royals actually are considering the Legends. That's all I'm saying. That doesn't make any sense to me. That's all.
I still think downtown makes more sense to them.
Well, even the I don't like the 119th and Null side.
When you get turned down so much in a vote, it kind of changes your feelings, right, Gold? If you're a team owner, I mean,
yes,
that is being deterred big time with that vote. That wasn't close,
right? Well, that's why they know they can't go to a public vote again. I'm just saying that it doesn't have to just be downtown. It could be the 119th and Null side. I'm not saying that this means that when I say I don't think the Legends make sense, it doesn't mean I'm saying only downtown makes sense. That's my preference, is that they stay in Missouri and the Royals play in downtown KC-Mo. But I think the Null side at that point still makes sense even more than the Legends side. I don't get the Legends for football all the sense in the world. Legends for baseball, I'm not buying it, man. It's on the western part of the metro area. I think you're going to have a major attendance problem after the newness wears off in 2 or 3 years. That's a problem.
I'm just shocked we're still sitting here in summer of
I
2025
know,
talking about
I
this.
know it. Do you think next week we have a rendering for anybody, or at least a site location if there is a change?
You're in July now, and that's the go time for them.
Yeah.
Because
John
the Star bonds
Sherman-
expire in June, but I think they'll get an extension for that. I think that's pretty easy to do.
Yeah, the thing with someone, I was going back and forth with somebody on the text line about that. Both things can be true. Yes, there is a deadline of June 30th for the Star bonds. That's a fact. It is also true that they can extend it. Both are true. So anybody saying there's a deadline, that's true. Like someone was arguing saying I shouldn't say that there's a June 30th Star bond deadline. It is a fact. They're currently, as we sit right this second, June 30th is a deadline for the Star bonds. But it's also true, yes, they can extend them. But neither thing is inaccurate. Neither thing's wrong. All right, let's get to the random question.
Random question.
Bink, you said you have one today after bailing on us yesterday.
Can I give you choices? Because obviously
Sure.
people have a problem with it.
Yeah, we can do one today and one
Would you like
tomorrow.
choices? Would you like choices?
Yes.
Drew? Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Here are my choices for this, all right? If you could pick one kind of alcohol, meaning one drink, not a bunch of just one. It could be one beer. It could be Drew's, Mike's Hard Lemonade, whatever. Or your drink of choice, or your food of choice. I know you used to be a big Chipotle guy, and you did that a lot, but it could be one food choice or one alcohol choice for the rest of your life. Free, what you do, that's one of them.
Free.
What's that?
But I
Free.
can have other
Free.
stuff still.
Free. Anything you buy, but that's free. That's just provided. Hey,
Well,
I
then
want
I'm
this.
up.
and you
Okay.
get it.
All right.
Second one would be you could teleport yourself anywhere in the world right now with your computer.
However many times I want, or just one time?
Just as many times.
Sorry,
you
I
want.
have caveats, Bink.
No, you teleport. You could just teleport yourself to a place. You have to spend the day there, whatever. Then you come back.
Okay.
But you could teleport yourself.
All right, Drew, which
What
question
would it
do you
be?
want? Which question? What do you
Now, I
think?
have another one, but we can use that tomorrow.
Okay, which one, Drew?
Let's do the second one, the teleporting.
You teleport yourself. All right.
Detroit. Sorry, no,
No,
not
you're
Amon Ross St. Brown. No. Let's see.
Like right now, go spend the
Honestly,
rest of the day
just
there.
give me a beach, please. Just teleport me to, what is it, like somewhere in the Caribbean. Just let me chill on a beach, drink in hand, right this second. It might be 90 there still, but I've got ocean in front of me. That would be anywhere in the Caribbean, basically. That would be amazing right
Shocked
now.
you didn't say Vegas.
No, not for this scenario. One day, no.
He
give
already
me,
can go to Vegas.
and
you know?
yeah, I'm going to Vegas in August. But give me the beach, please.
Drew, probably the Pacers victory parade.
No.
Ouch.
Man, I'm trying to think because there's. I am gonna say
You picked this one.
Cincinnati, Ohio.
Cincinnati, Ohio.
Bink, you go ahead and go. I'm debating between three places. You can go.
Yeah, well, specifically for me, mine would be, what is it? I always pronounce it. Is it Maldives or Maldives or whatever?
Maldives, I
That
think.
place. That place, I swear, there's not a place where I see photos and videos more where I think, oh my, literal paradise. It looks like the most amazing place on earth. That's my answer.
I suppose you could push the button and go to Key West, man.
I've been to Key West before.
Key
Yeah,
West.
Key West is
Boom,
nice.
push it in there.
Yeah,
I'm at.
I've been there.
That's where I'd go.
That's your answer?
Look,
If I could teleport myself, that's my answer. Final answer.
Someone says, teleport me to the time when the stadium decision is done.
There you go. We could do that one too.
I would say Kyoto, Japan.
Whoa, did not expect. Give me the background on that one. Yeah, I was not.
Wow, out of
You
left field.
could have given me 100 guesses, and I would never have guessed that for
Never.
you.
So there's a couple. So I think if you're going to teleport yourself, if you do it anywhere in the States, I'm sorry, no offense, but you're crazy.
Okay,
Sorry,
fair.
Bink. You should go
Key
somewhere
West
else.
Key West is pretty
go-
damn good.
It's basically
I,
Cuba.
I,
you know?
I understand, but go somewhere else. So I'm fascinated by like the Japanese culture and stuff like that. Like the food is great, obviously, but I want to be able to go. One of the 3 international places I want to go to is Japan.
Okay.
Like Tokyo, I think would be awesome. Kyoto, just for there's a lot of cultural stuff that I think is pretty sweet. I'd like to experience like that stuff. Like Japan's one of the 3 places like internationally I would book it, go right now.
You threw me for a loop there.
Yeah, I was not expecting that. That's good. That's different. Kyoto.
I mean, if Oktoberfest was going on in Germany right now, it's like, boom, easy answer. He's at the Oktoberfest.
Yeah, I've only Kyoto. There's one on 135th. That's the only Kyoto I've ever gone to.
But R.I.P. Jimmy Buffett, Jimmy Buffett style Key West.
The other two places I was debating were the UK. I want to go to England. I'd love to just go through England and teleport there for a while, or for I guess a day. I mean, there's a lot you can get done in a day in London or in Manchester.
What would be the first thing you do in London? Honestly,
I would tour. Some soccer stadium. I was gonna say. I was gonna say. I was gonna say Spurs, but they got the new stadium, and that one's not as good as Old Town as the old stadium. I'd rather do.
If you would have said like Buckingham, then go to a pub and drink some brew or something.
I don't want to go to Buckingham Palace while I'm in England. I mean,
I think if I went to England, I would go. I would want to go there. Yeah.
I mean, can you tour it or?
No, but you walk right out. You're there, like you're not inside.
See the garden.
Okay, so it's like if I wanted to go see the White House, I could go walk and see the White House from outside the.
Yeah, you're not walking in the Oval Office.
Yeah, I know that.
You can take a tour of it though.
Yeah, I think it would be cool to go to England. I would have to tour a soccer stadium. I'd go to a soccer game. I wouldn't go now if I had to teleport now. That's why I didn't say London. If you could teleport me in August, beginning of August, 100% going to London.
The correct answer with how hot it is, it'd probably be somewhere in Alaska because of the heat.
913-586-7965. A couple other locations people were mentioning. Someone said, Drew, they're going to Japan this fall.
Nice.
And they're going to the city you want to go to, Kyoto.
That's awesome.
Osaka and Tokyo. Someone else says Swiss Alps.
All right.
I mean, it looks beautiful. I just don't want to be cold, but it looks beautiful.
With the heat out there now, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, Swiss Alps looks gorgeous. Of course, a lot of people making their jokes about going to certain places that obviously you wouldn't want to be in right now. Let's see. Someone says Greece, Santorini, I think it's pronounced.
I like that.
Greece looks beautiful too. That's just further down the list for me. There's so many other places I would go to first, but it's a gorgeous spot based on
from the 816 Bink. Yesterday's desk talk was better.
Which desk would you take with you?
Thank you. Someone says Jamaica.
Ooh. Yeah, man.
Any other place we mentioned would you do an accent from, Drew? If I just shout out different Australia.
Oh, his British Open accent last year was
good day, mate.
Priceless. He did an Australian accent.
Mate.
For the British Open. Are you going to do it again this year?
Look at the size of that monster crocodile.
Are you going to do it again this year?
Thanks for the pause.
Hey, you also, Gold, have a drop. I don't know if you realized it. You about 10 minutes ago.
Did I? What did I say?
Hawaii.
Oh, hey, hang on one second.
What did I say 10 minutes ago? I don't even really squeeze that thing in there. Okay. All right. I was talking about the stadium in Washington Square Park.
Yes, you were.
Can you actually fit it in there? They said you can. Yeah. I didn't even know. Nobody texted in.
I did offer drink or food. Which item would you take? I think we could have run with that more. Just saying. But Drew wanted to talk about Japan.
Yeah.
Somebody texted in a desk answer from
someone they teleport to Bink's mom's house. That's what somebody said.
When
the desk talk was good though.
When the Open Championship is next month and it comes around to be that time, I will again. I think it's in Northern Ireland. I'll have to see if I can knock that out. I'll have to see if I can get that figured out as opposed to the
people want Drew just to do let me just shout out countries and Drew just do accents.
We're not going to do that
over and over and over.
We're not going to do that.
No, you don't think so? You wouldn't enjoy that?
I don't think anybody would enjoy doing that.
That's the random question of the day. Thank you, Bink, for participating today.
Teleport me to a bank vault. Hey, I guess so.
How are you getting out? The vault teleports to the bank vault. You're stuck in there. The door's still shut. It doesn't just open automatically because you teleported. Yep. Congrats, you get a lay on money for an hour and then you're screwed. You don't get to take the money possessions with you on the teleport.
No.
You're just stuck in a bank vault. That's a boring trip.
True, can do anything. Fort Knox.
So many people want me to shout out one or two certain countries for Drew, and it's not happening.
It's not happening.
It's just not going to happen.
For Drew?
It's just not going to happen for his sake. Someone said, Drew, you should just go to Ireland.
When
K-State's playing Iowa State this year.
Yeah, Dublin.
To see
you and Bink should take your college football podcast on the road. You guys just go to Ireland and just go do your show out there.
Week 0, baby. Let's go.
I mean,
But the British Open is in Northern Ireland. Rory's from there, so.
Oh, is that right? I haven't heard that.
Yes.
Work on
Thanks,
that accent.
Bink.
Work on that accent.
I wasn't aware. Thank you, Binkley.
Oh, I know you aren't.
Appreciate it.
I just like hearing Drew talk in his accent.
So does the text line, but
We all do.
there's a couple countries we are not shouting out. We are not going down that road. Drew likes his job, I think.
He wants to live here.
Maybe. Unclear, he said.
I
Unclear.
Okay. Bink, you said, would you want to live in Kansas City forever? And I
That was
said,
a point-blank question.
I know, and I said, I don't know if I can answer that.
Sounds to me like you don't.
That doesn't mean that. Because to me, look, I have lived in like 5 or 6 different places now at this point in my life, and I'm not even 30 yet. I'm good where I'm at.
Where's your favorite?
Favorite place to live?
Yeah.
Or
the 5 places.
There's a lot. What factors are we talking about? If we're talking city,
I can't believe you moved to 5 places already.
Yeah.
Wow.
I can tell you where I'm not living.
You're a gypsy.
There's 2 places I'm not living.
Oh, let's hear this.
Bismarck, North Dakota. It was great. I enjoyed my time there a lot. The winters are insanely cold, and I'm not. That's not my type of thing. La Junta, Colorado. Too far in the middle. If we were talking Pueblo or Colorado Springs, that's a different story. But La Junta is kind of the middle of nowhere, small town where I got things started. Much appreciation for it. I don't regret going there, but I wouldn't live there. I wouldn't move back there. Those are the 2 places I wouldn't go.
Florida. You lived in Pensacola, right?
In Pensacola.
That's nice.
If we're talking about place to live environment, outside of anything else, I mean, it's hard to say no to a beach. And warm water, clear water. It's hard to say no.
You might have the Royals next to you, Drew.
I agree with Gold. I agree with Gold.
draw.
I don't think it makes sense to that, though. I agree with Gold. It doesn't make sense.
Don't forget, though, if you are still thinking about what to do for lunch today, still thinking about your dinner plans, we're proud to have our Tuesday lunch partner here on Cody and Gold, our friends over at 3rd Street Social. They're part of the Summit Hospitality Group, the official taco partner of Cody and Gold. 3 locations, South Plaza, Lee Summit, Northland. Any of those 3 today, $2.50 tacos. Starts at 3 o'clock this afternoon. So late lunch, early dinner, you can get over to any of the 3 locations. And I said earlier, they brought us some tacos last week. Those were awesome.
Yes, were very, very good.
Bink was late coming back in for a segment because he was still scarfing down the shrimp tacos.
Quite enjoyable.
Yeah.
I've had it before. I love them.
Yeah, 3rd Street Social. Great spot here in the Kansas City area as well. Coming up in the 1 o'clock hour, we'll talk a little bit more about the bold Chiefs predictions that we had. A lot of you texted some in earlier. We'll go back to some of those as well. What you actually think may be in play this year for the Kansas City Chiefs. We'll do that in a little bit. I want to go back to the Aaron Rodgers stuff just for a second because he's been on the Pat McAfee show today, and he said that, hey, he thinks this is going to be the last year for him in the NFL, that he actually retires. Do you think this season, does this have a chance to, I guess, change perception for him, or is it set in stone? Because I think what has happened over the last couple of years, people have forgot how damn good he was as a quarterback in this league. He's obviously going to be a Hall of Famer. And he had won back-to-back MVPs for the Packers, and ultimately gets traded, as we know, to the Jets, and then it was a disaster there.
Won 4 of them.
Gets hurt. He's won 4 overall. Like, he's one of the best quarterbacks in NFL history. He is. Nobody's saying not top 3 or something, but he's one of the best quarterbacks in NFL history. He was not very good last season. This year in Pittsburgh, I feel like we kind of look at them and say, maybe he wins them an extra game. So they're like a 10 or 11 win team. It's basically kind of where they've been, though, for the most part. Is there anything he could do this year that would remind, like, do you think he has a chance to remind anybody, like, oh, yeah, I'm that guy, or is it that ship has sailed? He's 41 years old.
Do what he was set out to do when he went to the Jets? Because I do believe there's more talent around him in Pittsburgh, better head coach, better situation.
Sure.
Like all those
Do you
dreams
think there's more
and
offensive
ambitions.
talent in Pittsburgh?
Yeah, I mean, the whole system with Pittsburgh, I think, is better. All top to bottom.
Because Garrett Wilson obviously is a stud.
Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall.
But DK Metcalf there and everything, and in the running game in Pittsburgh with Caleb Johnson there now, Mike Tomlin, your head coach, better defense. You get T.J. Watt getting into the quarterback. I like some of the pieces they have. I just like the pieces better. It's a better organization. And so all those things he wanted to accomplish in New York, can he do it in Pittsburgh? Can it change kind of his legacy? I think it can. If he goes out and has a
I don't
great
think
year.
he's changing his legacy either. Like, even if they stink, I don't think he's changing his legacy at this point. Like, we know who Aaron Rodgers was. I mean, I don't think there's anything he could do to damage it, is what I'm saying.
Well, eventually everybody goes back to it because people don't think of Jerry Rice playing for the Broncos or Seahawks.
Sure.
They look back.
Short of Aaron Rodgers, short of Aaron Rodgers taking the Steelers to a Super Bowl out of nowhere, I mean, that obviously is a completely different conversation at that point. Hell, if he got into an AFC title game, it would be a heck of a story and a heck of a way to go out for Aaron Rodgers. You would agree with that, right?
Yeah, I mean,
but nobody
he's
thinks
with
that's
Tomlin, which
happening.
I think makes a big difference for him. Just a more solid system.
All right, up next, guys, let's talk about the big homestand the Royals have starting tonight against the Rays and the numbers that are maybe surprising for the 1 through 5 hitters. And we'll also get back to some of the bold Chiefs predictions that you guys threw our way. That's coming up next.
What's up, Kansas City? This is Cole Reagans, and you're listening to Cody and Gold. Weekdays starting at 10 on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Don't let clogged drains slow you down. Call Hamilton Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Rooter today for our $79 mainline drain cleaning special. The pros at Hamilton will inspect your drains with video camera technology to pinpoint exactly what is needed to clear those clogs and help prevent expensive drain repairs. The expert technicians at Hamilton are ready 7 days a week to solve your problem the right way, the first time. Over 40 years experience and more than 8,000 5-star reviews ensures your peace of mind. Visit callhamilton.com for details, terms, and conditions. License number 2025-11121.
Hi there. I'm Charlie. And I'm Carter. Our dad is Rex with Rex Buys KC. If you're thinking about selling a home in Kansas City and don't know where to start, our dad can help. Sometimes life throws curveballs, like moving for a new job, dealing with a divorce, or inheriting a house you weren't expecting. Dad doesn't just make offers, he talks with people to help them understand all of their options. No pressure, and it doesn't cost anything to talk with his team. He's a local home buyer who really knows Kansas City. If selling to him is the right choice, he'll give you a fair cash offer, and you can close on your timeline even in as little as 7 days. He buys homes in any condition. No need for repairs, no fees, no surprises. Just an honest, easy process so you feel good about your decision. Want to talk to him? Call 816-330-6000 or go to rexbuyskc.com. Rex Buys KC, helping people make smart choices one home at a time.
Oh, I can hear the sizzle of the grill. It's time to buy Gates sauces and try extra hot at your 4th of July cookout or use as an enhancement for your special dips and your family's secret sauce. Try Gates salad seasoning on raw and cooked veggies or sprinkle on your grilled corn on the cob for that extra flavor pop. Pick up a couple of slabs of ribs or a party tray to entertain at home. Whichever, Gates Barbecue has you covered. Gates 5 locations are open and want to be a part of your 4th of July celebration. Gates Barbecue. Thanks with love.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation and a regular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Uber Eats has deals all summer long. Get ice cream, soda, and snacks from your favorite stores like Wegmans or CVS and make the most of every moment. That sounds like a good summer. Order now on Uber Eats. Terms apply. Product availability varies by region. See app for details.
At Straight Talk, we are all about no-brainers. Calling Grandma for her recipe? No-brainer. Streaming one more episode at 2 a.m.? Big no-brainer. Getting real unlimited data where you buy bananas? The ultimate no-brainer. Switch now and get a free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G or Moto G Power 5G 2025 with select plans. Straight Talk, real unlimited data. Available at Walmart and straighttalk.com. Offer valid through 7/20/25. Taxes and fees apply. Requires in-store activation of single line Gold Unlimited plan or higher. For network management and practices, visit straighttalk.com/terms. Copyright 2025 Verizon.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
You're listening to the all-new 96.5 The Fan, your new home for Chiefs football. KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
1 o'clock hour here on Cody and Gold. Alex Gold, Drew Nixon producing the show. Jay Binkley filling in today, tomorrow. Cody's back on Thursday.
About damn time.
I think he's back in town, maybe. I think the dance competition might be over.
Oh, he's done dancing?
Dance Dad might be done with Dance Dad duties. I'm not sure.
Did he win?
We'll have to ask him on Thursday. Save it for the air. I don't know. I hope his daughter won some awards and stuff. I have no idea. I'm sure it went great. But I know they were in Dallas for a while. I'm assuming they've driven back by now, and he'll be back Thursday.
Did he sing?
I don't. I mean, in the car, maybe. They did not ask him to sing, is my guess. There in Fort Worth or whatever.
But he's singing the whole way.
I don't know. My guess is, honestly, let's be real. Nowadays, I bet you the kids are just glued to the iPads and Nintendo Switch on the drive. That seems like the likely scenario of the 8-hour drive. Just stare at a Nintendo Switch and iPad, and that's about it. For
now
the
with
8-hour
Dad
drive.
singing,
I don't know if he was singing that much. We'll get to some of the bold predictions. NFL.com had them for the entire season, and everybody in the league. We wanted to come up with a few for the Chiefs. We have those. Plus, you guys sent in some great text earlier on those. You can send those in again coming up at 913-586-7965. But let's talk Royals baseball a little bit here. Homestand begins tonight out at the K. Rays in town. Bubich on the bump tonight. Dodgers in town with Ohtani maybe pitching Saturday later on this week. And I know you're talking about one American League team that's not in your division. You're talking about a National League team, obviously not in your same league. But this is a massive week in terms of stacking yourself up against likely two playoff teams, one for sure. NL West champions will be the Dodgers this year. Everybody knows that. The Rays, we'll see what happens as the season continues for them. And so it's an opportunity to see how you stack up. So far, we've seen against playoff teams, it hasn't gone great for the Kansas City Royals this year. At home, they were 0-6 on their last homestand. You're 2 games under 500. You're 2.5 away from a playoff spot. The trade deadline is about 5 weeks away. This is a big week going into a 4 straight series, I believe, now with playoff teams before the Pirates, or 3 straight before the Pirates may be coming to town before the All-Star break.
6 straight series losses.
Yeah, so you're in a spot where, to me, it's all about just staying afloat to give yourself a reason to still be a buyer once you get to early July. I keep saying like July 5th to July 10th is kind of that spot where I think you can start making real trades when teams start to bow out of the buyer or being a seller, I should say, or being a buyer. But this is a big week for that. I mean, you are a couple losses in another bad homestand away here against quality teams from all of a sudden you're back to 6 games under 500, you're 4 or 5 back, and you're in danger zone. This week, I'll even take a 500 homestand. That'd be amazing against the quality competition. 500 homestand keeps you within 2 games of a playoff spot, most likely. Maybe even pick up a half of a game. And you're going up against these quality teams. But in order for them to have...
Not facing Kershaw, though.
Thank goodness. In order for them to have a 500 homestand, you would agree, right? They probably have to take 2 from the Rays? Or do you think that it's baseball's baseball, so the Dodgers, maybe the Royals end up winning that one?
They've just been these teams are so evenly matched. Again, 3-3 last year against the Rays, 3-4 the year before. 3-3 homestand, but does that really tell you anything? The things you need to know for the front office? Like, are we challenging or are we just treading water? Kind of what they're doing, just kind of right there in the middle.
That's who they are, though, as a team.
Until
they go and acquire another asset, they are probably this team that's going to be 2 games below to 3 games above, 2 games below to 2 games above. Like, that's kind of what they are.
I think you are what you are June 1st.
Yeah.
I do. So they are where they are. What can they take a step forward to give the organization and the ownership to say, hey, a few more pieces, we can be in there? Because here's the thing. 9 teams within 2.5 games of a wild card. Everybody thinks they have a chance, but what are going to be the 2 or 3 teams that make the most moves in baseball? Again, different than football talk here. Which 2 teams are going to make, 2 or 3 teams are going to make those moves because they realize if they get on it fast, if they get on it quick, because a lot of these teams are going to be looking for the same type of people. I mean, with the pool so small, and 9 of those teams in the American League looking for, and that's not even counting the teams that are winning their division, looking for players, that talent pool it shrinks down to these teams fighting over which players to bring in. And certainly, I don't think the Royals have played up to their capabilities on offense. I mean, I do think that talent does exist, but when does it show? Because, again, you are kind of what
it's
you
almost
are.
July. Yeah, I mean, I'm convinced this is kind of, can they just stay in this spot to where you can actually make the case to go and add talent to this roster and not be out of it? And if they, that's why I said even a 500 homestand I would take, considering how bad it's been recently at home. One thing to give you maybe a little bit of hope, even though the runners in scoring position is still dreadful for this team, but their 1 through 5 hitters here in the month of June, this comes from Royals data, the Royals 1 through 5 hitters in the lineup since the month turned over to June, they are 5th in batting average, 11th in on base, 6th in slugging, 7th in OPS, and they have the lowest strikeout rate among 1 through 5 hitters in June. Now, the runners in scoring position, they're still towards the bottom of the league, even here in June, and they still, this entire season, do not have a single extra base hit when the bases are juiced. That's crazy. It's June 24th. That is insane, but that speaks to the ongoing problems. Vinny Pasquantino's been awesome since the calendar turned to May, but runners in scoring position, that has still been a problem for him and just about everybody in this lineup.
It's weird why that happens. I honestly think that teams look at that and they pitch them differently with those situations, with that pressure. They go inside a lot more on because it doesn't make a lot of sense. Why aren't they hitting with, runners in scoring position? That's the big mystery, because you think, can they flip that switch and turn it on? But they've shown glimpses. I remember that big comeback in St. Louis where they're actually scoring runs. Like, all right, this team's going to change. Then they didn't. They reverted back to who they were. They go down to Texas. They look great. The offense looked great. It reverted itself the last 2 games against San Diego. So it's weird they can't get on this kind of run, so to speak, with the offense stepping up and doing things they're capable of. I mean, you knew the pitching staff was going to be this good. They didn't take a step back at all. There's a lot of thoughts, even with the injuries and whatever. You throw Noah Cameron in there, and Chris Bubich is elevated. What can they do? But the scoring position and runners, I mean, that's just, it's mind-boggling. I don't know if they press too much when it's that situation. They understand the situation, and they're pressing too much, saying, all right, I got to drive him in. People are criticizing, this is why we're bad, because we're not putting guys in. I'm sure it was brought up at the players-only meeting. Hey, we got to score and we have an opportunity. Because when they went down to Texas, and all of a sudden Bobby Witt Jr., boom, he's on second base. Next hitter, he scores. I mean, you're like, whoa, where's this been all year? I mean, that's the Royals you expected to see. Bobby kind of the catalyst for that and setting the stage. And then it parlayed itself to a sweep of the Rangers. Like, all right, this team's doing great things. And they win that first game against San Diego. And you're like, okay, this is where they finally turn that corner. This is where they're being the team we thought they were. And then Saturday and Sunday happened.
Yeah, the Rangers game and that Friday night game against the Padres are outliers of the entire season. That's not who they've been, unfortunately.
And the motivational level of the teams you're playing, like the Rays sit 2 behind the Yankees. I mean, that's motivation.
I think Friday night was probably, like, if you're asking, like, one of the best games of the year, perfect example of just like having every, solid pitching, hitting, a close game and all that. Friday was one of the best wins of the entire season. Unfortunately, they've lost 2 in a row. I think that, so on the text line, 913-586-7965, you can't make the football comp to what's happening this baseball season. I disagree. Someone says, would a 4 or 5 win football team, or a 4 and 5 football team, go make big trades? Definitely not. This is a 500 team. Buying or selling makes no sense. Stay packed. You can't make the football. You can't make the football comp at all. I'm sorry. Like, it doesn't work. It just doesn't work.
Rental, or do you get someone long term? But not only that, football doesn't have this many teams that close to a wild. Like, there's 9 teams, 2.5 games out. I mean,
there's also
competition for the talent that's there. There's scarce talent, but there's competition amongst that.
There's also like 80 games left still.
Yeah, still a lot of time.
I mean, I'm not arguing that if it's clear they're like, as I've said over and over, if it's the middle of July and they're 6 to 8 games back or something of a playoff spot, well then I do not want them buying unless they're buying / selling to get pieces that they have control under for 26, 27, et cetera. That's very clear. If they are within a 2-3 games of a playoff spot or occupying a playoff spot, then I want them going and adding pieces to help this year and hopefully beyond. And I've told you it's not a blanket statement. I think there's context to it. I don't want them giving up a top prospect for a rental of Cedric Mullins or Ryan O'Hearn. That's the example I keep using because those are names that have been mentioned. Like, no, they're not going to do that. I don't think they're. You don't have to give up your number 2 prospect to get Cedric Mullins or Ryan O'Hearn or something. But the point being, like, and tomorrow we're going to talk more about this. The Diamondbacks just suffered a key injury with Corbin Carroll. Maybe that causes them to bow out, and is Eugenio Suarez available? That's the other thing. Knock on wood here. Depending on the health of the Royals and other teams, that can dictate how you should approach this thing, too.
It will, because nationally there's more opportunities. Well, Suarez, here's the decision you have to make. You bring in Eugenio Suarez, then all of a sudden you're saying, where's Michael go? We just move Michael Garcia to the outfield, increases the value of that outfield, because he wouldn't be a third baseman anymore, because that's where Suarez is going to play. He's not going to play first. He could be DH from time to time. There's clearly that. But you have to think about where you're going to put guys. Like, if you bring different guys in, you have to. These are all the decisions the Royals have to make. For long-term answers, they may not want to put a rental player there for long-term selections. But they have to figure out, okay, where do we move the pieces of the puzzle if we bring in somebody? If Suarez comes here, that would be Michael to the outfield.
Yeah, we'll talk about the scenarios and what maybe tomorrow what they would do potentially in some of the names. I know I believe Jeff Passan just put out in the last 30 minutes or so top 50 names in baseball to be involved in trades as well. So we'll get to that tomorrow on the show right here on Cody and Gold. 913-586-7965. All right, yesterday we discussed the NFL's biggest, boldest predictions according to NFL.com for the season, right? Some of those were Ashton Genty to have 2,000 yards or the Bills to win the Super Bowl. So we said, let's do some Chiefs ones that we come up with. We'll also get to your text. A lot of you texted in earlier today. We read some of those. We didn't get to all of them. You can bring them in right now into the conversation as well. I'll start with one, Bink. I think this is categorized as bold. I don't know. You guys can tell me. But Charles Omenihu to have a double-digit sack season. Last year, he only played in 6-7 games. He was coming back from the ACL. He had like 1 sack or whatever it was. The year before, he had a suspension. Then he was awesome when he played. He had 7 sacks. When he plays, he's effective. So assuming health, which I will for this bold prediction, I think double-digit sacks are in play. It's a contract year for him. He's still 27 years old. There's a lot at stake. He didn't get the big mega deal he was hoping for. That's why he's back in a Chiefs uniform. Great news for Kansas City. So, bold prediction, Charles Omenihu going to have 10 or more sacks in 2025.
All right, let's look at this. Charles has got a 1-year contract with the Chiefs still, just 1 more year. He's going to be 29 years old. So, a big year. He'd have the motivation. Big year, get that big contract. The Chiefs need sack production. They were number 2 in the NFL for 2 straight years. They won Super Bowls those years. They get back to the Super Bowl, but they were 18th at getting to the quarterback. Translation, 3rd round, they go get Ashton Gelati. They try to get pass rush in Norman Lott to come in and help that. But here's the thing with Omenihu, and I like Omenihu a lot, but he played in a full 17 games for Frisco 1 year, and it was his 4.5 sacks out of all those. 7 is the high water mark in the game name you mentioned, 11 games that he played where he had 7 sacks. 1 last year, I don't see him getting the double digit. The motivation factor's there. Check that box, because the motivation factor to get paid, get that big your last contract you're going to get, that's there. I just don't see it. That's a bold take, I think, Alex.
That's what we're doing here.
I know. I just don't think he does it.
Fair enough.
So
what's one for you?
So I gave the one earlier. I gave is Noah Williams starts by week 4. I got 2. Brashard Smith has more catches this year than Juju Smith-Schuster.
I actually agree with that.
Juju had 18 last year. I looked at he had 18 last year. And based on the way that Matt was talking about Brashard Smith being effective with the wheel routes and stuff, I think that's an element that Bink and I talked about on Friday as well that can factor into just how well again, his playing time will depend on how well he pass blocks. But I think that's bold, but I don't know how bold it is, I guess.
It's not crazy at all. I think, the key is they trust him in pass protection. If he can take on somewhat of a Jerick McKinnon role, then he can get to that number. I also think some of this is going to depend on Jalen Royals' development. Because if all of a sudden, and Juju also has struggled to stay healthy a little bit, there's seemingly, don't want to root for injury, but there's a very good chance, we've just seen it too many times, that Juju Smith-Schuster, it'll be week 7 or 8, and all of a sudden it's a hammy or something, and he's out for 2 weeks or something. It's just happened, or something with the knee. Don't wish that to happen, but it's just what has happened. I don't think it's crazy. I would be curious on what role Brashard Smith has, though. I'm a little worried, because of the way the backfield, Elijah Mitchell's there too, and he can also fill some of that. out of the back role. He's not as good of a receiver, we think, as Smith.
He's a burner.
But he's got explosiveness, and they need that. Yeah. So that might take away from Smith here, but I don't hate it.
The other one I have is the Chiefs will not ... And I'm not going to be egregious, but...
Will not what?
The Chiefs will not...
Will not teleport?
Be in the AFC title game this year.
Okay. Wow. All right. I mean, okay.
It's fair.
That's fine.
That might be the boldest one that I have.
Who are they going to lose to?
That sounds like a wish. That sounds like a wish. We're not doing wishes here. We're doing predictions.
Who are they going to lose to? Just throw it out there. What's your guess?
For the Chiefs
God, don't say Cincinnati. Give me a break. Oh, God.
I know it's already
I don't know who they're going to lose to, Bink, but they're not going to be in the AFC
I
title
want
game.
an answer.
You sound very confident. For an organization, that's all they do is go there.
My bold prediction for the Chiefs is they will lose in the divisional round.
This is fun.
They will not make the AFC title game.
This is This is not give us a wish for the season, Drew.
I mean, it's a wish that everybody else has been having that I haven't had. It's not a wish; it is a prediction. I didn't predict it the last 2 years because I didn't think it was going to happen.
Yeah. Your Bouchard one I liked. Your Bouchard one I liked.
If he's the McKinnon role,
the AFC title game.
McKinnon role is how Smith gets there. Yep.
Well,
what
the
else
problem with that role is McKinnon was an outstanding
I
blocker.
understand,
Yeah,
but that should be your hope.
Well, I mean, obviously, I don't know if we want to do Rasheed Rice or not because I made some.
I think he's a 1,400-yard receiver. That's the bold take. Most likely, he's probably 1,200.
I'll be honest with you. I had 1,300 yards and 8 touchdowns if no suspension.
Both of you guys would actually play. Even 1,300 would place him top 3.
If suspension,
last year would have.
I added Xavier Worthy would be if suspended. Xavier Worthy's the leading receiver, 1,200 yards. And 8 touchdowns. So I did suspension or no suspension.
Okay.
So it was Rice and then Worthy. I went George Karlaftis. This is the interesting one to me. I've got to get in the 12 sacks. That would be 2 more than his career high. He's been teetering around there. Again, motivation factor. Talked about chasing that bag, getting that money. We know he's got the talent, and he just keeps getting better. He's still working out with Tom Lee in the offseason. That seems to help him a lot. Jiu-jitsu, working with the hands and everything. I just think Karlaftis, and you see him, there's so many sacks that you're thinking, man, he just left that on the field, like where he could have got it. Mm-hmm. But I think for George Karlaftis, getting to 12 is not unreasonable. It'd be more than he's ever had. It'd be a career high. But.
It would. I thought, we were wondering last year if he was going to take the leap. Like it build on what he had done, and it didn't happen. I think some of that is going to be, to your prediction, what can help yours is if mine works, meaning – if a Minihue has double-digit sacks,
that with Chris Jones,
then Karlaftis could be set up to have a massive year because you actually have a threat on the other side. Last season, Karlaftis had 8. He had 10.5. I thought in 2023 when he had 10.5, I thought last season, all right, we're about to find out if he can become an elite pass rusher, get to 12.5, 13.5 sacks. That did not happen. Now you're saying he goes from 8 and he gets to that 12.5 after that 4+ sack increase is a lot. I obviously with a Minihue I'm talking about,
it is.
A 9 sack increase.
His rookie year, Karlaftis' rookie year, we had 6. You know damn well that is leaving things on the field. Remember how many times he almost got there?
He was learning the games,
but I like this guy's only going to get better, and I could see Karlaftis continuing to get better. That's why I thought. He takes that. It would just be a 1.5 sacks more than he had last year.
913-586-7965. Let's get to some of your bold predictions for the Chiefs. Someone says, we said Chiefs only. Someone says Bengals don't get to 7 wins. People are not happy with Drew right now on the text line.
It's awesome.
Drew thinks the Chiefs will lose in the divisional round with this offense. If healthy, he's going to get destroyed all year.
Someone wants to make a show bet on that, actually. I'm going to have to bring that up when Cody gets back.
Okay.
We'll have to figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to have to get some more odds on that here. I mean, like the Chiefs not making it to the AFC title game. McDuffie has 5 interceptions is somebody's prediction. Obviously, he struggled to get those, but maybe the wall,
floodgates opened last year. He got
bursted through there, yeah.
Remember, he didn't have anything, but we got that first one in Cleveland. Remember, he's looking at the scoreboard when he gets it to find his positioning. He ended up with 2. Jaden Hicks actually led this team in interceptions last year.
He's getting more playing time this year, too.
So what's Jaden Hicks' number? 6 interceptions? 5? Is he
someone's bold prediction? I don't even think this is this bold. Someone from the 913 said the Christmas game will decide the AFC West. I don't think that's that bold at all. There's a very real chance that game is everything. Yeah. Chiefs, Broncos, Christmas night, right? Yeah, Christmas night. So
here's one. Juwan Taylor will not be on the offensive line by the Christmas Day game.
Ooh. So you're predicting injury or performance?
Would it be Jalen Moore switching back over, put it right, Josh Simmons in, your left tackle? Which direction we go?
I don't know how
Morris is going to play. I mean,
to me, that would almost have to be an injury prediction. There's no.
100%.
I understand the penalties and everything, but in general, and we can all agree that based on what they're paying him, they have not got the production you would like. but he also wasn't a bottom 5 right tackle in football or anything. Sometimes I think people talk about Juwan Taylor like he was the worst tackle in football. He was not. Yeah. The penalties at times are still a problem, no question about that. But I don't, unless Juwan Taylor gets hurt, I don't see him losing his job this season. No, absolutely not.
Someone said Kingsley makes the Pro Bowl as a guard.
Oh, that's bold.
That's
the boldest
bold.
one. That might be the boldest one other than Drew's prediction.
I like that. That is bold.
10.
That is bold.
My goodness.
Here's one from Mahomes getting to 6,000 yards.
Okay, wow.
Come on, man.
Okay.
Ain't gonna happen.
6,060 touchdowns.
It's not going to happen. That'd be awesome, though.
I mean,
he would be MVP.
Yes, he would. Yes, he would. Yeah. Someone says Kareem Hunt 1,000 yards. Yeah, I did. No way. Again,
not in the situation.
We asked for bold predictions, so I get it, but there's just no way. There is no way. At this point in his career, no chance. In this offense, no freaking chance.
For the 913, Mahomes will run a QB sneak this year.
I like that one. I like that thought. I like the thought there.
A lot. That's a great text. That's text of the day for sure.
Hey, for the person who also says,
because Drew and I talked a ton about that last year on the Super Bowl show.
Hey, the person from the 913 asking why I'm a hater and a downer. Somebody from the 816 said the Chiefs go 10-7 and lose in the wild card. They got a more bold prediction than I do.
That's your best friend.
For the 816?
You said Velociraptor. We're best friends. Drew found his best friend. You're that or your mom found the text line.
Why are you guys worried about me when you got people in the 816 and 913 saying they're going to lose in the wild card? Come on now.
Drew, those are your burners.
I do not have a burner. I promise.
Someone's bold prediction: Burrow will request a trade like Carson Palmer in 3 or 4 years. Now we're back to the NFL-wide ones.
That would be gross.
We've asked you this a couple times. If Joe Burrow got traded from Cincinnati in 5 years and he ends up on, let's call it the Seattle Seahawks. I don't know.
Colts. Imagine that.
Wow, the Colts would be funny. Seattle Seahawks. Would you become a Seahawks fan, or you would stay with your team? Because that's what I don't know. Are you a Burrow fan or a Cincinnati fan? So I think you're a Burrow fan.
No. I've been a Bengals fan my entire life. I would still be a Bengals fan, but it would hurt. It would hurt really, really bad if that actually happened. And I'll be honest. I would not get a Seahawks jersey, but I would be rooting for Joe Burrow just the same.
Can you answer a question,
If
Drew?
they play, look, here's the answer. The Bengals playing the Seahawks in the Super Bowl, if Joe Burrow ever was on a different team and they were playing the Bengals in the Super Bowl, I'm rooting for the Bengals.
I just want to know if he went to the Colts, what would you do? That's your hometown team, and all of a sudden you're not a big Colts guy. But
it's not his hometown team. I mean, he doesn't. He's never rooted for him.
He's lived in 5 places. I get it. But here's a serious question, though, and maybe you've answered it before. I'm sure Alex has asked you. I've never asked you. Why the hell are you a Bengals fan?
I've already answered this question
why
10
the hell?
times.
I mean, was it back to the days of Boomer Esiason, Ken Anderson?
I wasn't alive then, so no.
He was a big Achilles Smith fan or whatever his name was. Yeah,
that's right.
But seriously, though, I'm just curious.
My favorite animal's a tiger.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. You just told me that. The tiger, yeah.
That's all I need to say.
Interesting. You don't like the Missouri Tigers, though?
Text line.
If you like Tigers so much, why don't you like the Missouri Tigers?
All right, one more. Someone says Hollywood Brown 900+ yards receiving.
That's on the brink of.
Yeah, I think 800. I think 800 is in play for Hollywood if he stays healthy. But that's the number one question with him, right? Is can he stay healthy? 900. It's definitely aggressive. It's not crazy.
His last 3 years, of course, last year was limited, but the year before that, 5 games and 12 games. So it hadn't exactly put these long seasons.
And last one, bold prediction from the 314. I don't know where that's at. Someone will have to fill that in. Is that like Springfield area? I don't know. Someone says Drew doesn't color his hair blonde this year.
Wow.
As long as it's not part of the bet, I would say you are correct.
Okay.
I would guess you are correct. If
I think he's out on that, although he still needs to do. We still got to do the McDonald's bet thing or whatever.
We do still need to.
That's awesome. Drew does his bets. He pays them.
He
off,
does.
Man.
I'll give him credit. Not everybody on this show does. Some people have to get negotiated out of them, but I think
he's a good sport.
He has paid off all but his McDonald's bet.
Good sport.
Yes, he is. Good sport.
I appreciate that.
Sometimes some questionable takes, and we let them know about it.
This is the thing, though. I saved the take That if they do lose, if they don't make the AFC title game, you better believe we will circle back to
and
today.
nobody's going to want to hear you.
I know.
Nobody's going to want to hear you brag on June that you said. By the way, they didn't make it to the AFC title game. That's what's funny about it as well. It's like it's not even it's bold, but it's not even so like it's almost like a hedging of your own thing.
True.
Because if you would say like they're not going to win the division or they're going to lose in wild card weekend, then like that's saying you don't think they're good. But say like, well they're going to be good, but you're just not going to win the AFC this year or whatever. It's not like that's such a hedge thing. Like it's more of a wish.
No, but it's what I think's going to happen. I believe that they will lose. I believe they will not be in the AFC title game.
Mm-hmm. My favorite text, though, is the quarterback sneak. Because you think about all the trick plays that Andy has in the formation. That is the one thing that would throw everybody off. That texter's 100% right.
Yeah, it would. We've said it. It has to happen at some point, but it's not under Andy Reid. Not going to happen under Andy Reid, I just don't. I don't think.
I think it would in the Super Bowl on a game-changing play.
As if
Drew and I talked
here's
about
what's
what's going to
funny.
happen with the Eagles.
Yeah, that's not what
Bink come down to it.
Drew's right on that. Like it's not. You're like, well, we'll see it in the Super Bowl. They've had 5 chances
On a scale from 1 to 10, the boldness of that take is like a 3.
If that Eagles Super Bowl came down for the Chiefs to three-peat, and it was 1 yard to get a touchdown or 1 yard to get a first down, Patrick Mahomes does do the quarterback sneak in that
obviously,
situation.
this Eagles
perfect situation.
This Eagles one obviously was not the one to find out. They were never in the game, but like in general, they've had 5
but if
chances.
The Super Bowl was on the line.
Oh, you mean like the one where they had to go to overtime to win?
I'm just saying, Alex. Mahomes has talked about it. Said maybe in the Super Bowl. He
wants to, but it's Andy's call.
Andy
won't do it.
There are so many different. The
You'd rather throw it behind the back pass.
The circumstance would have to be they're on the half-yard. It's not a 2-yard sneak. It's not a 1 yard.
No.
They're on the half-yard line. The ball might as well be touching the end zone.
They won't do it. They just won't. I wish they would in one Super Bowl.
And it has to be in overtime to win it.
Yeah, they just
take that, Philadelphia.
I don't
That's
think
a
Andy's
tush
going to do
push.
it. Yeah. I feel like I thought it would happen by now in the Super Bowl, and it hasn't. So, all right, up next, let's get to what's trending, and then we'll talk about one player's reversal now that he's in New York, and it makes very little sense considering how upset he was many years ago in Kansas City. That's next.
Cody and Gold, brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. Follow the station on Instagram for ticket giveaways and behind-the-scenes content from the show at The Fan 965.
Well, FanDuel, because, nothing says summer fun like adding excitement to the game while your friends maybe are out there getting sunburned at the beach, at the lake. Well, summer sports are calling your name. Baseball under the stadium lights, golf on pristine green fairways, soccer matches with world-class goals, and all the action-packed moments in between. You're going to spend all day following your favorite sports on your phone anyway, so you might as well make it more thrilling with FanDuel. Open the app today. See the daily promotions. New customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com/Alex to get started. FanDuel is an official partner of 96.5 The Fan. 21 and President, Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Real stories with Hellsberg.
After we met and we started dating, Nancy and I lived 150 miles apart, and I would drive my old jalopy car, and it was roughly a 3-hour distance. It took 3 years I drove across that state, back and forth, dating her every weekend.
Persistence.
And I would have never stopped. I had a lot of energy back then, 36 years ago.
At Hellsberg, find the engagement ring worthy of your story. Designed with the love, care, and craft it deserves. Visit a Hellsberg store or hellsberg.com.
Exercising and being outside are 2 things I love doing almost every day. I can't imagine joint pain slowing me down. The good news is, if you do have joint pain, I've got the answer for you. QC Kinetics has over 50,000 satisfied patients in less than a decade, and everyone is getting results with no drugs, no surgery, and no downtime at all. QC Kinetics has been on the cutting edge of regenerative medicine. They use natural treatments that harness your body's own healing power. Regenerative medicine used to be an alternative, and now it's mainstream. So if you love being outside and working out as much as I do, or you just love to play golf or tennis or doing everyday activities and you don't want to live with that joint pain any longer, call my friends over at QC Kinetics. Don't let sore knees or elbows or shoulders or a back keep you from doing the things you love. Call QC Kinetics today, 816-412-6299, 816-412-6299. Off 435 in State Line and in Gladstone. It's QC Kinetics. A recent homeowner in Kansas City was trying to sell their home, and that's when they discovered Dawn Sharp. Dawn didn't just list their home, she became their trusted guide through every decision. And the Sharp Homes team can give you options as well. If you want to skip the showings and open houses and go straight to sold, then contact the only agent I would trust if I needed to sell my home. It's Dawn Sharp and the Sharp Homes team, brokered by Epic Realty. Ask them about their instant offer program. You can Google them at Sharp Homes Team or just pay them a visit at homesforsaleandkc.com.
At Straight Talk, we are all about no-brainers. Calling Grandma for her recipe, no-brainer. Streaming one more episode at 2 a.m., big no-brainer. Getting real unlimited data where you buy bananas, the ultimate no-brainer. Switch now and get a free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G or Moto G Power 5G 2025 with select plans. Straight Talk, real unlimited data. Available at Walmart and straighttalk.com. Offer valid through 7/20/25. Taxes and fees apply. Requires in-store activation of single line gold unlimited plan or higher. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com/terms. Copyright 2025 Verizon.
You log into your DSP. It's confusing. Where do you build a campaign? Where's the report? Targeting's vague, CTV's tacked on and overpriced. Then you find Viant. Setup? Just a chat prompt. AI does the rest. Targeting? People-based and precise across premium publishers. Measurement? Transparent, outcome-driven. And CTV? We've led since streaming meant something. Viant is the DSP that actually gets advertising. Still trading on a desk? Visit Viant.ai to unlock real results today.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Every success you've had began with a great opportunity. Now there's another one. Last aid year, University of Maryland Global Campus awarded over $21 million in scholarships to qualified students, including community college students, service members, veterans, and working adults. Now is the time to move your career forward with an online and accredited skills-based education. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chef.
Empower. Tim collects bobbleheads. A lot of bobbleheads. Baseball bobbleheads. Race car bobbleheads. Little chihuahua bobbleheads. He's got an entire room strictly for bobbleheads. Does he need them? No. Is his wife mad about it? A little. But Tim works with Empower, and he got good at money, so he can be a little bad. Ooh, horse bobblehead. Classy, Tim. Empower. Invest well, live a little. Start today at empower.com.
Brought to you by Climate Control Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Visit climatecontrolkc.com. Climate Control has been serving KC homeowners for over 35 years and know how to get your cooling system ready to handle the scorching hot summer. Schedule your AC system tune-up for just $59. Don't wait. Visit climatecontrolkc.com today. Climate Control Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. What's trending?
What's trending here on Cody and Gold is presented by Baker University, where graduates earn higher salaries and land jobs faster than any other university in Kansas. Apply today at bakeru.edu. We start with the Royals, who begin their homestand, a 6-game homestand tonight against the Rays. Then the Dodgers come to town, but tonight it is Chris Bubich on the bump. What a 6:40 first pitch against the Rays. Burns on deck show at 5:30. Bink right here on 96.5 The Fan.
Yeah, I can't wait. It felt like a real loss not having him last night. Not being able to turn on and watch the Royals. You get so used to doing it every night. It felt weird because you get excited about that Rangers series, and then the San Diego series didn't turn out like you wanted on Sunday, and you have the day off, and here come the Rays that are chasing the Yankees, who, by the way, play the Reds tonight. So I'm sure the
Well, I know the Reds, so I'm excited about that game tonight. Reds, Yankees, nobody else in Kansas City probably cares. That's why we didn't make it like a topic or anything. But Chase Burns, okay? Remember that name. Chase Burns for the Reds makes his big league debut tonight against the Yankees. He's a top 10 prospect in baseball. This kid, I'm telling you, in the next 5 years is winning a National League Cy Young. I also am heavily invested in his cards, but he's
and he gets to face
bold
judge.
predictions.
Bold prediction. He's winning a Cy
Baseball.
Young. Here's honestly, this is not just me pulling it out of my you-know-what. So you guys obviously know what Paul Skeens was in the minors and what he is now.
Right.
You know Paul Skeens, he had 12 games in the minors, okay? 1.85 ERA, 34 innings, 55 strikeouts, a whip of .94. Crazy stuff. Chase Burns, 13 games in the minors, 1.77 ERA, 66 innings, 89 strikeouts, and a whip of .77. I'm just saying, Chase Burns, he can strike out guys. He's poised on the mound. I can't wait. Hopefully, tonight's a tough test going to the Yankees, but I'm all in on Chase Burns, so let's go.
Also, what's trending, Shane Gillis set to host the 2025 ESPYs. Might be the only reason to watch that, to be honest with you. July 16th on ABC and ESPN+. Why they just now pick that? I mean, they always
said
before. Or?
They always don't announce. For that they don't announce the ESPYs host 3 months early.
Before.
Yeah,
all right. It would have to be.
Yeah. No, Shane Gillis, when it comes to the ESPYs, monologue is all I need, and then if I miss anything else, just let me know the social clips. I don't need to sit there and watch it for 2 hours. Remember, it's on that Wednesday when there's nothing else going on. That's why they do it there. Also, earlier today on What's Trending on the Pat McAfee show, Aaron Rodgers, talking to McAfee, said he's pretty sure this is it, as in the last season of his NFL career. He said it's why he only signed a 1-year deal in Pittsburgh. He's 41 years old. It would make a ton of sense if this was, in fact, his final year. Heck, people thought maybe he was going to retire after last season. So, yep.
And then injuries, and that injury that happened in the first game with the Jets the first year spawned another year, and then the Steelers. I think he comes back yet again. He left it open. Pretty sure this is it. Wasn't definitive. And Rodgers always likes to keep it hanging after the season. That's why I'm shocked he even said this. Because is Rodgers coming back or not? That'd be the big discussion. But with the draft in Pittsburgh, and can you talk Aaron Rodgers if you're the Steelers and they're coming back one more year to groom? Because he isn't like Flacco. He will work with the other quarterbacks if he comes back the next season. Padre star Fernando Tatis Jr. filed a lawsuit Monday against Big League Advance in an attempt to avoid the future earnings contract he signed as a 17-year-old minor leaguer that, needed the money at the time, guaranteed his money. Could cost him $34 million, though, in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah,
not good, but he signed it.
Yeah, it's a lawsuit, and I have no idea, obviously, what's fully in play there. The fact he signed it when he was 17, if that changes how this plays out. Basically, he wanted money for his family up front, so this company essentially said, hey, we'll front you money, but we get 10% of your future earnings. And that's what's in dispute now, and the validity of it. He didn't realize it was a predatory loan. That's what he claims, at least.
You get that huge contract right away,
and we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. Lastly, on What's Trending, just saw this come across just because it's a familiar name. That's the reason why I'm going to bring it up. The White Sox have signed Noah Syndergaard to a minor league deal. Yes, that Noah Syndergaard. He's still only 32, but he's just dealt with. He hasn't pitched since 2023. And he's had injury history, right? He's at Tommy John in 2020. He's had finger problems, elbow ailments.
It was Thor. He hit Escobar, didn't he?
Yeah. So Noah Syndergaard, I only brought that up, but the White Sox signed him to a minor league deal. That's what's trending.
White Sox would be better off with a pitching machine.
Thinking of old names, you guys remember a former Royal by the name of Richard Lovelady?
Yeah, old Dick.
Yeah. You remember him?
Yeah.
You remember also at the time, it was pretty evident that he did not like people calling him Dick Lovelady. In fact, it got so far that members of the media were told not to call him Dick Lovelady. That was a real thing, right?
Yeah.
So I laughed. I legit laughed out loud, and also was like, this is very, odd that now he has shifted and he's fine with it. He's in New York. He just got signed by the Mets. Richard Lovelady did.
Which means he'll be here.
That's true. He has told the media there he wants to be called Dickie Lovelady. He now wants he's embraced it, which he should have done.
By Dickie, though.
He should have. So same thing, basically.
Well, it is, but it's a little bit different.
He should have embraced this back then. Everybody knows the name. So yes, he wants to go by Dickie Lovelady, and now he's cool with it, I guess.
It was always where they call him Richard. Everybody's like, Dick Lovelady.
Yeah, he did not like that at the time.
He's embraced it with Dickie, though. But he did have the Y.
Yeah. I mean, now he's fine with being called Dickie Lovelady.
I'm sure in New York that'll go. I'm sure they won't.
How good was he? Is he really good? Or
He was
is
supposed to be awesome. He was supposed when he first came out. I mean, this guy was. Ray was a big time prospect.
He was with Toronto earlier this year with a 21.6 ERA.
Oh my goodness!
I think like one outing, in fairness. But Richard Tyler Dickey Lovelady is now a member of the New York Mets. And yes, he's only appeared in 2 games this year, an inning and 2/3 in fairness, but a 21.6 ERA, and the Mets just signed him. Who knows? Yeah, my guess is he does not finish the season with the New York Mets.
Would you go by Dick, or Richard?
It depends what I do for a living.
That's a good random question.
It depends what I do for a living. If I'm a baseball player, just go all in, and you can call me Dick Lovelady or whatever. That's fine. But if I'm just like a banker, an insurance agent, it's got to be Richard. It's got to just be Richard. You can't go by Dick Lovelady as a serious
I agree
job.
with Gold. Yes.
You know what's funny is, I mean, that's one of the best names in all of pro sports.
For
you know
sure.
You know what's actually a better name? Richard Fitz with the Red Sox.
Okay.
See,
Richard Fitz,
he embraces it though. He knows everybody calling him Dick Fitz, and he embraces it. Richard Fitz is a.
But this is his real name. I mean, like someone said, hey, what about Dick Mountain, which is Rich Hill? That's a nickname though. But that is his nickname. But that's different. Someone brought up there was a former Mets player back in the day. Did you know? Again, we can mention names all we want. These are just names of people. There was a.
This is facts.
Yeah, he didn't play for the Mets. I'm sorry. He played for the Red Sox and the Mariners. There was a player called Dick Pole. That was a player that played in the major leagues with the Red Sox in 1976, and for the Mariners, he had 20. He won 25 games as a big leaguer pitcher.
Someone said Rich is Rich. One of my friends, his dad's name was Richard, and he went by Rich.
Okay. Shout out to the Richards out there.
It's like Dusty's segment, Richard of the Week.
Yeah, he means in a different context, even more so. But yeah,
I wonder if he'll be it this week.
Who?
Lovelady.
Oh,
Dusty's Richard.
Could be.
We didn't get to see Richard Fitz when the Red Sox came here.
I did not. Yeah,
he was hurt or something.
I wasn't aware of him. I wasn't.
Yeah. Vernon told me.
Oh,
he goes, check out this guy Richard Fitz on the Red Sox.
Someone says, don't forget, there's a Packers player called Clinton Dix, or he was a Packers player. I don't know if he's still. Where's he at these days?
I don't know if he's in the league.
Is he out of the league?
I don't think he is.
He was really good when he played for
former safety, 32 years old.
He played at Bama.
He last played 2-time national champ at Bama. 2021, yeah, he's out of the league. He hadn't played since 2021.
Dang,
he's working for Alabama, I think now.
Oh, is he like part of their recruiting department or a grad assistant or something like that? He's a director of player development now. Clint
there we
Dix.
go.
What a name! What a name!
Good for
Sometimes you had to wonder what parents are thinking.
Someone also don't forget the rapper, Lil Dicky.
True.
We almost got him.
Almost had him on the show, Radio Row, 2 years ago.
Yep.
Maybe if a Royals player was named this, the name recognition would help in the All-Star voting.
Oh, for sure.
I mean,
yeah.
name was like
That's
Richard
why
Fitz,
Lovelady should embrace it, because if you pitch well
in New York?
If you pitch well in New York and your name is instead of Richard Lovelady, you say, hey, you can call me Dickie Lovelady, you'll have all sorts of popularity in New York.
Oh yeah.
If we're talking names, somebody said the best last name is Youngblood. There are a lot of those, particularly in college football.
Your favorite NASCAR driver was Dick Trickle.
No, my favorite driver growing up was Terry Labonte.
Days of Thunder. They're making a remake of that, which I think is a mistake.
Oh, are they?
Days of Thunder.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You said Dick Trickle.
Oh yeah, Dick Trickle.
The new F1 movie's coming out here in a couple of days. I hope it's as good as Days of Thunder.
Is that
the original?
It's tough to be as good as that one.
In the Days of Thunder, the name was Cole Trickle, I think. Actually,
yes. Cole Trickle was the
sorry.
Trickle actually
yes, sorry, you're correct. That's my fault. Cole Trickle is the Tom Cruise character.
There was an actual driver though in NASCAR.
Named Dick Trickle. Yes,
correct.
I could never be a play-by-play guy just because of
yes.
this. I could never be a play-by-play just because of this. I'd laugh too much. I could never do it.
There was a guy
now starting Richard Fitz. We call him Dick Fitz.
There was a guy that played for the Braves named Pork Chop Pugh.
Oh, now are you just looking up names?
No. Somebody texted in from the 913. The Braves had a player named Pork Chop Pugh.
Huh.
Pork Chop.
I didn't know that. I did not know that.
That's crazy.
Let's see. Trying to think of some. Cocoa Crisp was always funny, but that's wasn't dirty. But
Cocoa Crisp had an awesome name. Yeah. That name is so good.
Someone says, don't forget, are we going to forget about Dick Butkus? For sure. Did forget.
I used to trade for Cocoa Crisp in MLB The Show
yeah,
because I
speed,
liked Cocoa
man.
Crisp.
And the speed. He had the speed on the game.
Oh, yeah.
At that time, he was like one of the fastest players in the game. That definitely would be the case.
What are parents thinking, or are they?
That's true. That's another conversation.
Like you're going to name your son Dick Pole.
No chance. Yeah. They knew exactly what they were doing.
Of course they did.
I mean, come on.
Blame the parents on that. Or I guess you can always change your name legally if you wanted to. Like Ocho Cinco
From
did.
660, they mentioned Adrian James Jr.
Oh, yeah. Jeez. Oh, gosh. What's his nickname?
Jizzle James.
Yeah. Jeez. I mean, come on.
He's a really good player, too.
That's what you've been telling
He's
me.
a really solid player. Plays for the Cincinnati Bearcats, man.
Yeah, I mean, that's a ridiculous nickname.
I forget. I think that was, and Edrin Sr. gave him that nickname as well. That was a nickname given to him by.
I'll ask you this. I'll ask you this, Drew, because you'll know this.
General Booty.
I was going to
That's right.
General Booty.
He plays at UL Monroe.
Oklahoma, right?
Yeah, he transferred to
UL Monroe.
He's still playing?
He didn't play at Oklahoma.
He's still like a red jersey.
I think he's like a junior.
He's still eligible. He's still eligibility.
I think he's a junior. Yeah.
But General Booty
I feel like he's been in college for 20 years
in college sports. General Booty. Yeah. Oh, General Booty's in the transfer portal. Let's grab him.
Yeah.
He didn't play particularly great. He was okay though. I mean, in fairness,
he's related to Josh Booty.
This is no shade. John David Booty, who played at USC.
Oh, is it John David?
I think this is his uncle.
So Josh wasn't related to him?
I didn't know there was a Josh. I just know John David because John David played for USC and was not that great. That was after USC's heyday. That was after Pete Carroll was there. That might have been when Sark was out there, or Lane Kiffin actually. Anyways,
but I assume General Booty's back.
Oh yeah, no, he is.
Somebody texted in and said the baseball player Dick Pole. He was also a pitching coach for a long time.
Was he?
The more you learn, the more, we find out more.
So, someone has a good poll as well from the 913. Used to be a Nebraska player. Now he's at Louisiana Tech, I believe. Dakotas Crawford.
Oh, yeah, that may be the all-name team. I remember that
was all-time.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good names in college football.
Dick
In college
Pole.
sports in general, there's a lot of good ones.
He played in 122 games. Wow.
Rowdy Beers, that also is. I'm surprised
Rowdy Beers is a good one.
I'm surprised you didn't pull that one out, Bink.
That's a good one.
The Beer Brothers, because there's two of them, I believe, correct? There's two beers?
Beers, yeah.
Kool-Aid McKinstry, of course. My wife actually is related. He's like a second or third cousin of my wife.
What about Stubby Clapp?
What?
That's a long distance relationship. His name was Stubby Clapp.
Okay.
He's a baseball player.
Interesting, Bink. Interesting. All right. We went down the rabbit hole there.
Hey, by the way, Chad Johnson did change his name back to Chad Johnson, didn't he?
Oh, I have no idea.
Did he leave the Ocho Cinco?
I'm
I
not
thought
sure.
I'd heard he may have
look,
moved it back.
he goes by Ocho still, so I have no idea. I'll be honest. No clue.
Okay.
All right, 913-586-7965. Feel free if you want to keep sending them in, but we're going to move on a little bit from just naming off names the rest of the show, although we could do it. We could just sit here another 10 minutes.
Sports names.
We definitely could do that. No, I wanted to bring back something up that you thought was a little weird with Lamar Jackson in Baltimore and how they were talking about the season.
Yeah, I mean, it was everywhere. He said it. Ravens put it on their website. Saw it on Sports Illustrated, ESPN. They all did it. Vengeance on the mind for Lamar Jackson. He's got some vengeance to take care of. I just said,
well, yeah, they come up short.
I just understand a lot of people use that word. I mean, the Bills could be using that vengeance to finally get to the postseason. Joe Burrow could vengeance from what happened last year. Just don't want to hear it. To me, you can only use that really if you lost the Super Bowl. That's the only team that really can go in the next year saying vengeance for what we didn't do, meaning you got all the way to the promised land and didn't push through. Because anybody across the board can use the word vengeance. But truly, because this will be the word in St. Joe, will be vengeance. Because I guarantee the Chiefs will play right into this vengeance.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll say it publicly or not. I mean, obviously, the lasting impression they gave the world was an embarrassing ass-kicking at the hands of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Redeem.
And so I think they want to prove people wrong that think this is over, like that this run, this era is over. They have a chance to prove people wrong. I think that is part of the quote-unquote mission this season. I don't know if we'll ever hear the players flat out say that, but I think that is evident. It sounds like you thought Lamar should have said a different word than, I guess, vengeance is what your issue.
But they ran with this like he said something monumental.
It's the offseason, Bink. It's mandatory minicamp for Baltimore.
It got a little crazy with Lamar Jackson talking vengeance.
Yeah. I just...
Now, if he's mad about the MVP, yeah.
What else do you want him to?
I think
what else do you want him to say?
If you want him to use a different word, vengeance would imply that like they got
vengeance.
And
you should think that.
I think if you want to complain, I guess that he said vengeance and it's like, oh, they didn't get screwed out of anything. So what is he? Why is that the word? I guess we can nitpick there. Otherwise, I don't have a problem at all with what Lamar said.
I just think it's funny because we look at the Chiefs thinking, all right, they truly can go out and say, we have vengeance. We want to get back to the Super Bowl. Don't want to lose like that. Left a bad taste in the mouth. Don't want to talk about the game. We're not even going back and rewatching it. They can use that word. But when you see all these other teams, and it's not just Lamar starting to use
criteria.
Like, is everybody going out for vengeance now? Every single team's going to have vengeance.
So what is Josh Allen going out for then, Bink?
I almost cussed. Going out to beat Mahomes in the playoffs for once.
He's going out for vengeance. I think.
But everybody uses it. Everybody can't use it.
Well, he's going out for it's what people use in sports, though, to describe redemption, vengeance.
One team deserves to say it.
Come back to where, like, there's just certain phrases and things we say in sports about.
You weren't good enough. Don't use the word vengeance unless you got to the promised land and lost.
So if you just said it's all about getting over the hump, you would have been fine.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's the same. Okay.
I mean, it's not the same thing, but it is.
Theoretically.
Like,
I've been fine with that.
I have zero issue with Lamar Jackson saying he's out for vengeance. I mean, whether it's
I do when everybody else in the league is saying
prove people wrong. I mean, again, you just don't like the word choice. That's fine.
I'm glad he actually said something different other than like revenge or like he used vengeance. That's a unique word.
Got vengeance on my mind with them.
Yeah, but vengeance, you don't hear vengeance used very awesome, very much, like very often. I don't think
word of the day.
I don't think you hear vengeance used.
Vengeance might be the wrong word.
Wait till training camp start. You're going to hear it all over the place.
It may be the wrong word, but we all know exactly what he means, I guess. Why are we nitpicking Lamar Jackson's word choice? Like,
Lamar's on a mission. He's got vengeance. Look out for the Ravens. He's got. Everybody feels that way. The Bengals feel that way. The Bills feel that way.
Well, then what's the problem? Then what's the problem? If you agree that everybody feels that way, then what's the issue?
One team can say it.
You're mad because
the
you
Chiefs
want the Chiefs
weren't wrong.
to say it.
The Chiefs weren't wrong in the Super Bowl. They didn't have a bad call. They're not out for vengeance. They're out to prove people that they're not crap, is that they worked like in the Super Bowl.
They're on vengeance trail.
No, they're on a
prove
the haters wrong.
Vengeance, whatever. Players wrong, people wrong, whatever.
The Chiefs didn't lose. The Chiefs didn't lose on a fluky play in the Super Bowl, Bink.
Man, unless you lose the big game.
Just for you saying this now, Bink, you and I are recording the podcast, or our side of the podcast afterwards. I'm going to say vengeance when talking about when talking about the Kansas Jayhawks.
Oh gosh! Why don't you use it with the Gamecocks?
Because of all the wrong things that happened to the Jayhawks late in games, I'm going to say that KU is out for vengeance this season.
That's laughable, actually. That's actually going to make me laugh.
Anybody else can say it?
That's going to make me laugh.
Someone said Lamar is clearly Batman.
Let's talk about South Carolina.
He is the Batman.
Redemption is what the Chiefs are going for.
Vengeance. Hey, they got the Eagles once. They got them the second time. Time for vengeance. Time for vengeance.
I can't wait until you flip on this next year. Let's say the Chiefs actually win it all and they beat the Eagles.
What a stretch.
Then no, that's the thing. The Eagles are then going to be out for vengeance, but as soon as we say that, you're going to say no because it's not related to the Chiefs anymore.
I would use the word relatively for the Bengals. Being relative.
Oh, we're not talking about them now, but
yeah, I think people someone was saying if vengeance gets you the Super Bowl, but you still lose, cool, vengeance. All right, well, if the point is that if you say that you're out for redemption, you don't win the Super Bowl, it means you can't say what are we